Welcome to the stupidest pro-am ever. The team
For him, Sphinx doesn't decide to play with his food.
they
He'd
don't really
rather
got
focus on
it's
a
not as
separate
good as
mission
they
here,
did
and that's not
had
falling
last year.
victim to the third-party trap. But Wapo, he knows
There's
Lice
not
has been
even
taken out. That's what Sphinx was really
there's
after, just
let
chasing
me let
down
me
the
mute it,
more
okay? I know I'm late because I didn't watch from the fourth game. Because I was trying to watch it in Legends of Landing or Legends Landing. You can't do that. This isn't a normal FNCS. This it's not gonna be at all like last year. Listen, bro. So it's not even in Legends of Landing, right? And and it's it's not even like Fortnite isn't even broadcasting this FNCS. I don't think if it's an FNCS. I really don't, because this we have to go to didnt, which I don't even know who this is. I don't even know what this is. So basically, it's hosted by Ozzy Antics, and I'm pretty sure this is his Fortnite clan group. I'm pretty sure that it is it. So you have to watch the main broadcast like that. Because, I don't know, Fortnite was broke. There's not even a main stage. There's There's not even anything, but the host, it's in Dallas. They got it right. It is in Dallas. It's in, like, somebody's house. It's in, like, a ball or something. Like, yeah. It's in just some random building, bro. It's not even in a arena or a stadium like it wasn't last year. It's kind of stupid. But Ozzy Antics is hosting it because Fortnite is broke right now. I don't know. Fortnite is broke. And so here we are. Originally, I thought the teams were like, oh well, compared to last year, the team sucked. But last year was just a amazing pro-am. You can't. This is probably gonna be not even as good as last year. It can't be because there's not even a arena that they're playing in. Fortnite's not even hosting it. It's Aussie Antics, bro. That is stupid, bro. Like these announcers, they're literally in what I say? It was in full screen of them. They were in a studio. I don't even think they're in Dallas. There's not even any fans that can watch them play in real life. You can only watch it in a screen. So yeah, this is the stupidest
but hey,
FNCS
Rise, not
program
everybody
ever.
wanted to go down without a fight. I think it's largely just that slowdown and pacing earlier in the match. Whenever you are eliminated super early on, we saw Sphinx kind of chasing him out, and now Vic, he's just going to keep the assault going, just
I think
trying to see
Aussie
whether or
Antics
not he can
just.
stay on par, because everyone's watching the elimination feed light up. That's going to really
I
be
think this
the
is just
key
a
circumstance
event
here for
that
all these
Aussie
players,
Antics
because they're
created,
kind of trying to stay on par
and
with each other.
Fortnite was
Yeah, we're
about to
starting
like
to enter
cancel the
into that
pro-am
danger zone.
because
Reboot's
they
focusing
announced
on
the
till zone
pro-am
7, but we're
in
already in
September.
zone 5.
This
The team
pro-am in
already close
September,
moving
and
into
so they're
zone
like, you
6.
know
And
what?
you can see over in the distance, I
We
don't know
don't
if
want to
that's
do
Ash
it.
out, but they're
Aussie,
just
you
getting
do it.
farmed out of the sky over and over and over. And the thing is, your teammate can be deep into zone surviving in a situation like this, right? When you reboot in the
So
safe
yeah,
portion of the zone. So you reboot so far away as Venom's looking to get aggressive onto Agers here. Misses that perfect opportunity. Almost had him full boxed up. Pressure coming out. They're trying to alleviate it. That's Hammy on the other side trying to get Agers out safely.
But now they're a little bit too close together at this stage.
Well,
and he
everybody
might
knows the
find
like
himself actually being sent into the turner by
how
Veno
good
and Ron. All
Pro
depends
Am
on whether
was
or not
last year.
Veno's actually willing to keep trying to press the gas on the pedal here, but
Like,
Agers has separated enough distance. Storm Sickness isn't often something that we see become an issue for players in these matches, but at the same
I was
time, it all
expecting that
depends
again.
on Veno and Ron because they just love committing.
Also,
Veno
Legends
especially loves
Landing is
committing
stupid.
inside of the
They
storm,
changed
but
everything.
Agers
And you
gets
know how you could
immediately
go into a
punished
hole
for
and
not
then you
getting
could
the
play
immediate
Zone
knock.
Wars or what? Yeah,
Those
Zone Wars.
little
You can play
opportunities
Zone
there you kind
Wars.
of mess up on, and it's not looking
They
good
made
for
it so you
loadout.
have
He
to
isn't
go
even
play
a
Zone
full
Wars or
gatekeeper. His
box
loadout
fights.
is that good. You said the mythic
You
drum gun.
you can't even
Veno right
watch
now
any
with his loadout is
FNCS in there
somebody I do not
because
want to
you
fight
have to
against. You
choose
see
a
Rise
team and
getting
you
the
have to
revive
watch it.
onto
It's so
Guaco.
stupid.
Muda and Acorn rotating in from the top side of the map. Positioned a little bit too closely for my liking against Victor V and Crackley, but you can see all of these teams
I was
essentially in the
actually
center of the
like
zone.
so
And
excited
again,
for
that was my
this,
initial concern when we saw Agers running
despite
back
how
towards his
the
duo.
teams kind of
Thought that
suck.
Hemi for a moment was just going to be
Bro, last year we
extending an
had Nick
invitation like, oh,
840.
they found us,
We
bro.
had
Like,
Coach
it's
JD,
just
bro.
hard to escape
We had
sometimes. But
everyone.
Sphinx, RD Moon, just
Now
waiting
we
it
just
out.
have
They know
a
better.
bunch of
Sphinx
nobodies.
especially. You never want to be the first one to get lobby focused, but
At least
sometimes
we
it's
got a
kind of
typical gamer.
inevitable, especially because it depends on whether or not RD Moon is actually holding on to a little bit
Like,
of
who
point
is
resonance. The
Sphinx and who is
mobility is
Raw
really
Dog?
going to be the crucial element here, and how well some of these creators are able to actually keep up with the pro players on their
At
movement
least
speeds.
Yeah,
Zemi's
I would
still in
say
here, bro.
I saw already Moon start to leave outside of the box. I'm like, no, no, no. It's less than 60 seconds before reboots turn off. You're already in
We
the
had
center
like
of the map. You
everyone,
have
bro.
no reason to start to venture out. Peterbot Faxity
I
taking that
knew about
strategy
everybody
not too
in
far away from
the
their current
Pro Am last year.
POI. They're
Now
going
that
to
I
use
don't
that
know any
long
of them.
launch pad to try to make it in. They want to dodge a lot of the chaos here, but usually you have
At
some sort of
least
med kits or
Yugi and
HP
Okio
that
in
you can
here
gain
now.
that
That
is
was
more
cool.
than bandages. It's going to take 3 seconds for 15 HP, and it only maxes you out at 75 overall.
But why is Pete about to hit 10 eliminations?
Oh yeah, Jinxie's here too.
Jacob,
That's
like,
cool.
he is just unstoppable. And I almost feel bad for everybody else in this lobby right now, but then I remember that they're playing for a really solid prize pool. So at the end of the day, everybody gets a little bit of something. Depending on their placement, you just might start at $200.
You know what?
Or
At
you
least
might
there's
start
2
at
trophies.
10K, but there is also ample opportunity to try and hit inside that top 3 threshold. But for right
But I
now,
don't even know if this
things
is a
are
real
definitely starting to heat
FNCS.
up. Clix, Lacy, prime positioning, a little bit of overhead, a little bit of height. Aware of the fact, though,
I
they're
don't
about
know,
to get
bro.
landed
You
on.
guys,
Might have to
I
even
like
drum a
watch
later.
coding
Don't want to go in too
FNCSs.
soon, but they recognize, actually, this is just an
Someone jumped
incredibly
into
weak
their
player. Never
box
mind,
and
this
they
was
just
completely taken
say
advantage
like,
of that.
nah, we're
Yeah,
changing now.
Respawns have officially turned off, but that was a player rebooting at the last possible second, almost moving directly into the box. Clix and Lacy pick up their 5th elimination of this game. Gonna
So
kind of get
those
them maxed
7
out on the
games,
materials. You can see that pseudo loadouts and some extra
don't they
splashes
have a
minis being
halftime?
dropped down. They're not too far
When
away
is
from where the current
halftime
zone
going to
actually
be?
is, so they have plenty of options to work with. Unlike Agers here, seems to be a solo
They're
hero
gonna
in this game. He has just
stop
over
game
500
4.
materials, so he may need a refresh to
Right
really
in the
pull it
middle
off.
of
And
game 4,
normally
they're
this
gonna be
wouldn't
like,
be
alright,
too pressing
halftime
of an
now.
issue, but the problem is he's got Veno and Ron right next door to him. Those are
I don't
definitely
even think there
two
was gonna
very
be a
competent
halftime.
fighters, and if Agers isn't careful, his next step might be his last. I'll have to check back in though, because right now it's all about Clix, Lacy. They have completely taken over height, but that could change at a moment's notice. Muzz already scoping
I
things out.
hold,
He's got that launch
because
pad
I
in
don't know
tow.
anything
It
about
might only
pros,
be a
really.
matter of time before we see
But
Muzz
I
and Summer
hold
make that challenge on the high ground.
that the
I'm not
teams
going
are
to say it
really
too soon, but last time we
unbalanced.
seen Clix and Lacy together on
I'm
high
saying, bro.
ground, there was a little bit of a blunder. A shockwave that sent Lacy flying.
That was a
Luckily,
practice mode.
yeah, luckily for Clix, he was able to kind of clutch it out. But you see the Wrecker revolver in Lacy's hands with that SMG, so he's going to be able to deal a ton of damage from far away. A couple of the extra builds being set in his inventory, and then the med kits just in case this does come to a heal off.
You've really got to be super aware, though, when you're trying to hold down height in this type of reload meta, just knowing that at any point, somebody could look to challenge you, and Veno playing through that low ground, just completely collapsing on Arky, just left that edit open a little bit too long, and that's the wiggle room that Veno needed. It's just insane how rapidly that mythic drum gun will just deplete the HP bar.
Yeah, luckily for Arky, though, they did deal some damage onto Venno, so he had to pause and heal instead of jumping over on this rotation as clix Lacy. Their plan for now is continue to hold on to their presence on the high ground, reconnect,
I
make sure
do
they
like
cannot
watch
get
party
shot
and
down
things though.
easily, but they need to watch. Make sure that
Like
second
I'll
tower
watch
isn't
party
trying to learn on out,
FNCSs
especially the base that they've already abandoned.
and
And
you know
we
the
know in the
streamer
back of a lot of these
awards.
players' minds, they have the launch pads and the fizz, so high
I'm
ground
not
can
gonna
get
watch
tested
party the
at any
streamer
moment.
games though.
They've still got a great amount of farm materials to work
Probably
with,
won't do
though.
that.
I like that they're committing very early on, because if they're able to stay established and maintain high ground, that might just be
I
the
do
secret
like
to the free
not
zone
want
for
to
Ether
watch
Royale.
party
But
the streamer
right
awards
now,
one
it's all
time
about
and
whether
just
or
like
not Ether wants
watch
to
it
try
on
and bring
TV.
this one back. He's
Just
really
like
going
don't
to
even
have
have
to go
to
the distance here. Muda has
watch party, you know what I'm
not.
saying?
He won't be able to reboot
Eh.
since those have been disabled, and
I
Ether
watched party it
is
last
just
year,
kind
but
of
it
left to
wasn't
try and
live
find his rhythm. But it's going to be tough. He's likely going to have to opt to just
because I
play
was watching
super low
NXT
side and
Deadline
not the
doing it.
gap of backside of zone, which is just going to leave him very susceptible to getting cut off by a more established duo.
I feel so bad for our creators. This is game one, and they got a chiseled cube zone going inside of chiseled cubes, and now it's moving outside, up the side of that mountain. So if you're not prepared,
Well, I
good luck
did
to
this
you.
for
You
the
know
last
Venno is,
pro-am
clix
because I
Lacy to
completely
continue
forgot
to
that you can
maintain their
watch
presence.
FNCS
There
on
goes the
Legends
Mythic,
Landing.
just trying to nail down
So
as
I
much
was,
pressure as possible with
and I
that jump
watched the
gun,
last
and
one on
instantly
Legends
walk to the
Landing, and
back
that
to make
was
sure they don't get any free
like
damage
I
put
watched
on them.
the
And you
global
see they're not getting
FNCS, and that
desperate
was
for
good.
eliminations here. They're just putting one foot in front of another to make things
It's
work.
kind of
But they
boring,
might
bro.
need to step to it, because those material counts were running incredibly low there for Ron. Only about 25 builds. Pete down to
Like
his
it kind of
final
gets boring
one.
after a little bit.
Vax already eliminated. Peterbot, though, when you talk about a clutch machine, he's usually the man to get the job done. But
I
in
thought
this kind
Peterbot
of
was banned.
scenario, he's having to build, break
I
through so many
swear to
pre-existing
God, bro. I
builds.
thought
He has really got his work cut out for him,
Peterbot
especially knowing that Coop Zemi so
was
close by. But clix Lacy, they've been deep on the light.
Yeah,
was
Muzz and
banned because
Somerset
he said
sent
the
him
N-word.
flying. They have a launch pad in their
So I
inventory,
thought
so they
Fortnite
knew
was
they were
like,
at
you're
least
not
wanting to
playing
contest it up towards the top side of the map. They sent Clix
competitively
down
at all
below.
anymore.
Looks like Lacy and him momentarily separated, but
You're
he's trying to
done.
return back to the scene of the crime. Lacy
But he's
goes
here.
down. Clix doing what he can, but now he's in a
He didn't
1v2
even do good in
situation,
last
and he's running
FNCS.
out of
You didn't
builds
even
here.
get
Clix
like
goes
top
on a
10.
full-on build fight. Clix being a
He
solo
won the
grind out
pro-am
for
last year,
round one.
that
There's no attempt coming in from Muzz and Somerset just yet, but a big shot's going to be landed. That's going to give him the green light. 10 HP. Clix trying to survive, but he's getting sprayed back further and further into the zone, so he eventually gets taken out by Somerset.
Those angle cutoffs were dastardly from Muzz and Summer, by the way. Muzz just immediately pressing against every single one of the walls that Clix kept trying to establish, and Summer from overhead shredding through those builds. Only so many options left to kind of grab. Here for everybody on the low ground, though, Jacob, you already nailed it. Chiseled Cubes is a vicious zone pool, but this established elevation right now for Somerset and Muzz, that's seeming to be the real difference maker. Kanata's still doing his best, though, in the underbelly of the lobby.
Yeah, I just feel bad for him. He's in a 2v1,
Top
no
three.
HP. He goes down. Somerset and Muzz versus typical gamer and Rapid. 2v2 to close out game number one. Just the interesting decision here is you look at how many old builds. Since we teeter-tottered back and forth through Chisel Cube,
Come on, typical
so
gamer.
much builds already placed down, so it's not going to be easy for High Ground to spray through. But Rapid looked like he's going to try to play Disruptor. With 6 shockwaves, he can instantly try to take the 2v1 on High Ground.
Not only that, but because they were getting so fraggy in the low ground, they've also got a little bit more materials to work with in comparison to Muzz and Somerset. Well, they were able to apply pressure.
Can you guys
from
just go down there
overhead, but
already?
now when you
You
gotta
guys
get
are
up
gonna.
close and personal, it all depends on
It's gonna
whether
take
or
you a
not
while.
they'll actually be able to continue trying to block those lines of sight. And Muzz already experiencing a lot of that pressure, opting to even try and fall back for a moment's notice here. He needs to get that Flowberry Fizz online, throws out the Overdrive Grenade. Great way to send Typical Gamer back, but now right side peek takes out Rapid. That's exactly the kind of advantage they needed. All he has to do is close it out.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
There we
and
go.
he does so instantly.
So
Muzz
Somerset
and
got
Somerset
first
not only
place.
contested Clix and Lacy on the high ground,
Muzz
but
and
closing
Somerset.
out
They win game
game
1.
number 1. Interesting 2v2 to say the least, but they were in the driver's seat for the majority of that end game, and they drove it past the finish line.
See, look at
cashing
them.
out
They're in a
$1,000
studio.
for that game win.
Hey, you
No,
said
not
it,
even in
disclaimer.
Dallas.
I think if you were to ask the chat, guys, would you believe that Muzz and Somerset were up against Rapid and Typical Gamer in an end game for today's competition? Not too
You
many
need it
people
like
believe that
AoE
surprise.
number.
Yeah, Rapid Typical Gamer on the low ground.
What
Honestly,
is the
they went
point
through a lot of
of you
chaos. That
saying
Chisel Cube
Dallas
end zone was not easy or
when
fun
you're
for
like,
anybody to play
and you
through, going
can't
in and around
even
the actual POI. And then we saw
do
it at one
anything
point
with
go
it?
towards the north, up the side of the mountain. And I think Muzz in Somerset, I don't know if they were watching it, but we know Muzz likes to play for high ground when that opportunity does present itself. And they perfectly went up when Clix and Lacy least
Like,
expected
if
it.
you're not
They
even gonna have a
definitely
stadium, don't even
showcased what
say that
they
you're
were
in
capable
Dallas,
of.
bro.
We knew that they would have a lot of fighting
What's the
caliber
point
behind
of
them. We
saying
knew that
that
they
you're
were going to be
somewhere
methodical in their gameplay because
when
both
there
of
was no
them
fans
really
from
savvy
that somewhere?
competitors. But we want to hear directly from Somerset and Muzz. So, Levin, what have you got for us?
We are here
Look at them,
with our
bro.
game one winners.
They're
A
in
lot of
like
people
a ball
looked
or
at you
something.
two and thought you
That guy
guys are
is
two of the better
tall.
players competing together. Somerset, I said if you guys didn't do well, I'd
That's
be a bit
Mud, but
disappointed.
not gonna
So
lie.
far, game one, not a disappointment, eh?
No,
I
no, no.
thought that
I
was
think we're
Faxity
definitely doing
earlier.
how we thought we would do,
I
and
was like,
there's so
wow,
much more to come, so stay tuned.
Faxity
Stay
really
tuned, stay tuned, Muzz.
changed over like a
That game
year.
was smooth, man. It looks like you guys
I
were.
just
I
saw
mean, bro,
X set.
everyone's like trying to fight because, you know, there's some creators here
Yeah,
that aren't like, they don't play Fortnite. Everyone's trying to drop kills, but we're just playing a calm, smooth end game, took height, and just got a
alright.
clean win.
Is there anything you think that can stop you guys today?
Maybe like someone just griefing us for fun, but that's about it.
Nobody would do that, though, right? We don't know anyone who'd do that. Somerset, I mean, did you even have any difficulty in that game? Was there anyone that caught you by surprise at all? Was it just like an easy game one?
It honestly felt a lot more calm than I thought it would. The game kind of died
This
out
guy
pretty
should be like
quick,
a
and then
security
we were
man.
just
He's
looking
just
at height the whole
big and
time. I
tall
felt
and
like, and like
have a really
maybe
deep
the one
voice.
fight on height was a little rough, but everything else was honestly pretty smooth, to my surprise, anyways. So.
And you're playing with someone that's got a fair bit of experience on land. Were you a bit nervous in that first game at any point, right? You know?
No, I've played with Muzz a lot, so just in my past, we've got good chemistry when it comes to just playing, and we're just here to do what we got to do.
A solid game one. Hope to see more from these guys as far as wins are concerned. I mean, it's not too shabby, guys. Taco, Jacob, what do you think?
Fantastic game number one, and a real way to set the pace, because now a lot of our pros got that first game out of the way. They know how their duo actually is, the kind of pacing that they need to play. And then on the flip side of a lot of our pros, specifically Muzz, Somerset, Rapid, even though Typical Gamer inside of the mix as well, they've warmed up and ready to go. Even Cooper and Zemi making it far.
What's been nagging in the back of my mind, though, is what is going to happen with Jinxie in Game 2? Because we didn't get to see anything from Game 1. I'm really sad to even have to utter those words, but it's just the reality of it is that the competition, it can be pretty cutthroat, and I think that they definitely experience it firsthand.
Yeah, and I think we've seen so many moments for those that are a little bit more familiar with Fortnite competitive, but the gliding process, especially in a map like Reload, where there is hills, there is mountains, there's buildings where you can instantly land, get either a floor loot or a chest, get one of those ARs out of the spawn, and instantly start to look off into the distance. So I think the bus path definitely did not play a good role in Poyo and Jinxie going down early. But honestly, I think even for Poyo, for Jinxie, they're going to come back. They're going to probably try to switch something up in terms of their drop, because that glider mechanic where you can cut the glider might not be something that they were really thinking about in that last game.
Hey, always gotta have faith, though. I know that Jinxie's chat is definitely going to try and help him with the whole bounce back mentality, and then obviously the Poyo factor. You can never count out the Poyo distribution chain of events, because we're going to see something crazy from him at least once here today.
Yeah, and we saw, Peterbot kind of doing Peterbot things. Didn't really see how Faxity did go down in that game, but when we did see Peterbot solo, I think like 9 eliminations or something, I saw Rapid and Typical Gamer, even though they did finish, second place in that last game, throughout the course of that game, I saw Rapid's name in the feed, and it wasn't getting eliminations, let me tell you. So I don't know how they were able to pull that one back, but much congratulations for them on that one. And, Muzz and Somerset, you even talking about their drop spot on the side of the map. It's not a POI at all. It's more of a split drop, but they figured out a way to make it work.
Yeah, it seems like, a lot of that pre-existing duo chemistry, Summer kind of touched on it, but it was more so the fact that they just picked the perfect
I do
timing to
not want
really
to
get the
watch
upper
a
hand on
post
challenging
game
height against
after the
Clix and
game
Lacy. It
one.
looked as though Clix and
Can
Lacy
we
were
go
going to
on
have
to
very
game 2,
firm grasp
please?
on the high ground, but that just got
You
shut
know
down
what?
in an instance, and it's difficult
They
when you're playing the high ground because you want to be playing the
Maybe
suppressive
them
measures.
not
You
being
want to
in
be spraying
arena
down into those lower
or
layers, but
stadium
you
is good.
always have to think
Because you
about
know why?
looking up, because you never know when that
Last
launch
year,
pad challenge is going to actually break through and kind of throw everything up in the air for your
mid
game.
tournament,
Yeah, just seeing that moment
the
right there,
lights, the
just so
power
close,
went out.
Agers getting that elimination. And
The
now you
power
see
went out
Muzz,
in the
Somerset.
arena.
And the funny thing about this is they not only
So
contested Clix and
maybe
Lacy
it's
for the
good. I
high
don't
ground
know.
and won it, but they reconnected the Clix and Lacy's high ground, which allowed them to hold it for as long as they did. Because you can see how little builds they actually had as Muzz drops down, kind of misses that first shockwave, but that shot right there, the opener onto
I still watch
Rapid, hits
Podium
the
MCC, bro.
back-to-back, gets the down.
Nah.
Typical gamers just in a tight
Maybe
situation
for
there, especially with the
TwitchCon, but
zone coming
probably
up the
not.
side of the mountain.
Because
We know how that
TwitchCon
one
is
can
like
end.
a,
Yeah, that was just really
it's like
well
an
played by
actual
Muzz, just
tournament
finding
thing.
the advantageous right side. That's
If they
going
got
to
a
be the
crowd
winning
and
sign almost
PC
every single time
setups
in
and
those
all
types
that.
of box fights. But still, I also really got to give a big shout out there to Kanata, because the fact that Kanata was able to pull out like a solo place third, he just won $200 just for surviving. So you never really want to count yourself out entirely, even if the circumstances look grim, even if you think that
You know,
there's
well,
really
maybe I'll
nothing
still
more
watch
to be
Podium
done.
MCC
Kanata's
after,
proving that he's ready to go the distance.
Yeah, I think this mode is a little bit more manageable for solos
you
in
know,
this
after I
situation. And one of the
stop
things,
doing
because
the My
there is no
Version thing.
storm surge that you have to worry about. There is storm sickness, doesn't necessarily play the same role, but that allows for like a little bit more freedom. You don't have to worry about an aspect of the game where you have to accumulate damage while not taking damage. And I still think there's a little bit more freedom. I think Kanata has been in these scenarios before. Like I mentioned, he has played with Jason. He has pulled off wins in heal-off scenarios with Jason as well. So I think playing with Arc, I mean, he's already familiar with the kind of situation that he's in today for the program.
Well, I know if anything, Art's got to be feeling real good about watching his duo just kind of pull off a free 100 for each of them, because the way that that's getting split, I don't think that there is a better outcome than knowing that your duo is someone that you can depend on to still manage to come out on top and find those extra little bits of money for you.
Yeah, and it's all about consistency at the end of the day. Obviously, if you win every single one of these games, we know you're at the top of the leaderboard, but we know that it is almost virtually impossible.
Yeah, they do.
Especially
Them
in a
two been
tournament like
hosting
this.
it.
So it's about consistency. So like you talked about Kanata, we got Muzz and Somerset, we got Typical Gamer and Rapid, and I usually think in a tournament like this, maybe you could have one bad game. Maybe two at the most. So the teams, you know, have Poyo and Jinxie going down early. You cannot get in your own head because a comeback is always possible.
Well, even when we look back at, you know, some of the more FNCS-oriented types of things, like the Reload Elite series is, like, obviously the standout for me. And I think how often do we see teams that really just needed, like, 3 or 4 solid end games? And that was usually going to be the recipe for success. And I think here today, it's kind of going to follow a very similar nature, maybe even less. Maybe only, like,
Can we
2
get
or
on to
3
game
lobbies
2
realistically need to
and
be
stop
converted
talking?
into solid end game placement finishes. But I do
Why
think
are
that
we
there's always the
talking
wild
here?
card factor of who's going to be able
I
to
thought
rack up
this
the
was
most
a
eliminations between
Fortnite
matches.
tournament.
It seems like
It was
that
the
is
Fortnite.
just the fortitude that Pete is kind of trying to approach today's competition with, but losing to Axity as early as he did, that definitely slowed him down in the end game.
They're not doing.
We're gonna need to see them try and stick it out more so as a duo rather than two solos trying to.
They're not doing
And
another
honestly, we kind of
12-win
know
next
and
year.
we've seen it here. You know, Victor V getting the eliminations that he did. We saw Venom.
They're
pick up,
doing this
Pete pick up
because
these
last year
eliminations.
was
And so much means,
so
you know,
good.
if Faxity was able to stay alive just
They're
a
not
little
doing
bit longer,
another
even
one.
if he eventually goes down, the resources that he would have in his loadout that he could take further into the game for someone like Peterbot is definitely like something that just cannot go unnoted. So just kind of going into game 2, I'm just wondering, is there strategies going to switch
In the
up?
last
Are
one,
players
didn't they
gonna
have
try
like
to
a
keep
timer?
things the same? I think for one game, it's too soon to start to switch things up drastically.
I wouldn't be too surprised though if we do start to see duos kind of
Oh, you wouldn't be
approaching more of a
surprised now, huh?
chaotic stance on things, just because when you really
Oh, they're not in somebody's
experience
house.
it, like
They're
super
in
directly. This is the most direct way you're
some
going to be able to
office.
experience like what a pro Fortnite player is capable of,
Yeah,
especially coming
probably
from
in
like
like
the
some
NAC
office.
region. And I do think that it really,
You know what? They
puts
do
you
have
in
a
your mind,
crowd.
like, wow, there's
They
levels
got
to
a
this,
crowd, alright?
and I might
The
not
crowd
realistically be able to match any of
is
them. So
the
where can I
cameraman.
put my strengths? Where can I invest my stocks into instead? And I think where a lot of that comes back to kind of what you had mentioned of just like being that sort of loot llama, being that extra backpack for your duo to try and set them in the best position so that we can see instances like Kanata making it through as a solo and pulling off a third place finish. I think that anything and everything is certainly possible here, but whether or not teams start to lean more into that like chaotic nature, I do think that that's where the content side might start to take over.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like, some players might come in with the mentality of like, I'm just here for fun. I'm here for the vibes, make some content, collab with everybody in the game. But then after 6 games, you have a chance to win. That switch flips in your head, like, okay, now it's time to take this serious. It was all fun and games, but now it's time to end
Lacy can
with a bang,
easily
essentially.
see
And that's
typical
what I kind
game
of want
was
to see with some of these teams. I want to see that switch
set
being
up.
flipped, like in motion, realizing like they do kind of have what it takes to win the entire thing, and honestly kind of take over through your own abilities. We know Clix can kind of frag out with the
He's
best.
gonna try to
We've seen
interview
Rapid
Peter,
use
but
that in an actual strategy that won him the Reload Elite Series qualifiers, so we know what these players have in them. It's just about bringing it out of them.
Hey, Levin's ready to kind of stand by on the sidelines, though. Big Dog's going to have a great conversation here with Pete, so let's hear what they have to say.
I am
Pizza?
here with someone who I think we're going to see a lot from today. That first game, how many limbs did you have, bro?
About 9.
About 9. Standard game for you. I mean, you had 9 limbs. What went wrong then? What was the problem?
Unfortunately, Faxity's nervous game 1, but we're going to have to give him some pep talks for sure. Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, honestly, you and him are friends, right? So, like, how are you going to motivate him and calm him down?
I don't know. I'm probably going to bring up his weight. And then on top of that, I'm probably going to tell him that he's the best content creator here. Yeah.
That's not. You actually said something nice about it, man. That's nice. I'm curious.
This is crazy,
because
bro.
obviously, one of the big narratives for this competition was last time we had a pro was
Oasis-
different. It was the FNTS
no, a
program,
black
and
guy
you played with Ozzy. And
interviewing
you won. What is the biggest
Oasis
difference
man.
for you playing with Fax versus
because
playing
he's
with
good
Ozzy?
at Fortnite.
I mean, I personally think Faxity is better than Ozzy, so I don't think it should be a problem. But so far, Ozzy's looking, he has a better track record.
I did speak to Fax after the game, and he did say he's worried that you're going to shout at him. Do you feel like you have to sort of manage his personality a bit and maybe give him a bit of a softer touch?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I already kind of did yell at him, so it's already that.
No wonder he's nervous, man.
I mean, bro, he shouldn't be nervous. He's playing with the best player in the game, you know?
All right, look, we're going to let you go prepare for the next game, man. Good luck. Let's get a double digit this time. 9 is all right, but you're Peter Bar, bro.
Like 12? 12?
Well, let's do 12. Let's do 12. All right, lightweight.
This guy,
lightweight.
this interview
I
is,
want
I
to talk
think
to
he's
another player
British.
who didn't quite have the best game, so good luck, Pete, in the next one.
Why don't we interview
we're gonna
typical
go
game
talk
over there?
to Lacy real quick, because Lacy
Lacy?
and Clix were on height, and it looked like they were going to win the game.
You're
and
about to
then
bump
things
into
kinda
TG.
went awry. Lacy, quickly, right, before you get into game, you and Clix, you were on height in that first game, and it didn't quite go your way. What went wrong on height, mate?
Listen, man, sometimes things don't go to plan, but the one thing you got to focus on is building an empire. This game is a temple, and Italy wasn't built in a day.
Right. I think people usually say Rome wasn't built in a day.
Where's Italy at?
Ooh,
Rome.
Italy's in. Okay. All right, guys. Look, UTD. I'm sure they teach better geography at this university than what we got going on over here. So is
Did
the
you
plan
guys see
for
that?
today?
Was I the only person who catch that? Because they put Lacy and then his socials 3 times. And the first 2 times they put Polo. Did you guys catch that? He put like Polo. Something Polo. And then they got it right. I was ignoring it. And then I just realized that they actually got it right. Lacy himself. What is wrong? This is like the worst, most stupidest, most unorganized FNCS program of all time. There was not gonna be one next year. They're in an office. It's not even hosted by Fortnite. These people aren't even in Dallas. It says it's in Dallas, but there was no arena, no crowd. This is Fortnite broke? What happened in the past year? Like, was Chapter 7 really that bad? That they just lost so much money?
But Lacy, you have one job. for the next interview. Literally 1, and you already know what it is. 3 strikes, and you're out of here, Bucko. We're gonna shuttle you down the
You guys
stairs.
have one
Not
job to
actually,
get
but,
his
like, you see what
socials
he does on
right.
the beautiful campus. Notice it on the way in here. So maybe he could go do some sightseeing, cool off.
Maybe be a student here next semester. But honestly, well deserved for them. What did they get? Like 2nd place in that last game. We're talking about Kanata. We talking about Muzz and Somerset. Again, you know, I feel like I was one of the few people that actually remembered Somerset's big win in the Clix Icon Series. Beat Clix out in his own tournament. Beat Clix out in game 1. Is Somerset the kryptonite for Clix?
I don't even know if she needs to be the kryptonite. She might just be the counter to the entire lobby. Her and Muzz just looked seamless. The moment that they got established on high ground, the moment they were able to have a successful challenge up against the likes of Clix and Lazy and dethrone them, it just looked like everything else was
Apparently
fine
this
like
guy
bread
right
and
here,
butter. They
Quackly,
made it work every step of the
is
way.
not
I thought
even
the
a
material
content
count,
creator.
maybe it's going to be a problem, but Muzz shuts that down in a moment. Finding a
Flantic's
better
a
angle
pro.
and just really understanding how to kind of
Isn't Fact
tackle
City a pro
those
too?
endgame instances. I think that that's somewhere that
Who
like
else
Muzz
is a
can definitely
pro?
shine in that department because he's just
So I
not
don't
really
even know
had that
half
like
these
nervous
content creators, bro.
side. Muzz is great at like capitalizing those moments.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're
Someone
kind of
says a
using
pro
the fact
too, I
that
think.
like this is the pro
I
league.
know
These are
Fact
some
City,
of the biggest names
Flantic,
in streaming, not just Fortnite itself. So
Yugi,
it's kind of
Zemi,
easy to get lost in
Jinxie,
like the
Lacy,
limelight and
Typical
having
Random,
fun
Oki,
and making content. Muzz
Stable
is like,
Ronaldo,
all right, y'all do
Somerset, and that's
that.
it.
I'm just gonna be over here
The
having a calm,
pros,
cool,
I
collected
know
game. He's not
Peterbot
trying to get
Higgs,
flashy in terms of eliminations. He's not trying to get
I don't know
flashy in
much about
terms of fighting for
Booga,
high ground every single game. I think that
Poople.
was an opportunity that just came to
Hold
them.
up,
So now that I'm
this is
kind of like
probably the guy
looking
who
at
they said
it,
that
we all kind of
Lacy's
talked about them being a little bit
socials
of
is,
kind of like
bro.
that dark horse
But I
team,
know
that honorable
Clix,
mention. But as the game, you know, one played out, I'm like, okay, maybe it's the ones
and that's
just
it.
like this, the ones that are going under the radar, not making unnecessary risks until they absolutely have to.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely going to be a duo that we are going to continue probably having to talk about as the matches for today develop. But some teams that I definitely want to see maybe find a little bit more of that rise towards the spotlight. I know
I know it's
Cooper's
16
we
people,
saw
bro, and
a
there
little bit
was
of like flashes,
2,
but
4,
you
6,
want to
8,
see
10,
the consistency
uh,
behind things. And I think
it
that's where
is
this kind of format can be very difficult in the reload
4 times
environment, is
5,
that it
20.
is very hard
There was
to
20
stay
teams.
consistent, especially when there are so many different things that can kind of shut you down along the way, because you never know. If you find an elimination on a duo and you put them to a solo after that 7th zone, well, what if they decide to just play spoiler the rest of the tourney? I mean, we already heard Lacy in that interview, I don't care what happens as long as Peterbot doesn't win. And what's Pete saying? I'm going to win. I just need Fast
Can we
to be a
start
little bit
the?
less
I
nervous
completely
because I'm
forgot
the best
that
player in the game
game
right
2
now.
is
So like the
next.
confidence factor is 100%
I'm not gonna be here
being
all night.
exhibited right now, I think, from a good portion of our pros for sure. But I want to see that energy.
My
kind of be
stream
matched.
is
We
at
know
30
Fast.
minutes, bro.
He's got more in the tank than that.
Yeah, I think especially since you kind of look at, you know, I was talking to both creators, pro players, and people just kind of joining today to just watch the games here in person. And, you know, just looking at, you know, Victor V, Crackley, Ritual, Nina. A lot of people had each and every one of these teams inside of their top 5, maybe even potential to win it all. But we saw in game 1, they're contesting each other. And they're not messing around. I saw multiple times Ritual go down, Nina go down, Victor V went down. Each of them took their turn getting rebooted out of the sky. So it just goes to show, like, hey, even if I go down, I'm coming back. I'm going right back up where
Was
I
the
left
pro in
off. And they're
last
just
year
gonna have to
said
fight me
Kuwait
again and
series?
again and again until the
That's
zone
I
clears
saw a
us out.
first
And that's
Kuwait
a
series. I
contested
don't know.
chiseled cube. The game ended there at game 1. So Victor V and Crackley probably fighting off Ritual and Nina all game long. So we'll kind of see how that switches up depending on where the zone goes if they continue to butt heads at that POI.
And it does make things difficult because you're already looking at a triple contested POI, and then when you see the end zone kind of just like closing in on that position, you know that there's just so many pre-existing builds that you're going to have to try and work your way through. I do think that that
Not
became
gonna lie, bro.
a problem in those
There's
final
gonna be at
moments
one
for
point in
Rapid
this
at one
tournament.
point, even when he was initially
Well,
trying
I'm
to
just
break
gonna
through, even look
mute
for that
and
initial
just
final challenge onto Muzz and Somerset. But
do something.
again, We don't know where the zones are
mute
going
and
to
just
fall.
go on my
That's
phone.
always going to be determined by just the luck of the draw itself and some of
Like,
these endgame circumstances. I do
doing
think that Queasy presented a pretty smart strategy. It's one that we're very
doing
familiar with
the
even when it comes to the reload
inner
environment of
games,
just
I guess. I
you
don't know.
drop isolated,
Doing
you
the
stay separate from your
games,
duo,
I'm
you
going to
hope
just
that
not
they're
be here.
able to gather the materials, gather the loot that you need just in case things go south. But Queasy taking a bet on himself of, hey, where can I try and cause a little bit of disruption? Where can I maybe try and find some eliminations and just really be a problem for another duo to set myself up in the best position to finish ahead.
Yeah, especially since you sometimes got to realize, like, you can't always be the hero in Reboot. You know, if Ash Alk or any of the players in the game go down, right, you're going to get rebooted right above your teammate. So that's a ton of information in its own. You know, you get a free elimination in the sky, or should, and then you know somebody is around that actual spot. The only time you don't spawn right above your teammate is if they're in
If
the
I could
zone
pause my
itself,
stream.
and then you just spawn right there outside of it, kind of in that
Oh my
direction.
God.
So if you don't find anybody, maybe they reboot over open land, you know somebody is deep in that zone trying to stay alive, and it's only 12
Oh
seconds.
my God.
Which seems like a little bit of time, but
Stop
probably
talking
in the
so
moment,
much.
12 seconds seems like an eternity, especially if you're getting 2v1, players trying to push into your box. Of course,
Can we
if you
start
get a
game
knock, if
2
you
off?
get elimination or an
Bro,
overall
start the
team wipe,
game.
it cuts that time down
Yeah.
exponentially. But when you're in a 2v1, sometimes you don't have the luxury
This
to do
is
that.
what happens
It's
when
just
you
gotta feel like
host
a lifetime.
this
And
in
that
in
kind of scenario
college.
too, I almost feel like
In a
your
Are they in a
shining hope
college?
is just that somebody else is
Start
rebooting
the
at the
game.
exact same time as you, right? Because maybe
That's what I'm
then it can
saying.
alleviate some of the pressure. Maybe then
Start
you
the game.
hope that, you know, whatever duo is aggressing you, maybe they feel like they'll fare better at like farming that freshly rebooted player that just came in right after you. But yeah, a lot of it is just making sure that you can even get that initial touchdown presence in the first place, because whether you're
At least,
playing
like,
next
should I
to your
go to
duo, whether you
Ozzy's
get a little bit
chat?
separated, I
Ozzy
do think that we
talks to
saw
us.
a handful of issues for some players in the end game where they weren't necessarily able to kind of match the pace of their teammate, and so that just kind of introduced a whole new slew of problems where you're trying to stay next to them. You want to go with the hit-by-hit mentality, but if you get
I was
separated,
excited
they can't
for
exactly
this
look
thing
back
too,
to get
man.
you.
Yeah, especially since a lot of the
What a
rotation that
bummer.
comes in is in the form of these shockwave
It might just
overdrive
actually
grenades.
end.
And honestly, I'm one of those players that knows shockwaving with a duo, unless you're a professional player and actually know how, it is not easy. You don't know how to control it, and then you kind of end up elsewhere. And I think we saw moments of that with Acorn and Muda getting separated. Acorn realized I cannot continue to hold his hand, especially we're in Zone 9, Zone 10, the later portions of the game where everybody's like jam-packed like a can of sardines. So I do like the heads-up play for Acorn to kind of abandon ship, but how many times do you abandon ship, get left by yourself before you got to figure out a way to kind of change
Sorry
things
for the
up?
skip.
And also on the other note, is you got players like Muzz who are intentionally throwing those overdrive grenades at you to try and leverage a little bit of positional advantages or separate you from your duo. We saw Typical Gamer, that was the issue that he encountered. Muzz had a great placement on that overdrive grenade when he was dropping from height. It really allowed him to find that ISO positioning up against Rapid, and well, the rest is kind of history from there. We saw who won game one.
Yeah, Muzz throwing that shockwave grenade. Essentially, you know, one of two things the player has to build to protect themselves, or they just get shockwave somewhere while trying to land a shot, and it forced and put Muzz in a good position there to end the game. You're seeing most of our players kind of loaded up, ready to go, just kind of getting that last bit of conversation.
Everybody's saying
and
start the
almost
game.
makes
When
me
is it
wonder,
gonna
like,
start in
you
his
know,
chat?
you see two different sides right here. Peterbot, Clix, Lacy, probably Faxity off screen, all chatting, talking to each other, and then you kind of see like the top side of the screen where like Veno is just chilling in his own corner. You got Ron talking to Jinxie, Poyo, Rapid are sitting next to each other, so you know Veno is locked in. You know, Rapid for the most part locked in, and Poyo just locked in. I think Poyo's someone I think in game number 2 is going to come out with a chip in his shoulder, especially with how early he went down.
Hey, look, Jinxie and Poyo, they technically still have the element of surprise factor going for them. We didn't really get a chance to witness a lot of what they've kind of been
He doesn't even know.
practicing and putting it into actual application, but that could all
I
change
just don't get
at a
it.
moment's notice. It's a very good reality check, though. It's a very good awareness check, even. And I think, if anything, it makes this competition feel all that more real for somebody like Jinxie, who we know that he's been taking this competition
don't
very
care.
seriously. He's been trying to condition himself and
Start
put
the
himself
game.
in the best sort of, practice to
They're gonna have like a
actually
20-minute
tune
intermission.
in,
I bet you
make
they're
sure
gonna
all
start it
the,
in 2 minutes.
stops and tricks are polished and ready to fire off. But he's competitive. At the end of the day, he's extremely competitive, and he's not going to be happy with being the first eliminated.
In terms of like a lot of our non-familiar creator Fortnite faces, I think Jinxie has been putting in the most time out of everyone. And it's not just him, you know, playing with other pro players. I mentioned, you know, the likes of Faxity, Peterbot, Rise, he's played with Poyo, but he also plays solos. He plays with other streamers as well, so he just makes sure to get as many reps as possible. And you're in a big streamer like Jinxie, sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily the same game that everybody else is playing. You go through a ton more trials and tribulations than the random gamer, especially when you're having hundreds of thousands of people watching him. You know, that kind of helps him in a way deal with the pressure. But I think playing in a tournament versus streaming is
Just started already.
Amount of pressure.
Just started
Honestly, when you
already.
think about it, everybody in this lobby, everybody in today's competition, Peterbot included, they are so
Finally.
lucky that we're not on OG.
Oh, okay.
Because Jinxie would be
I
flying.
saw finally
okay?
in the
He
chat.
would be the dominating factor.
We'll
But
go back.
today's competition is all about
And I told
our
you so
standard
too.
reload taking place on
It
the
took them
Stronghold
20
map here
minutes
at
to start
UTV,
game
and
2.
we're heading straight into game 2 with Clix.
A 20-minute intermission?
Yeah, you already
No,
see in the
just
feed,
no.
Cooper down, Mud's down, winners of game 1, Hammy in the feed, early damage
40-minute
from Clix.
intermission
It's
is
going to give him a bit
crazy.
of confidence, try to push over. He does have a decent loadout, just no actual shields.
I already know I'm gonna
He's
see
trying to lurk. Cut the
TikToks
audio
of how
visuals, the sound
stupid
cues
this
to
thing
try to
is
get the
gonna
jump
be.
onto Higgs. But the longer he takes in this situation, the higher probability of Higgs not only being healed up, but having a full loadout to fight back.
And Clix kind of recognizing that the moment of opportunity has slipped by, so now he's better
Not gonna
off
lie.
just trying to take advantage of the spot.
The
Make
World
sure,
Cup
get a little bit of
was
materials, open
on
a couple of chests,
like at
try
9,
and see if he can
and
cut off some positional paths.
I was
while
like, this is gonna be
Lacy,
so
on
W,
the other
man.
hand,
I was
think
rooting
that
for
this is smart from
Argentina.
Lacy, though, kind of scouting the
Like, I
perimeter,
want
making
Argentina
sure that they're
win the
not
whole
going
World
to be
Cup.
immediately third party.
Argentina won yesterday.
Information is vital,
Quo
especially in a
Am
tournament like
is
this.
today.
It'll allow him to try to reunite back with his teammate.
I'm
He's
ready.
actually jumping onto Lacy.
I want
Higgs just
Lacy
going on
and
the
Clix to
full
win.
offensive here, but Lacy catching wind of this play. Literally
Last year's
seconds
Quo Am was
before
so
getting
good, even though the
jumped on,
teams
even
kind of
having
suck.
an opportunity there
I
to
don't really
fire
know that
back.
much people.
Good
It's still gonna be a
communication coming
good
out from Clix
event.
as well, closing the gap to make sure that if
No.
Clix and Lacy did get in a fight, it's going to be together.
I still don't know what's the
Damage has
point of
definitely
you
been
saying
done.
it's
Higgs
in
has
Dallas
essentially
if
kind of been pushed
there
out
was no
of
crowd.
the POI. Fossil Hole, we already saw that Raiden was just a little bit further
What's
off
the
in the
point
distance. I think
of
that Higgs
streaming
kind
an
of has a
FNCS
great
with no crowd?
understanding of the fact that
Honestly.
it's just the juice isn't really
We
worth
are
the
not
squeeze.
in
It is
COVID.
not worth overcommitting this early on. We don't want to be one of the first duos eliminated, and if I
I think
find
it's just
myself
because
in that
Fortnite
constant rebooting cycle,
doesn't really have
we're
anything
just
to
not
do with
gonna be able to
this.
play the end game consistently.
Yeah,
And
they got a good
it's
spot right now. You
Diagnos.
see Fran going down, Rapid and Reet staring at each other, one above, one below.
And
Just
Ozzy
trying to go ahead
Antics
and drop that
hosting
pizza
this
down. He
in
does have a
Fortnite.
shield,
Just
can't
saying,
get the
yeah, it's
shield up.
FNCS.
Reet does get the piece, but it gets stolen back. The Sentinel pumps Taco. They do so much structure damage that when you end up in a situation like this, it is a little tricky, but Rapid going straight on the offensive, freshly rebooted out of the sky is going to be Fran. Even with Reet putting down pressure onto Rapid, he still finds a way to get that elimination, and that's where you can kind of see Reet not necessarily going aggressive. He has to wait for Fran to get back in the game before he attempts any sort of offensive moves.
It's definitely just so unfortunate right there because Reet had proper intentions. He was doing a decent job at playing a little bit of defense there, but you can only do so much when your duo is getting keyed off that fresh reboot as Acorn and Muda trying to see whether or not they can find one of their first eliminations in this game. And sadly, Wapo will no longer be able to run it
Quality
through
sucks.
at their drop. Instead, he's going to have to hedge his bets elsewhere because Acorn and Muda holding strong.
Big elimination there. And honestly,
Weeboo's end at 6, right?
I give a little credit to the other side, being able to stay alive as long as he did. Just kind of keep an Acorn
6 storm circles.
Just feeling a little bit more confident. I want to see him kind of farm up, be the resource gatherer that they have right now. Only 6 builds. It's not going to be a ton. It's
Oh, it's
definitely
because they're
not
having
what
this
we're gonna have
reload
with you
elite
into the end game.
tournament
Coop taking
thing.
out Guapo. Rise just trying to stay alive. The 12-second timer has already been started. So probably just a few more seconds here. Shockwave just in case to try to not only get distance, but move on over towards that drop where a whole other player fresh off of the reboot starts to go for it. Does end up in the box. That's Rapid. Shots continue to fire. Guapo's there. This could be a big win for them because they not only get the eliminations, but they get that drop of loot.
They actually needed this desperately too, and not only that, but they're doing a great job at pushing Coop back. That is until Coop decides to flip the narrative. Wapo has been knocked, so now Rise, recognizing he
My
is the
stomach
last
hurts.
standing member of his duo, he's got to be a little
I'm
bit
gonna wait.
cautious. Doesn't
I'm
want to
gonna go
find
poop
himself eliminated
right
before Wapo
when this
actually has a
game
chance to
ends.
get that reboot off, but Coop definitely sending a message here.
You didn't
Probably
go
a little bit
anywhere,
unhappy that the
Rise.
supply drop didn't go his way, but at the same time, not losing out on too much here.
And this is a wildly different Cooper than we seen in last year's Pro-Am. Cooper and Zemi last year were playing consistent, playing placement, playing their game. This time around, you see like the evolution of Reload in general.
I don't even
You
know the
send one of your
scoreboard.
players looking to
Did
get
they even show the
eliminations, and Cooper
scoreboard
is
in that
taking
whole
that
entire
role for him
20-minute
and
intermission?
Zemi. And honestly, this could be scary because
The
they
whole
made it
20-minute
deep into that
intermission, they
last
didn't
game,
even
because
show the
about to be
score.
decently high up on the leaderboard. So now adding to that total, but Coop goes down. The run finally coming to an end as Rise cuts him short.
But 5 eliminations, and we are in Zone 3, Jacob. He is clearly trying to match the pace right now from what we were seeing out of the likes of Peterbot, for example, in Game 1. Victor V, I believe, at one point was even getting quite fraggy with it. So everyone's sort of recognizing the fact that, hey, I don't want to depend exclusively on the placements. I can still, you know, pack a little bit of a difference in leaderboard standings as long as I'm able to get some solid eliminations.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody was nearby when this kind of all played out. And I think Rise realizes I can't go out and be the hero for Guapo, so
Why
in
is
essence,
Zemi
the
just in a
roles
bush?
have essentially
Where is his
switched. Usually
teammate?
it's the content creator trying
Coop.
to stay alive, who
Big
out the pro
Coop.
could get as many reboots and eliminations as
Is that
possible.
Cooper?
But Rise
Did they
picking
have
up
the
that
same?
elimination, not only got the pile of loot, but allowed him to build him a little base. So no matter what Guapo goes through in this scenario, Rise should be relatively safe.
And Zemi maybe flirting a little bit with disaster here, realizes that he's going to get pressed from 2 separate angles.
I think the
Beats
reason
2
why this is
teams
so
even. It's
bad
Queasy, while
is
he was
because
trying to
Fortnite
take
isn't
some
hosting it,
shots
and
over
it's
at Rapid. Was successful in landing that initial mammoth.
Dignitas.
Granted, when you take that much
It's
damage
hosting it,
yourself, you
and they
realize,
can't
I'm just
get
gonna have to fall back.
arenas
I
or
don't think that it's
stadiums
worth
and
risking being eliminated currently.
anything
but
good.
He's just got to be so wary because Queasy and Ash, they might just sneak up at a moment's notice.
Yeah, right now you can kind of see not
Like-
a lot of heavy ammo. Cooper doesn't have a lot of shotgun ammo. In fact, only 1 shot left, and it almost has to be perfect here. Ending up on this in the same box, trying to spray through and place as much control as possible. With that 1 shot, I know it's in the back of his mind. It has to be perfect, but he doesn't even get an attempt. Rapid instantly shutting him down. You can see Typical Gamer so far off into the distance, but Rapid doing his job, picking up eliminations. And honestly, I like what I'm seeing at Rapid. We've seen the same thing in game number 1, just not as much early game success. We saw Rapid going down, but he was able to pick himself back up. And now, with a little bit less pressure off his shoulders, he's looking to kind of just continue to farm out these players
so
that
bad.
are
I have
getting
to
eliminated
so
here.
bad.
He
so
just
I'm
wants
about
to keep
my
putting the
pants.
hurt onto Cooper right now. And Cooper doing what he can to see if he can
But I
try
can't,
and maybe
'cause if
fall
I go
back.
poop,
He's
I
got
already know
Zemi
the game's
close
gonna be
by,
in.
so maybe that 2 versus 1 could
I gotta
just be
hold
the
it when it
narrative shift
happens.
that they need. But for right now, got to take a look.
You know what? I
where
think I
Reed
can
and
look at
Fran
the
are getting up
scoreboard.
to. I know they had a very difficult time from that
I'll
initial
do that.
opening, but seems like they've
But
managed
I'll
to
do it
get
on my
some form
phone,
of
though.
recovery going for
Just-
themselves as Rapid and
Yeah.
PG now realizing
I'll just tell
that
y'all.
eventually we're going to have to reunite. It's just how long is it going to take Rapid to actually make it to
I
where
have-
Typical Gamer is at?
Yeah, how much resources do you use
Oh
on
my
your
God,
way
I'm
there? The
actually
zone is
gonna
pulling towards the north. And right now,
I think I have
Cooper
to
Zemi,
stop
they do have
talking
a
about it, or
launch
else
pad
I'm gonna
back
get
there,
banned,
so I
but
don't
okay.
see too much reason for them to rush. You got to watch out the teams on the eastern edge, but around the map continue to get active. Victor V picks up another one onto Nina, as Booga and Yuki are looking to rotate together this time around, whether they're looking for eliminations or the launch pad. They're not
Yugi, has
necessarily
Yugi ever
looking to
played?
just kind of throw out their game right
like,
now. It is fifth
I don't
zone, so
know.
there is 2
I
more
don't think
before
I've
the
ever
reboots
watched
actually
Yugi play
turn off,
Fortnite.
but it's
He's
around
probably
the fifth
had
zone,
played
you tend to
Fortnite
play a little bit
before.
more careful.
Look, the Lion is always on the prowl.
Last year they
It's
had
just
Booga
a
and
matter of
Typical
time
Gamer.
before they actually find their victims
Typical
to go
Game was
on
like
a
one of the
hunt
best content creators
for.
ever.
But Reek, Fran,
Like, he is one of the
a little
best
bit
players.
dicey here, but it's all about punishing Ham
And,
and Agers,
yeah.
trying to see if he can
They
prevent
put him
them
with
from
the
actually
World
going
Cup
down.
winner.
He wants to play defensive measures for his duo, and that big mammoth shot is really going to cut the gap here, but immediately has to fall back. Reed just continuing to bear down on Agers' position, and now 2 versus 1. Will he be able to tango still?
Yeah, he went ahead and pulled aggressive. You poked the bear. Now that he's awake, he's looking to kind of start throwing punches right back. But Ager's using shockwaves, a lot of his builds to try to maneuver in and out, but third-party shots coming in. The annoyance from Frantic as well, trying to put down pressure, forcing him out of position. But Hammy is now down, so Ager's 12 seconds. You are on the clock, 26 HP. He's able to pop one pizza, but it doesn't give you much HP. It's all shields. He's still one shot away from going down, especially with the player knocking on that door. So let me tell you, it's not Halloween. They're not looking for candy. They're looking for the elimination onto Agers, and he did it. He survived long enough for Hammy to get back.
And the movement is impeccable right now from Agers, but just long enough. They came down to the final wire, but now can Hammy do the same? Because you have to remember, he just freshly rebooted. That's a bat signal to the sky for everyone
much
else
people
in
left.
the vicinity, and whether or not Hammy's going to be able to follow suit, doesn't look like that seems to be the
I
case.
want to know when
Only
the
Bugha actually
reboots
did
end.
find his first prey of the lobby there, but now Lacy Clix. Rather successful in game one.
What
But
is
you
this
obviously
graphic?
always want to take it one step further as the matches continue to develop.
Yeah, we're talking about, you know, how many games do you need? How many high-scoring games do you need to kind of take the whole tournament? You
Players are definitely going to start to recognize this is
Oh,
where
wow.
I can make my advantageous pushes. This is where we can try and maybe fall back a little bit more so and
That
be
didn't
able to
do
just play for
anything.
the high ground in the later stages of the lobby. But
Set it back to
she
this.
is receiving the treatment currently, and it is going to be a
Am
rather
I
difficult
live
task
right
to
now?
actually get 2 feet on the ground again.
not too many worries, though. 35
Let me
seconds.
reload
Still
it.
35 seconds. Probably got two
I just do this. X. And then almost press the X again, man, honestly. So usually this would be this is gonna be a VOD posted on Thursday. Usually it'll be on like Wednesday because it's a reaction, but like I already have a reaction coming, so it's gonna be on Thursday. So it's Fortnite. Kind of the same thing with the typical game icon skin. I already had a reaction, but it's Fortnite, so it could be on Thursday. I don't know what
Just hope and pray that everybody decides to stop looking at you when you're in that type of circumstance. But for right now,
that week
Google
when I
Gamer
reacted to
Rapid,
Minecraft Live.
second
I
place game
posted on
one.
Friday, but I already had a
They're
video
looking
on
for Victory
Friday.
Royale,
Fine.
but it's going to be
Typical
tough
gamer got
to follow up when
lasered.
TG loses all of his shield, nearly all of his HP, and he is fully exposed. But no one is willing to try and take a stab at it just yet. Even though he's separated from Rapid, I don't think that the other duos nearby actually recognize how far apart they were for a moment.
Yeah, and I don't think most people saw how weak he actually got on that last exchange. But Prime Page actually making it back into the game. Acorn
Yes,
trying to save
Acorn
the day
got
here
on
onto
1
Muda,
HP.
but the build's getting sprayed away. He's not going to be the hero that Muda needs.
I've heard
but
of
at least for
Acorn
now,
before.
Acorn's still alive. A full Flowberry Fizz, 3 medkits, so we could see Acorn here up to a 200 effective shielded HP, but he needs to figure out a way to get the time.
This guy
So
went
that
down to
shield is
1
still
HP.
popping off.
Let's
Sprays
keep
to
on
come in
watching this
direction,
guy,
but They
bro.
have to reload, and that's the time Acorn's using to pop the medkit here.
All
He's
eyes
actually
on me
doing
in the
crazy.
worst way possible. Fortunately, he does get that moment of recovery, kind of slowing down
Acorn
time for
went up
himself,
back
but
to his
Ashout
Corn thing.
not going to be put in that same kind of situation. He is fully eliminated. It is Queasy left to his own devices. Try and figure out whether he's going to actually be able to stay charging forward, but either way, try to take a gander.
Oh, honestly, I saw that thing
It's going to be difficult to
was
establish any
like
sort of positioning
the
here.
staff in that
Emphasis.
office thing
Toe the line, but they find
telling
Rapid.
creators that they're
Gamer
gonna have to
down and
check
out
their
for the count.
PC
Yeah,
to see if
both
they have
shots are
macros
knocked.
or
Cleanbot
aimbot.
cleans it up. They're getting all of the loot
Didn't they just
for
get
all
there?
that attempt, but actually kind of still in the game, kind of
They
quiet.
have to.
under the
They had to
radar.
practice
You
on
know,
like
this
their
might
own
be a
setups,
change up
right?
from Peterbot, playing more at a slower pace to make
Like
sure
they just
that
got
Vax
on
is
their
able to
setup.
make
How are
it
they?
in this game.
How do you
And
expect them to
honestly, a lot of
download
those going through
hacks
consistency and
when they
placement throughout the course
just came
of
there?
the 7
honestly?
games today? Plus, we talk about the top 3 prize money is Clix Lacy. They use that launch pad. It's not as high and as far as you typically would, but they cut that glider short. They're going to be happy with positioning themselves towards the front side of the zone.
But it looks like they're not the only ones that are after
Well, if
it.
Clix
Acorn
wins his
actually
first
applying a little bit of
FNCS,
pressure here up against Clix.
which
Doesn't
is
matter
like
that
a
he goes solo.
FNCS
He's
that like
willing to
Fortnite's
bet
not
on
even
himself.
hosting,
Bolts, though,
that would be
seemingly
crazy.
having a little bit of an easier time kind of capitalizing on some of these solos left in the lobby, but look at Somerset and
Like, that would
Muzz
be a
front side
controversial
right
win, though.
away. They're immediately going to be joined by Poyo, though. So you always have to factor in who else might be following up. Pigs on the receiving end of some damage here, but doing what he can to try and stay alive just moments longer.
Yeah, he has more than enough resources here to get the HP shield up, but what he doesn't have is the actual materials. One build left. Pausing here in a moment in time, trying to get the HP up. Doesn't want to take one shot and eventually go down, so he's lurking, trying to figure out if there's anybody in the backside of the zone they can catch off guard. Audio visuals not necessarily there, so he's going to have to dig deep in his pockets. Maybe start his second med kit now.
Could just look to play for a little bit of placement. Ideally, probably just trying to buy himself some time so he can find a more natural shot, though. Working his way in from the total backside of zone. He's bound to run into someone, whether he wants to or not at this stage of the game. Is now frantic, solid recovery, 7 eliminations as a duo, but they're going to need more. They only have 10 builds between the two of them, and that's just not going to be enough material if you really want to try and bring game 2 home with that victory royale. So first and foremost, got to recognize that's Faxity and Peterbot trying to take over ultimate height, and Fax has managed to build his way up. He's just fully cranking. Pete will join him whenever he gets the chance to. Right now, he's just causing so much chaos in these lower layers.
Yeah, he knows going up the side of the mountain, just trying to make it harder and harder for anybody to put one foot in front of the other. Lacy doing a good job reuniting with Clix, staying off that low ground. And that low ground is like quicksand. If you continue to struggle, you just kind of sink in that moment. And for Clix and Lacy, they're not even getting lost here. They're focused on what's in front of them. That's getting to the front side of that zone, no matter the cost. But as you look up, Acorn doesn't get a chance to contest. Poyo actually still gets the shutdown. So after going
Well, they should make wireless
game one,
earplugs like how they
is
make
trying to
wireless
have that
mouses.
summit run here again at the Pro-Am.
You know how, like, in a
And he might
wireless
just
mouse, you
do
don't have to
it
connect
if
it to
the lobby's
Bluetooth or
not
nothing?
careful, especially when you got the
It
likes
comes
of
with a
Peterbot and Faxity from way overhead. Just
a USB
causing
thing, and you
so
just have to
many
plug it
issues
into
for
your
all of these
computer.
teams that are trying to see, can
They
I
should have
tunnel
that.
through some of these mid-ground layers, but
And just
Pete
have, like,
having
a
none of it immediately eliminates
that
Reed.
little
Just
pointy
the
thing
worst player
on
to have to
earplugs
deal
that
with on the
connects it
high
and
ground
just
with that mana
connect it to your
Yeah,
phone.
takes out his teammate
And then you
Poyo
have the
second.
earplugs.
Lands another big shot
And you
on
don't
the
have to connect it
Venom.
to
And
Bluetooth
this
or
is where
nothing.
typically in a real game, Venom likes to try to
Honestly,
contest the high ground, but he's being pressured not only
that
by
would be so
Peterbot
much
and
better.
Faxity, but so many other teams as well. Another shot just trying to break through the mold. Somerset's
The
down.
only reason why
Muzz
I
is
don't
going to be
like
left by
wide
himself.
earplugs is because you
That's
have to
one
charge them.
of few solos left in this game. There's going to be 3
If
overall.
they made
Lacy, not one of them.
wireless earplugs like
Just
that,
constantly sending friendly reminders to everybody
I'd
underneath,
want
though.
them.
You better tarp off your head. You've got to keep a cone
It used to
overhead
have
or
wireless
something,
earplugs, but you
because
did
the
have to
moment that
connect
you're
it to
exposed,
Bluetooth.
you are immediately losing like
And they
all
were
of your
pretty
HP
good.
with it. As now Fax, Peterbot, Fax largely probably just in control of making sure to tap
But, like,
Fizz,
you know,
making
I
sure
just
that
don't
if they
like
get chopped, that they won't go down for it. Clix and
just
Lacy,
don't
on the
like
other hand, they
wireless.
can't get the better end of the exchange. That's
Wireless.
going to be Clix eliminated. Lacy
You gotta charge
following
it.
suit. Just too many players looking to cut them off.
We have Ron taken down as housemate Lacy, then Veno taking down Bolt, and now we have a 2v2. Veno and Ron versus Faxity and Peterbot. Some people have
Dang.
these as their top 2 in the entire tournament, but they have to figure out a way up. Ron is just sending
Faxity
it.
and Peterbot are
by
gonna win.
Faxity just a little bit. 38 HP, he cannot fly into the zone. Veno goes up, doesn't find what he's looking for, so he has no choice
I want
but to
Ron
go
and
back down
Dino to
low.
win.
Looking up, misses that shot again with the Mammoth.
But you're not gonna
Peterbot
win
is
against
working his way on
Faxity
down,
and
Taco.
Yeah, Venom's not giving up anytime soon either, because Faxity has just a sliver of HP. He's doing what he can, and Pete might just leave him as bait. He's ultimately trying to see if he can take out why the run.
Oh,
for Veno,
Faxity's
but
down.
It's going to be Veno who finds some of the opening shots here. Pete is
Peterbot is taking crazy storm damage. Oh.
He's got no HP
Oh my
left to
God.
work with. Ron and Veno just immediately shutting them down, despite not
They
having that
did it.
initial control of the high ground. It just didn't seem to
Listen,
matter.
bro,
The
last year
moment
you
that they were
got to
able
see their
collapse
exact
on
reaction when
Faxity,
they won.
it just kind of spelled disaster.
I don't
for
know
Pete
what
after
the
the fact.
reaction
Yeah,
is
it's
now.
just one of those things, you know, just making the right play at the right time. And he's playing with stable Ronaldo. It may have been in the Stone Ages, Taco, but he is an FNCS champion as well. You got 2 champions coming out in Game 2 firing on all cylinders. Remember I said Veno, you're just talking to him before the tournament actually started. He said, I am taking this serious. I want to win. And now he just won $1,000 alone in Game 2.
And Veno and Ron kind of just remembering who they are along the way in this lobby. And that is why today's
Would like to know the
competition, you
reactions.
can never really count anything as guaranteed.
Juan's getting a clip from her.
I'm here with the winners of game 2. We got a very
Can we get the
emotional run
victory
right
thing
now,
off the
man.
screen,
This guy's the
please?
GOAT, bro. This guy's the
Thank you.
GOAT, bro. He's taking me back to my prime, bro. This feels like 2019. Oh my God.
Veno, you're a bit more calm right now after that win. Maybe a bit of a nonchalant gimmick. But how you feeling after game 2?
I was a little nervous. It's a bit cold in here, so I was shaking a little bit, but he followed well.
Look, you guys are the only duo where you're both champs. You're both FNCS champs, you know? So I'm going to give you both the respect of being champs. From one champ to another, what was he able to do to make sure you guys get that win?
Yeah,
There's
at
no
the
way
end,
another
we got that
player
entry.
haven't been
He killed the
FNCS
first
champ.
guy.
You said it feels like 2019 again.
Yeah, bro. I mean, this just feels good, bro. I'm a champion. This guy's a champion. Like, am I the only one in here with a squad FNCS win, bro? This is great, bro. I want to keep playing.
But does it actually, like, it feels like it because you got the dub. Yeah. But, like, it's been a while since you've been competing at the highest level. Like, do you feel like you still got it?
Oh, yeah, of course I got it. I think I'm top 3 here for sure. I think it goes Vino, Peterbot, Ron, Polo, like top 5, I would say.
Is there anyone you're missing?
Anyone I'm missing? Maybe Booga? Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I don't know if you guys realize, but that final 2v2 was against Pete and Fax.
I want to see this
Say
interview,
on
then I'm
God,
gonna go
shit on
poop.
Peterbot. Nah.
Oh, he just swore on the
F that.
broadcast.
I saw Faxty's skin tonight. That's why I started shaking a little bit.
You
Oh,
didn't
wait, they
wanna
didn't
listen- you
even know
wanna
they were
listen to Fax?
facing like
I
the
don't
best
listen,
player in the
yeah.
world, Peterbot.
Hey, a very, very impressive win there.
You can't feed a horse
You
water,
saw
but you can water the
Juan's.
horse and you can feed it. God bless.
You saw
I don't
Juan's
think we have to say
shock. He's like,
anything more than
"No
that. I mean,
way!
that was
I
unbelievable.
just
Veno,
beat the best player
get
in the
back to
world."
it, man. Another great game for you guys. Taco, Jacob, back to you. What a game 2.
God, bro. You know, you don't.
Alright, good on that. Oh, I gotta go.
Just had to take a moment to really just bask in what we witnessed in that interview, okay? Because first off, there's Ron and Veno, who didn't even realize that it was Peterbot. In fact, well, Veno might have, but Ron fully oblivious. And the fact that Ron could just have no idea, but just still staying so composed because of that trust that he had in Veno's leading capabilities, that was ultimately what seemed to seal the deal for them. And I think that that's the kind of mindset that Veno needs to keep Ron. He needs to make sure that Ron has no idea who he's playing against, because Ron said it himself. It's 2019 all over.
Yeah, honestly, that's a big thing. Honestly, I think that's like something that Peterbot has in his favor a lot of the time, especially in the open series, or not open, the open part of a lot of these tournaments, is if you know you're going against Peterbot, it's like a different nerves that goes on mentally, and sometimes people make mistakes they wouldn't normally make. And so I do like that out of Veno. Just, pretend like they're all, anonymous mode. Put them all as player 245 or whatever it is and just play the game. And I do like, you mentioned like he looked a little lost there at the end, but I think it's almost like riding a bike in a sense. You may feel a little lost, but you kind of know what to do. It all starts coming back to you, and I think Ron, we're going to see a better version as the day goes on.
He just fully trusted. I think that was the main thing that was really a shining light for him in those final endgame moments. But fortunately for us, we don't have to guess any longer. We actually get a chance to see how this leaderboard is really lining up after these initial 2 matches. And already that win, along with their eliminations that they've built up, Ron and Veno with a decent buffer zone too over 2nd and 3rd place.
I'm scared for them. I'm scared for them. And it's not even Peterbot and Faxity. They're in 3rd at 110, literally 1 point shy from Somerset and Muzz, who won game 1.
The leaderboard.
But I don't see Clix and Lacy there at all. Ron took down Lacy during that game. Maybe.
Oh wow, they're already over 100 points though.
Maybe we see Lacy go after Ron.
I want to know how much.
Overall, man, I'm liking this leaderboard. Kanata had
Start a
another
chat.
game. I think he got top 5, maybe 4th in that
I
last one as
literally
a
just peed.
solo
I didn't even
again.
have to poop.
Kanata deserves all the credit in the world today.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can get a pregame interview at some point with Arki and Kanata, because they've definitely been going through the ringer, and to still be in a top 5 position says a lot. lot towards Kanata's actual, I think, player capabilities alongside how well Arky is helping to establish and put him in that position to really close things out.
Yeah, I might say his name wrong. Forgive me, but I think
Wow,
Spuds
placement
is
points
his
are
name out there
crazy.
making content. He did like a full breakdown.
Placement point,
Yeah, he
you
did a
get
full breakdown.
so much
I was
points
actually
from placement
watching it, and I
points.
was using that as a way to learn some of these players.
Just camp,
You know, he
bro.
put Primate Page in Bolts in the lobby filler section, and Bolts is firing
Man, I
off
wish
9th place,
I
63
watched
points,
this after
6
it's been an
points
hour.
shy of 8th place, 11 points shy from there. Hey, if Bolts and even Primate Page, because when I thought she was going to get
This is
eliminated,
gonna
she
take
actually
3 hours,
survived.
huh?
That's more loot for Bolts in the end game.
I'm
It
not
did
going to talk during
seem
the
to kind of help separate a little bit. It gave
Good
them some
thing.
room to breathe when she was actually able to land and not be fully eliminated
Yep.
prior to the
Actually
reboats
not.
shutting off. But at the end of the day, Jacob, there's still 5 more games left to go. So this leaderboard is very prone to changing. And hey, what did Queasy say at the very start of the day? I just don't want to be last. And guess what, Queasy? You are not last, my friend. Okay, that's Brayden and Higgs.
Usually
I'm
we
sorry.
see second place contesting first. Now Queasy's just going to contest Higgs and Brayden all game long to make sure they don't get last. But hey, honestly, I still think there's a lot of time. You know, 49 points. Obviously, there's a gap between the second page and obviously top 3 on the overall leaderboard. But I've seen stranger things happen in a Fortnite tournament before. I still think it's anybody's game.
As long as Ron keeps the blinders on, that's all we really need to witness, because Ron, he knows what he's capable of. He knows what he is like done in the past, and it's not about, you know, bringing out the time machine or anything like that. Ron just has to trust his own instincts. He's still an FNCS champion in his own right. I don't care what anybody says, how far back you want to take it, Mickey this, Mickey that. Like, at the end of the day, he's a winner.
Yep, man. You know, honestly, like, I feel like it's just like riding a bike. Like, once you know Fortnite, you kind of know Fortnite. Obviously, the meta shifts quite a bit. You know, probably back when Ron played, we had the regular shockwave grenades where you bursted through the builds. Now we kind of have the other ones. It's just about kind of, like you say, just paying attention to Veno, going along with the game plan. It's just not being distracted by any of the other names in the lobby. And I want to see Muzz and Somerset, you know, winning game number 1. They fell short in that last game, but not as short as people would think. I still think they can still pop off as long as they don't get in their own heads.
It definitely hurts a little bit, though, just knowing that Ron and Veno were able to build up like a 40-point differential just because of the eliminations. We saw them with 18 in total so far between these 2 games, so that is always going to kind of help be a little bit more of a gap separator. I'm curious to see whether or not that might encourage teams like Somerset and Muzz to maybe go on a more aggressive stance, and that's where I think that second page of the leaderboard has really got to keep an open eye out, because their game plan might not even be anything that they get to decide on. They might just become victims if they're not careful, and so I'm hoping that we see a little bit of shift if that does start to take place, that they, you know, maybe contemplate, okay, maybe we just drop elsewhere, maybe we just try to play, you know, a little bit more of a hidden strategy, anything to not funnel points.
Yeah, especially at the top end of the leaderboard. You know, coming in, you know, looking at the drop map, from the drop map we saw before game 1 to playing game 1, or at least watching it out, we already had a few teams. You know, Rise and A2 Guapo said they're going Chisel Cubes. They have not landed there at all so far. In fact, a whole other team of Ritual and Nina have been landing there, triple contested. You got Rapid and Typical Gamer. You see them just kind of going on the outskirts, trying to look for eliminations here early on in this game. You got Clix and Lacy, Higgs and Brayden, who are not afraid to kind of go active early on. We saw multiple instances where one player from each team actually did go down, and they were kind of forced to clutch up. So honestly, from the start of the game to the very end of the game, we got action all around.
Yeah, but one thing I am super curious about, though, just because of the way that second lobby ended up, for somebody like Faxity, how much do you think that's going to impact his mental, knowing that he was eliminated first in the closing moments and that it was against probably one of the last teams he would ever want to lose to in that kind of instance, right? It was Veno and Ron. Of all the teams here, that's got to be like top 2 of the ones that he doesn't want to lose to in those circumstances. So I am very interested to see how they're going to actually bounce back from that.
Yeah, let's just take this moment right now. Actually, I think Levin has a couple players on the floor. Levin, let's see what the strategy is for the next game.
I am here with Higgs and Brayden. Boys, it's not been the best start. You're currently in 20th, which is last place. What's going wrong, Higgs?
Hey, you know, you know, we aren't trying yet. You know what I'm saying? We're just saving it for the next games.
Had an unlucky, unfortunate cause of events, you know what I'm saying? Off rip, headshot, lucky kill, you know what I'm saying? Clix will never do that shit in a real fucking game. I mean, in a real game, my bad. In a real game, real flipping game. A lot of it's been the luck, storm, bad placement, bad loot. If we get more mats and we get real loot, we're winning this.
Dead.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, so clearly you guys feel like you've been a bit unlucky here.
Oh, yeah. All in luck.
What has to go in your favor to make things work?
You know, get some good loot, get some free eliminations. No, we're just going to start keying. I'm sending him off. He's going to kill Peterbot.
Is he surprising you with his abilities on Fortnite?
Yeah, he surprised me a lot. In
Good surprise?
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
Would you describe Higgs as a good leader so far after these first 2 games?
Yeah, so basically the first game, Higgs just told me, yo, just carry this, carry my loot, drop me all your mats. Basically, I was his medic for the first full 2 games. So, yeah, I think he's a really good leader, bro. He teaches me how to follow him, he puts me on a triangle and then opens it so I land on the bounce pad and jump away. So I think he's a really good leader, bro, genuinely.
Obviously, after game 2, you sit in 20th.
Yeah.
What is the goal after game 7?
First place.
Good luck, boys. Good luck. I think you're going to need it. Back to you, Jacob and Taco.
Hey, sometimes things happen, and you do get a little unlucky in Fortnite. But what did Higgs say? We need loot. We need to send him off. We need to go get eliminations. For some reason, they're going after Peter. But I think you should just work your way up, one place at a time, Higgs.
Honestly, I think they got it. All they need is, like you said, like we start with loot. Maybe another gamer sleeve. You know, Higgs wasn't dually sleeved. I noticed that Brayden had both of them on, so I think he's a little bit more locked with that alone. Not only that, but you know, I think maybe Higgs put a little bit more trust, really add the element of surprise. Maybe you let Brayden make all the shot calls.
Yeah, or
nobody will ever expect
maybe it. Just Higgs, maybe he pretends he's a solo and just plays.
Maybe he pretends
like
that he's disconnected from the lobby. And see.
Nah, but honestly, Higgs, I think this year has had a ton of good moments. You know, we've seen the shines with Clix. Unfortunately, they didn't have the success they wanted at the Summit Land. But I think this is a moment right here for Higgs to kind of like forget about those first 2 games. You know, things happen, unlucky, whether that's true or not, might be a different story. Exactly, not trying it. Now you can kind of turn it on. And the reason why I say that is because now you get a feel of how the lobby is actually playing. You know how Clix and Lacy are playing at your actual drop spot. You know that Veno and Ron could potentially disrupt it, and then a third team does like to kind of move on over depending on where the zone goes. So now you kind of have some reps. So now there's just no excuses left for Higgs and Brayden if they don't show up here.
Yeah, I mean, third time's the charm, and not only that, but they have been very successful in their initial mission here in today's competition, right? You lull the whole lobby into a false sense of security. They think these guys are in 20th place. They've got like 6 points. They are not a threat. We don't need to worry about them. And then boom, what do you know? Higgs flying. Brayden, not a medic, actually insanely cracked at the game, just immediately dominating the lobby.
I can only imagine what they're saying across the stage, though. Even Faxity's getting involved.
You're saying good teamwork out there, guys.
Good
Everybody
teamwork.
is really good at the game.
But honestly, that was to me one of the biggest switch-ups from Game 1 to Game 2. Is in Game 1, we did see a lot of moments. Peter bought 9 eliminations. He went hunting for those eliminations, farming those players out of the sky. This time around, I feel like they took a slower approach, trying to get Faxity involved in this game. Because I think that's something that they have that some of the other teams don't necessarily have. Is a lot of familiarity, not only with each other, because, I mean, these guys are like brothers at the end of the day. They play with each other. Not very many teams can say, hey, I played 1, 2, 3, 4, countless tournaments together. So I think Peterbot, you know, just needs to continue to play at that slower pace. Don't worry about eliminations until Game 6, until Game 7, to when you absolutely need to close the gap. Because right now, it's been consistency the main difference maker with Veno and Ron.
Look, all I'm gonna say is for Faxity's mental, like, bro knows he's good for at least one. Think about last year. He got a victory royale when he was playing with Reason, and that wasn't a duo that I think anybody had. Well, we know for a fact they weren't expecting them to go into that competition together. Just unfortunate, you know, last minute hop in. But for Faxity, you have to understand, like, there really is no reason to be nervous. You just gotta trust yourself as a player, what you are capable of. We've seen Fax actually move in a lobby, okay? He is not new to this. He's been here before. Quite literally, last year he was here before, and I do think that he's good for at least one throughout today's competition. I would be a bit shocked if he didn't get a victory royale, because he's got to keep it rolling. He's got to keep that momentum from last year going.
Yeah, and honestly, they had good chances in that last one if they can keep it up. They could be them at the end of this whole thing, hosting those trophies there. We saw a typical gamer along with Rapid. And honestly, that's the interesting one, because throughout the portions of these games, if you just simply just watch the elimination feed, you're like, man, Rapid's going down. What's going wrong? Typical gamers keeping him alive, keeping him in the game, and making sure that they can have that kind of reboot performance. You might have had some struggles for the first 3 zones. They picked it back up before reboots turned off, and they kind of fired on off all cylinders when it actually mattered. So even though we do have Veno and Ron with about, what, a 30, 40 point or so gap over the next best team, it's about consistency at the end of the day. And we sometimes know how Reload plays out. You know, when one of your teammate goes down, they get farmed, and eventually you get found out. And that's just going to be one of the things about Veno and Ron, is just minimizing the amount of early game deaths that they have.
I think that it's always easier said than done. Obviously, from our POV, we get the whole visual of like what's taking place in every single one of these matches, but I do think that a lot of our competitors here today in this environment, you know, they're starting to get a better understanding, and I think part of that might even just be making adaptations that aren't necessarily sending somebody off as a solo to go try and rack up some eliminations, but might just be playing it from the starting point with your duo side by side, because I do think that for some of these players, it's been a little bit more of a hindrance going for that solo mentality, as opposed to teams that we've seen just try to rock it out together in the early game, set themselves up for a solid mid and end game, and just be able to kind of stay one step ahead of the rest of the pack, because when you're already next to each other, it's so much easier to get those fluid rotations off where you're not being punished with every single move you make.
Yeah, we've already seen instances where Clix and Lacy get an initial elimination, and they kind of hunt for that player to get rebooted, and then a whole nother team comes and crashes in and finds that player that was hiding there in that moment. So there's still plenty of things that could happen. Even saw Buddha a moment ago, literally standing behind Clix, Lacy, and Typical Gamer. I wonder if he's asking for like any strategies, any tips. How did you guys do this? What's the plan? So I think that's going to be a fun thing to do as well. Instead of just, you know, having to sit there, if you do get eliminated early, you can kind of get up, watch around, watch some of the other teams that are playing this game, so you can start to kind of develop strategies that you could take from other players like that.
If you want to know what Jinxie just said, he just said, we got this, he got this, I got this. Like, I believe. I mean, we saw the highlight moment come out, game 2. I'm just hoping that it doesn't wind up being a circumstance where we're either going to see them top 5 or bottom of the leaderboard between each of these lobbies, because again, it can be very difficult, I think, to just find the repetitiveness with consistency. But game 3 could be a real measuring factor here for a lot of these teams to see whether or not they've got it figured out right before the halftime break, or if they maybe need to spend a little bit more time reviewing things during that little bit of downtime.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, from what we typically see, obviously the Reload Elite Series is massively different from the actual Pro-Am, but we've seen a lot more teams kind of stay in the zone as Braden's just going for a contested drop with seemingly like on Lacy. 2 different shots coming in from both Clix and Lacy. They solidified
Lacy had
the
already
first elimination of this game, and I'm not sure how it happened so quick, but there's already a team out of
did
the game
exactly
here.
what I told you guys I was gonna do.
I almost fear it might be
Sit on the couch.
It's hard to say though. It's
talking
so
with my grandparents for like 20 minutes.
The elimination feed is lighting up. Braden, don't worry, we got your back. You
I don't care with the
you were going to eliminate him in seconds.
The only thing I care,
but
the only thing I care about the post game is that I want to see the interviews with the
Yeah, landing so close by
the winners of that game.
2 eliminations, so he was able to get 1 before anybody
No other
down. Hey, Braden actually still up.
interview,
actually disengage
and I want to see the
and
scoreboard
but
or the
the one
leaderboard.
that's going on the hunt for him and Ron. a little bit too far off. You see him start to make his way on back towards Ron, but still kind of eyeing, surveying the land. Is there anything that's pushable? Is there anybody distracted?
I think they
Thought
do
about
this
pushing
thing
on
so
over
it could
towards
be like
Agers, but the
exactly
elimination happened too
3
quickly.
hours.
It's not going to be a factor, but now we got Ritual and Poyo facing off here. This is essentially a 1v1.
Sometimes it's tempting to try and third
I don't
party,
think there
but
was
other
going to be a
times
halftime.
realize it might just work
That
against you. Poyo,
their
even
halftime
exchange currently
is
with Ritual. They go
in between
shield
every
break for
single
shield
game.
break, so unfortunately,
That's still halftime.
Poyo realizing that might have been the escape route there for Ritual, but instead he turns around. He's caught in
They
this
have an hour
own
total of
trap
halftime.
here. Thought for a moment that Poyo was actually going to be the one going down, but instead gets the better end of the exchange, and Ritual has been knocked and eliminated.
Just got to make sure Jinxie doesn't get found out. While Poyo is going on the hunt, you see that they're
Oh,
in
dang.
zone, and that Jinxie
That's
has
a cool
no
Sako
white
pickaxe
heals
there.
in his inventory, no med kits, no bandages, nothing of the sort. So Poyo needs to figure out, one, to either get Jinxie healed so he can stay alive, or figure out a way to get Jinxie out into the zone for safe. But Bugha ends up in a fight against clix. Former teammates from eons ago, and now Bugha is back. Not only qualified for
Bugha just killed
EWC, but
clix.
taking down clix here in Game 3.
Bugha definitely feeling pretty good about some of these opening eliminations because sadly Yugi has been taken out of the competition. He will be sent into the reboot cycle, and we'll have to wait and see whether or not he's actually able to escape it. There might have been just enough distance created there from Bugha that his teammate is able to safely touch back down, but not bad. Ritual, well, at least get a little bit of revenge here on the lobby, finds an elimination, and that is going to help him just a little bit more so with his loadout.
Yeah, that's a big loadout right there. You really want that Sentinel pump here in this game, or at the bare minimum, the Gatekeeper, depending on what your playstyle is right now. Bugha with the gold Gatekeeper. His teammate is down. Bugha has to stay alive for at least 12 seconds while Yugi is on that reboot, but Victor V is there, and Bugha down to just one build left. Clock is running down. Victor V tries to grab the other side. No way to protect himself as Bugha and Yugi get sent back to the lobby.
And this all goes
Oh,
right
Bugha
back to
and
our initial
Yugi just
hunches
died?
of
Oh my
who's going
god.
to start stepping it up, starting to get a little bit more aggressive early on. Victor V and Crackley already made it known just based off of game 1 that they were willing to key, they were willing to get a little bit more fraggy with it, but now they're working against the clock. They saw the point differential between themselves and current first place of Ron and Veno, so they've got to just keep it pushing. And for Ritual and Nina, 3 eliminations is a great recovery factor. Unfortunately, it is coming at Hammy's expense.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough, too, because they're close to the zone. Hammy's just going to keep rebooting in that same spot over and over and over unless his teammate figures out another place to hide. Even seeing, I believe, Rapid going down to Agers yet again. Typical gamer, kind of leading the charge in terms of survivability for them, keeping them in the game. This is exactly what I'm talking about. In moments, you see Rapid being put in the blender, but they're having such great success when it comes to actual placement in these games.
Yeah, but then we're looking at a team like Curve and Yusuf, and we've seen instances where Curve, when he's able to just let it rip, he is absolutely cracked as a fragger. Unfortunately, I think that he's factoring in a little bit too much of, I need to make sure that I'm able to protect Yusuf along the way, and that does seem to be like it's causing him a little bit of a slowdown towards that more aggressive kind of playstyle that we have seen him sort of start to develop over this past chapter, but you never know. He might decide to shake things up. He'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think a lot of the game right now is kind of piecing it together, seeing how things go. We saw some early success with a game win from Muzz and Somerset, and they kind of fall a little bit short in that last one. So they're just kind of biding their time. They're just not ready to switch up the game plan just yet. One game not going your way is no reason to panic just yet, as Sphinx, Raw Dog Moon seeming like they're lurking. Acorn and Muda do land over here. They do know
Sphinx
both
is
teams
level
can test
70,
each other
bro.
at the Elite Armory, but for the first 2 games, they went their separate ways. They weren't necessarily contesting each other, and now Sphinx seems like he has different things in mind this time around.
Sphinx also lurking with an exotic shotty is a scary sight because Acorn and Muda, it's going to be tough to get some kind of recovery factor if they are the ones
I
that
think
find themselves
when they
on
were
the
interviewing
receiving end.
Lacy and they had his
Aggression
long
is now
socials up,
frantic.
I think they had Polo's
Very similar
socials up.
methods here. Just trying to
That's
see
what
if
it
they
looked
can
like it
really rack
was.
up some elimination counts now. they are working against that leaderboard stance.
He put
and
up
they've got a
Lacy's
way to
socials
climb.
Yeah,
3
you
times when
mentioned
they were
the
interviewing
exotic
him.
yoink shotgun and the other
And the
inventory.
first 2
Now Muda has
times,
the exotic
they
heavy,
didn't even
and
get it
this
right.
one essentially one shots build, so you don't want that
It's
in
like, what
Reed's
did they
hands in the
change
end game,
from
kind
the
of
first
dominating
time?
through as Curve tries to make the jump. Distraction coming down from Yusuf. I feel bad for Guapo. He was looking one way, and they Curve crashed the party from a whole other direction. And you can kind of see the slow pace. Instead of Curve going out for eliminations, hunting far away, he's staying relatively close to Yusuf. Realize gets 4th zone. We're going to be moving into 5th. Yes, you can go down. We'll get rebooted, but what does the position look like if that happens?
Wapo definitely having some fun though with some of the outfit choice selections. I don't think he's trying to stay very incognito from the rest of the lobby, but Acorn and Muda scouting from
Are
overhead.
you saying Acorn is
Wapo,
just picking a
nice knowing
random
you. Well, we'll see if
skin?
the next reboot is going to build a little bit better, but the way that Rise is currently positioned, his best hope right now is that Reed and Frantic sort of disrupt everything that Curve and Yusuf are going on right now.
I just want to see like a tweet or something from Ollie, just like kind of having
Allie.
fun watching this. Finally, somebody else is going through what I went through last year. But Veno's looking to get aggressive. He stayed at this top part of the map throughout the majority of this game so far, hunting eliminations that are close. Now others are starting to enter into the territory.
Ollie,
That's Acorn. I want to say maybe Muda as well, but I don't see him anywhere in sight. So that's a lot of pressure right here on the Acorn to try and stay alive. Finally in the minimap, it does look like Muda back in the game, but only for so long. He tries to get back his loot, but he gets taken down by Veno again.
It's just the way that Veno immediately shifted. He knew that he had Acorn right in front of him. He knew that Acorn was down to his white HP, but he just didn't care. He saw the video or the visual audio footsteps and just immediately shuts down Muda's attempts to try and pick up any sort of good loot. And it also just puts Acorn in yet another pickle because now he's stuck trying to decide, do I escape or do I just let my duo completely get rocked out of the sky every single time he attempts to reboot?
I want to know if there is going to be a
Kind
halftime.
of like 2 different approaches so far, though. Teams finding literally just west of that actual position, and then Reed and Frantic just like, hey, we're boxing up.
No, better
They
not
have
be a
to come to
halftime.
us eventually
What is there to
anyway,
halftime?
especially since we're close to reboot. Sure enough, you don't want to continue to take
And
the
you
risks.
already
Curve
had
takes
20
down
minutes in the
Guapo
mission.
Again, still the struggles continue. Another exotic heavy in the hands of Sphinx. We got at least 3 exotic weapons
So
in
one
play
tick, bro.
in this game.
Well, he was the original one. He was the spawning point, at least from what we saw initially. But it is interesting still that we have a couple of them floating about, because it also makes me wonder who else might potentially have their hands on some form of an exotic or mythic. Even Veno running it back towards when he had that mythic run. We saw just how disruptive some of these weapons can actually be, especially towards some of our creators that might not be as savvy to what some of the items actually do.
You know what I want to see? And no one in the world is going to agree with me. Where's the stink rifle? Let me get that exotic stink rifle out and start stinking up the place. But Acorn right now catches out Page, is trying to rotate the zone. And this is kind of like one of the worries I was talking about with a player like Bolt, who moves so quickly. And then a creator like Page, who doesn't have, you know, the knowledge to move as fast as him. You see him already in zone, safe as can be. He has to go ahead and leave, but Muda gets caught out next. Reed trying to use that exotic heavy to break through the build, but Acorn
I would have fun with that too.
move on out and reposition himself.
But they said
Now
the
he has to
last
think
one though,
about, do I
they
wait
didn't
here?
choose their
Do I try
skin.
to rotate in? Muda has one chance to get back in the game, but that chance could go right away quickly.
I mean, the main thing that you always have to think about too, if you are a player like Bolts, it's just the movement is so natural to you, you don't even think twice about it. You don't even realize just how rapidly you are actually building a gap. But also, I think it's important to kind of note the fact that for players like Muda and Primate Page, when you've already been eliminated once, when you continue to get eliminated and sent into that reboot cycle as Curve, Yusuf just continue to try and build it up. And we were asking for Curve to kind of address more of that aggressive fraggy nature. It seems like he's found it, at least for a few moments here in game number 3, because 7 eliminations is nothing to scoff at, and he looks like he is intent on making that just momentum build in his favor. But Again, just drawing back to the whole Prime Page Muda thing, you just got like
Oh,
a duo
reboots are
thing,
ending.
Acorn, Bolts
They're
kind of
ending
just
soon.
recognizing, I've just got a position for
Like
myself.
15 seconds, they're
Yeah,
ending.
especially since, you know, you do have that small chance. It's only going to last 7 more seconds, so if you're down, got to immediately hit that respawn button. He does it just in time, almost 3 seconds short. Hammy's down, Muda's down.
Alright,
Hopefully,
reboot hard
they're able to
disabled now.
get that reboot off in time to give themselves a chance back in the game. Just like Cakes here, he's taking huge chunks of damage, but he's camping by one of those mending machines where he can purchase up the patch up and try to stay as healthy as possible.
But it's really going to be a tough task right now for Angers, for Higgs. They are solos in a sea of duos. There's only a couple of teams that have been fully eliminated in this match so far. And Muda trying to not leave Acorn in a solo position, but he won't really have much of a choice. That is just the perfect cliff face to camp out. Ritual and Nina just have an absolute elimination trap set up there. There is nowhere for anybody to kind of cross through their turf without having to deal with those two.
Yeah, and it looks like Acorn and Muda officially out of the game completely. Unfortunate things there with a team that honestly was looking so good. Probably rotating a little bit too early in this game here. Struggles to make it up the side of the mountain. Clix and Lacy using their launch pad. And that was something we saw Clix kind of juggle with him. He wanted to keep the 6 crash pads. He knew there was a launch pad there. They could get a lot out of it. And he made sure to just juggle it on his way over. And you're seeing the success of the outside of the box thinking coming out of these two.
And hey, I know Levin was having his fun in that interview with Lacy, but Lacy did make a special note of the fact that he is not a fan of just how quickly somebody could just crash out on your noggin. You can't really have a chance to anticipate it. You've just got to be super aware and like head on a swivel type of environment, because
Right then.
the moment that you stop looking up, that's going to
Head
be
on a
like
swivel,
somebody
she
through
said.
crash pads or overdrive grenades
I don't know
or
what
launch
that
pads.
means, but
there's
okay.
just multiple ways for a team to ascend towards that ultimate high ground position, and it's just going to make things very difficult for the team that's actually looking to play high. And it seems like I might be reading Fran for this one.
Yeah, this is honestly somebody you really don't want to see on height, because we talk about pressure and, you know, spraying builds. He has 3 rockets. I don't think there's much left in Fran. They're very, very hard to find. He has the exotic heavy, which breaks through these builds, and then he has the spray weapon. There's a lot of pressure coming out, and Somerset and Muzz trying to get
Somerset's
to the front side
gone
of
now.
zone, hoping and praying it opens up in time, but it does not. They get sent back to the lobby, and this is where Reet and Fran, I don't know the chances of teams being able to look up and contest them, especially since even if you launch padded Shockwave, that heavy has distance on it and it can pack a punch.
But also with Muzz and Somerset being eliminated so early on, that is a prime opportunity for some of these other teams on the leaderboard to try and play leapfrog with their positions. Poyo, as a solo, trying to see if he can replicate some of that Poyo magic.
Jinxie keeps on dying like Oli,
It's
I
not going to
think.
be easy. He's already having an opportunity to kind of survey the area. He knows that there's other duos in the air with them, but for Clix, Lacy, not yet having their chance to try and go for height, but it could also be a change in strategy. The way that Clix is looking up, though, I have a feeling he wants to try and take it over.
Yeah, it really all depends. I see crash pads in the inventory.
Going
You
to.
can't really use crash pads to take height, or at least not safely. Can't always control the bounce, especially when high ground continues to look down on you, not letting you feel any bit of comfortability. Now the eyes are set on Poyo. This is where it gets tough. He's a solo. There's only so much you can do and hold on as a solo, as Reek continues to go to work. Now it's the rocket. He knows somebody's down there. Doesn't want to let them survive for free, but then he gets distracted. Zemi, Cooper, they use launch pads to try to take flight.
And unfortunately for Reet and Frantic, the one kind of thorn in their side throughout this match has just been their material count. They're going to have to drop eventually, or they're going to have to, they can get eliminations onto Zemi and Coop and take their material count from them, because as it currently stands, holding the high ground with that little bit of builds, it's just not going to be enough. Someone is going to be able to overtake, especially when they see...
Why don't you... There we go. Like, why don't you split Zemi and Cooper?
Yeah, oh my, they just immediately both look up. Damage on the Cooper, finishes off with a distance.
Like, they're
on
just
that exotic
gliding
heavy.
down.
That's exactly what I was saying to watch out for. As Ritual and Nina, they start to climb up the side of the mountain. They're met with Perfect Yusuf on the other side as Angers takes down Typical Gamer, as Nina and Ritual using their quick movement, their ability to get up first to try to look down and fire off on any team, but they're just too quick to pass on by. All those opportunities go right out the window.
They were able to pepper some damage in, but they just didn't get the closing shots for the full nuts, for the full eliminations. Right mentality, though, just trying to take advantage of teams playing from that ultimate backside of zone. Is now Clix, Lacy, their front side low. But they're looking to try and work their way upwards, and
5'1"
check it out, Veno and Ron.
and
They fully understand.
170
Retag and have
pounds.
fun.
Who
It
is that?
time for a new terror on height to take place here. And Veno
Vino.
gonna utilize, recycle the launch
Is that
pad
Steve
alongside
Ronaldo?
Ron, and they'll just avoid all of the chaos unfolding
That's
in the
Steve
lobby.
Ronaldo's
allow him
mate.
to save a
5'1"
ton of
and
materials on top of that, but
170
Rise gets a
pounds.
crucial elimination. Cypher barely keeping him alive. Luckily, he's a few inches away from the zone itself. 5 eliminations for him is huge, but being a solo, that's when things look tough. Kanata, another game alive inside of the top 6 as a solo. Probably one of the more consistent players, but and then Veno drops down, getting the elimination on the Rise, bringing us into our final 4 teams.
Veno got so many mats off of that too, especially when you're looking at this kind of endgame circumstance where it's crucial because so many teams have had to burn through a ton of material just working their way up and back down that mountain face. But now clix, lacy, immediately ultimate low front side of zone. They're going to have to deal with Sphinx eventually, but first and foremost, it's Kanata challenging from the backside, and unfortunately,
There's 5
he is
people
not
left
going
in
to be
3
able to stand tall
teams.
in this one, but lacy and clix, they still might be able to shake things up.
Yeah, they're dropping the shockwaves. They're splitting. It almost looks like they were going to try to go up, but Sphinx down below causes a
Oh,
distraction.
Clix is
Gets the
down.
onto
Lacy's
Clix.
gonna
Now
die
they have
soon.
their eyes set onto Lacy.
Oh, Lacy's done.
Doesn't even
Lacy.
get into the top 2 as Veno and
Oh
Ron
my
drop
God.
down, crash the party. 9 eliminations and another victory.
Vino
royale.
and Juan won again. They're gonna win.
He's going to win today, and initially it might have just seemed like he
They're
was
gonna
being
win.
overconfident. Maybe people were anticipating, you know, you guys might, we can give you a top 5, sure, but the win, that's obviously not destined for you, and they are just completely in control. I know that it's going to be a little bit before we get to see that overall leaderboard lineup, but they were already like 40-something points ahead. They were 154 entering into that lobby. You add another victory royale on top of 9 eliminations to boot. They are feeling good right now. Ron's feeling fantastic, and I think this is where they start to become very scary because Ron's just got so much confidence. We could see it being emitted from him at every step of the way. So, Levin, I need to know what these guys are saying.
Oh my goodness. Once again, the back-to-back. Veno, are we going to see a little bit of a celebration at least or something, man? Back-to-back wins, come on, you're doing good.
I've been in this position too many times. Wait till the tournament's done.
All right. He's
Vino
saying
is
there's excitement. I need
nonchalant.
some energy from you, bro.
Juan is just excited.
Yo, listen, man. We need. Hey, everybody's waiting for the stable Ronaldo icon skin, man. Let's make it happen, bro. Come on, please.
I mean, at this rate, man, they might just have to give it to you because you guys are going crazy. Talk me through that win. What was going through your mind when you're on height in that endgame there?
A lot of just listening, a lot of just being on him, maintaining my mentality, being calm, cool, I'm collective. You know what I'm saying? This guy's goated, man. This guy's goated.
When you guys were paired together, there was question marks about the chemistry. You know, there was question marks about whether or not...
Boo you!
People are booing him.
I don't think they're booing you, or hopefully not. Well, they shouldn't be, because you guys are playing so good. There was question marks about your chemistry. You know, you guys couldn't quite even communicate with each other. It felt like it's safe to say things have been repaired, they've been mended.
Yeah, I thought the whole time he was just gonna make fun of me, just, you know, yeah, just make fun of me the whole time, but it's been going good, bro. It's been going great so far, so yeah.
There's a bond growing here. As far as, you know, your teammates go, you've played with a lot of great players. You've played with champions. You're playing with a champion right now. Where does Ron rank amongst some of your best teammates all time? Because he's clearly rising up the rankings.
4 years, I just realized.
Don't speak too soon, yeah. You can fumble it still, don't worry. Okay, but still, you know, how good is he?
You just want to say, like, where's Frankie? Because we look like hobbits next year.
Okay. That was not the answer to my question. So I need an answer to my question.
Just slightly above clix, as long as we win.
Slightly above clix. All right, then. What do you make of that?
Hey, listen, man, job's not finished. Probably gonna get landed on by Peterbot, probably clix. Clix is free low. Peterbot, I'm worried about, but yeah, let's give Stable Ronaldo icon skin.
All right, enough said. Enough said. The back-to-back win for the boys. Jacob, Taco, what are we saying now?
Hey, vibes have to be at an all-time high right now. Hey, I was watching Factory stream when they revealed these duos, and Ron was in that call screaming, no! Anybody but Veno. What are you thinking now, man?
He was devastated, and that's why it is even more funny to see that kind of like flip, because I think he's realizing Veno dealing with, you know, some kind of third division. Like, he doesn't want to deal with that. I'm sorry, Ron. You're going to have to get out the mud yourself.
I think
But when it
Fortnite
comes
did like
to a
sponsor this
stakes
thing,
money line that
so
could
it is
be
like an
achieved here,
FNCS. It's like an
well,
actual
Ron
FNCS.
was technically right. The back-to-back victory
Ron
right now,
wins
that's already 2K in the bank.
his
off of
second
today's competition.
FNCS
And
ever cleared.
as long as they continue sailing in this direction, I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to catch up.
Yeah, he just made that pop in my head. A duo that couldn't even get out of Division 3 on NA West in first place at the FNCS Pro. And my, has time come a long way already. But hey, you know, Rise picking up some big game eliminations. I think Rise at A2 Guapo, you know, we were talking with Higgs, or 11 was talking about the lack of luck and how unlucky they were. A2 Guapo, man, I feel bad. He is just being put in the blender. And there's really not much you could do in a game mode like Reload, especially if you go down to the 3rd, 4th, or even 5th zone, where everybody's in close proximity to one another. You have two choices. Hope and pray you land 10 feet
Let
down
me see
onto the ground,
leaderboard,
or you have
and
to
I
just
can go.
make it and beeline it into zone and sacrifice that HP.
Unfortunately, I do think that we are starting to see a lot of the repetitiveness that's coming into the mix with some of the content creators that aren't being as lucky with the off-spawn
That's what went
situation.
last year, but
I
there
think a
wasn't
great
a
way to
20-minute
help them maybe
mission, I don't
potentially
think.
pivot from that is if they are led to a more isolated part of the map, you're going to have a little bit more sticks and stones loot. But if you're constantly being forced into a reboot cycle, you're already playing with sticks and stones loot. You might as well just head super fringe, outskirts, and just try to work your way in. Maybe, you know, out of sight, out of mind could be the winning method for just climbing a little bit higher up on that leaderboard. But I think ultimately, Veno and Ron have got to be feeling fantastic right now.
Yeah, and I think Veno is just feeling more and more comfortable playing with Ron, and vice versa, of course. But you're seeing him drop down, get these eliminations,
There
and
we
feel
go.
fully confident that
Ron and
is
Veno and
gonna be
Lacy
able
and
to hold his
clix.
position. But oh my
God.
gosh, 238 points, a massive lead over second place.
Nah, but Arky and Kanata in third? From everything
Ron,
that we've seen taking place
I don't
so
care
far,
about
I think
Oki and Kanata in
Kanata
gold.
has been
Ron
top
and Veno
5
are in
Yep.
fourth
every
place
single endgame
by
so far
like
here today.
80
Whether or not
points.
that's going to, you know, stay the same is irrelevant. The
That's
fact that he's even
crazy.
in this current position, impressive stuff. I think that team chemistry is
Oh, now I'm
certainly
gonna go
locked
now.
in, and it's crazy to think about too, because kind of similar to how it started with like Ron in like the prelude to this tournament, where he's like, no, anybody but them, I'm out of here, like I'm not participating. Kanata, I don't think necessarily had all the confidence in the world in his duo, but I think that obviously Arc has figured something out to help get them that extra mile that they needed, because Kanata, we know you are a fierce competitor, you're going to be able to clutch, but you've got to have your duo through some parts of it.
Yeah, he's only what, 7 points away from second place. But you had what is it, Crackley and Victor V also with 26 eliminations, matching the pressure of Veno and Ron. It's just the placement, the lack of consistency. As we look on over to page 2, though, look at that at the bottom. Queasy had 1 goal, and you're 3 points away, buddy. Just not get last, but Higgs and Braden kind of pop it off. And that was the thing, too. Even though Higgs and Braden, like throughout the course of that last game, we saw the struggles that we're getting through, but there was a point in time, like Braden was getting put into the blender for so long, he actually ended up being able to finally touch ground with Higgs, and his loadout was much better than when he started, because he was able to spawn with that assault rifle, the attack shotgun, the minis, and the chug jugs.
I just feel like we're witnessing neck-and-neck competitions in different departments, sadly. But hey, you never know. That halftime break, this little bit of downtime for the players could be, I think, the best kind of mental reset. And especially when you've got seasoned competitors like Queasy to kind of help lead through that department, I think we could maybe see the resurgence, a new, you know, spawning of life out of both Ashok and Braden, and really just see them start to challenge things and, you know, break the mold of being in that 19th to 20th place position. I mean, Booga holding it down just one step above them, but maybe it's time that they bring him down to their level. You never know what can happen after this break.
Yeah, and it's kind of like have me questioning right now, you know, Veno and Ron, with how well they're playing, you almost need to contest them in order to slow them down, because you can't expect these guys to make any mistakes with the way they are playing. But we have 3 games already done from the FNCS Prime. We have 4 more to go, but we're going to take a quick break to make sure the action is ready to go.
Halfway through the competition here at the very first Fortnite Pro-Am Creator Series. And we have seen 3 exhilarating games. Some surprises, some not so surprises, but so far in the day, it has been Veno and Stable Ronaldo, 2 champs playing together, 2 FNCS champs playing together, and so far leading the way. I'm looking forward to the next 4 games because we have 4 more to go until we can crown our first victor here. And it's going to be a fun one, of course. Big shout out to Dig for hosting and putting this event on. And a big thanks to all the creators and everybody who's been showing up and getting involved. I think before we get back into the competition, of course, people are getting a chance to have a break, you know, get some food, use the bathroom, roam around, do the whole IRL streaming thing. And so, you know what? Why don't we do a bit of IRL streaming ourselves, right? I want to look for some people, find some people to chat to. Who do we have in the building right now? I mean, let's go talk to TG. Why not? Let's go chat to the man himself. Yo, TG, my brother. I'm doing good. How are you doing, TG?
Great, I'm doing great. You know, we start off hot, got a second place, and then kind of, you know, we got focused second game, a little bit rough, but we got a new plan. We're locking it in. I think we're one of the best teams here for sure, and we're going to show the world.
Can you give us maybe some hints, like a tease of what the change in strategy is?
No.
Okay, you know what? No, that's fine. That's fine. You know what? I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Good luck, brother. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I think the players just got a warning here. I think the players just got a warning about, you know, not a warning, but just to let them know we're getting started very soon. Okay, we got our first place player here. I want to talk to Jinxie. Yo, Jinxie. Oh, okay. We're in the middle of a TikTok right now. Okay. Amazing, amazing. Jinxie, man, I really wanted to chat to you because you are now 3 games into your first Fortnite competitive LAN.
And last.
Ha-
Look, man, I can't compete. There's kids in here that are doing 7 edits in a second. I can't even rotate, man. I've gotten shot out of the sky 3 times. I can't compete, man. This game's too hard.
Bro, there's 4 games left, bro. Like, it's not over.
I know, I can't even get a kill, let alone winning. That ship sailed an hour ago. I just want to get an elimination.
You still haven't gone yet? We set the goal for like at least one for you.
I've done 84 damage, sir. That's all I've done.
Yes,
Not again, bro.
It's just not looking good, brother. I mean, you know what, man? Good luck, man. Good luck with the rest of the day. Good luck. Good. Yeah, not looking good. Let's go chat to some more people, though, man. We still got more people here. Some people who are doing maybe a little bit better than Jinxie. I'm feeling for Jinxie right now, man. I'm feeling for him because he wants to do good. He's a competitor at heart, but you know, this competing thing ain't for everybody, I guess. You know. Let's go find. Let's go. Oh, I found someone I actually really want to chat to here. We got Bolts over here, right? Bolts, my dog. Let's talk, brother. Let's talk because I saw some people were doing like rankings of how they thought, you know, duos were gonna do before the competition, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of people had you quite low down. You know, they weren't believing in you and Paige. How have things been going? I feel like you guys have surprised people a bit in some of these games.
Yeah, the games are going good. I'm keying early and then playing endgame. I'm sorry to Primate Paige because I'm kind of getting her killed, or eliminated. That's because I'm just trying to solo clutch and make it a little bit easier for us. Yeah.
I mean, next 4 games, do you think you're gonna rock with the same strategy then?
Yeah, I think I will because I think if anyone even wants to key me as a duo, I'll just 1v2 them, so it won't really matter.
Is there anybody so far you've been given the Bolts treatment to anyone that you've been dominating so far today?
So far, I'd say it's been Muzz. He's been doing good, so I feel a little bit bad, but no friends in the industry, you know?
No friends. I like that. I like Bolts always has the right, you know, finger on the pulse. Good luck for the rest of the day and give Paige my best as well. Okay, let's see how people feel in the. I did say that there were some people who I wasn't sure whether their lack of Fortnite experience was going to be a problem. So maybe we should get an update on some of these people. Who we got in here? Okay, let's go. Yeah, how you feeling though? How you feeling? You feeling? You know, it's 3 games. There's 4 more.
Yeah, wait, 4 more games?
There's 4 more games.
4 more games. I'm not gonna lie, we're playing better and better each game. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be the ones to come first and take it from Stable Ronaldo. Clix and Lacy, they're already scared of us. They already ran from us. This is gonna be a free win, I believe.
What makes you so confident that the next 4 games are gonna go your way?
It's just like me and my teammate, like we have that synergy. It's like we're interlocked, you know what I mean? Like we're interlinked, like brain-wise, like boom. He does this, I'm already there. Like he wants this, I'm with them. Like it's easy for us.
I like the confidence. I like the confidence. Queasy, man, get in there, man. Get in there. Champions first, you know. We gotta let the champs go first. All right, let's check out this room. See how it's going over here. Richie, I wanna chat to you real quick. I wanna chat to you. I wanna chat to you real quick, Richie. Okay, we're good. Camera's right here, Richie. Camera's right here. Give us the status update. How's it going? Obviously, you know, you and Nina, surprise sort of entry into the competition. Not much time to prepare. But what's it looking like in game?
It's going really good. The only bad thing is I died to him one game.
Wait, can we get a camera? Can we get a camera? Can we get a camera on him right here?
Yeah, I died to him, so that's the only bad thing so far. That's the only bad thing.
Well, outside of that, it's looking good.
Yeah, we're playing really good. I think we can maybe win.
Okay, all right. Well, good luck. I want to chat to Yusuf over here in the back. Yusuf, this is the time. You got the call. The call. You got the call. You got the call up. Talk to us. How's the competition going for you so far? Your first Fortnite LAN. How's it going?
So I think a lot of the people in this tournament, they're letting the competitive nature get to them. And they're starting to freeze up and choke, and they're not anticipating the anticipation that's coming.
Right. And would you put yourself in that category of people?
No, I'm warming up. I'm going up in a slope like this. A lot of people are going in a slope down like this.
Right.
So as the games build up and as the games go on, I'm going to improve while they deprove.
Okay, I ain't heard that one before. I like that. I'm gonna use that now. Your opponents are deproving. Talk to me about your teammate, Curve. He's obviously a young, Fortnite star, young talent, rising talent. What's it been like playing with him so far?
It's like playing with LeBron James if we're in the NBA. He's amazing, telling me what to do, and I'm listening.
If he's LeBron, what does that make you?
Probably Bronny.
That's a nice comp. I like that comp. I like it.
Hell yeah. And we're going to win. We're going to make the biggest comeback of all time. Just like LeBron, 3-1, Cavs versus Golden State, we're going to win. Let's do it.
All right, I want to see. Hey, I have a new favorite duo now, I think, man. I believe in the boys. I believe. Let's see how it goes. Okay, let's get out of this shit. It's a bit packed in here, guys. So I think we're going to make our way out here. Okay, before we go, Sphinx clearly has something he wants to get off of his chest. So go on.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna take this disrespect anymore. Ritual's out here talking smack on my duo. Moon, get in here. Who did you kill last game? Speak up, kid. I killed Ritual. So, Ritual, don't talk smack about my duo again.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Or we're gonna full box you 180 full pump.
You might be sweet as cupcakes, but I'm tough as nails, kid.
You guys are great. Good luck. Good. I believe in you, man. Wow, amazing. That was amazing. No, that was great. That was live television, like broadcast to the thousands and thousands of people watching. I'm so glad we did not leave the room without speaking to those guys. They are great. Let's head into this room. Everyone, if we look from the outside, everyone's a bit more locked in this room. So we have to interrupt that, and we have to go chat to people and annoy them. Okay, let's do it. Of course, let's make sure we're in here. Who are we going to chat to in here? As soon as I come in, everyone puts their head down. Nobody wants to talk. We got to talk to ZPV, man. Vic, how's it going so far today, man? How's it going? You and Crackley, a lot of expectations. I've been seeing you guys high up in the leaderboards. We're yet to see a dub, though. Is it coming in these next 4 games?
Bro, it's coming. We're just going to send height. I got the best content creator on my team. Obviously, just going to can 1v2 Vino up there or Clix or anyone up there, bro. We're just not doing good enough.
I want to speak to Crackley, though, because, it's in the name. This brother, he's got some moves, This brother's got some moves. We want to see more from you, though. Do you feel like you have an extra gear to get into?
100%. We got a new thing we're going to try this game.
Anything you can share?
No.
Nobody ever wants to share. Nobody ever wants to share anything with me. All right, well, good luck. What did you say?
He's the IGL. Ask him.
Do you have anything to share with us?
Sending height. That's all you need to know.
Sending height. All right, that's the strategy right there. Look, hey, he already knows what I'm about to say, man. I've been seeing you in some fights. It's not been going well. Just shortly, like, what's going to have to change it?
I'm just going to have to start fighting everyone, winning the fights, I guess.
All right, we want to see big things from the ages, man. We don't want to see ages, down in the stands. We want to see him high up there. Look, let's get into these games. We're going to send it back to Taco Jacob to get us started.
These games, Taco, these games have definitely not disappointed. Honestly, a lot of that content down in the field, Levin must be having the time of his life with them.
I just still am trying to fully grasp everything that was said. I think my favorite part, though, is knowing that at the very ending, it was like watching a room where, like, Levin's the teacher and like nobody wants to be called on. It's like all of a sudden everyone is like the busiest they've ever been in their entire lives, and yet they can't tell us what they're plotting. Victory, we're not gonna let you get away with it. Send height, obviously. We know that you're gonna want to try and play it off of high ground, but there's a lot more to the recipe than that.
Yeah, I do want to see them find that success, because when we did look at the leaderboard for that moment, 26 eliminations throughout the course of this tournament so far. They have been matching elimination pace of our first place team, Braun and Veno. It's just the consistency. Obviously, they are triple contested for the most part at Chiseled Cube, so it's not easy to stay alive, get those eliminations, and then play the rest of the game, but they're at least staying within a stone's throw reach of that top 3.
But maybe they need to start taking a page out of Kanata's book, because if there's one thing that Kanata has been accomplishing all day long today, it's ensuring that he is in a top 5 placement position. And when you look at the duality of 3rd and 4th, only 3 points separate them, but 8 eliminations versus 26. You would think that Victor V and Crackley, they would be on par with, again, challenging Ron and Veno at top of the leaderboard. leaderboard, but they're going to have to start mustering up what it takes to find those consistency and the victory royales. Earlier on in the day, I mentioned I would be kind of skeptical to see one duo take it past 3 victory royales out of all 7 games that we have leading up here today. But with the way that Ron and Venom are starting to tee things up, I'm starting to think they might actually have more than 3 in them.
Yeah, honestly, it is definitely looking that way, unless Taco, one thing happens. It was on page 1, but Peterbot and Faxity, they didn't have like the most aggressive first start to the tournament. First 3 games so far, you saw they had 11 eliminations, 9 of those coming in one singular game. So honestly, if Peterbot, Faxity, they want to win this tournament, I feel like you got to unleash the beast. You got to take Peterbot off that leash and just kind of let him loose.
The problem is Ron and Venno are expecting Pete and Fax
When
to
is it
start
gonna
hunting
stop?
them, but then you have to remember clix and Lacy's sole purpose in today's competition is to make sure that Pete can't win. So it's like, who's really chasing who? It feels like a Looney Tunes scene right now.
Yeah, it's definitely just one of those scenarios where, like, we've all seen, you know, the song and dance before, but is it going to play out any differently this time? Because I honestly,
Bet you the
strongly,
chat's
I feel like
just
we're in agreement
spamming
here
stall.
that Venno and Ron are just looking
There we go.
completely unstoppable so far in this tournament. If you just leave them to play and hope they have mistakes, I don't think that's going to happen.
Here we
But we're
go.
here, game 4, it starts now. Let's see if anybody can overthrow the Giants.
No real surprises to start things off with Victor V and Crackly, but I am having to do a drawback. We do have to remember there is a duo that's ready to step up to the task in front of them of overthrowing first place. LeCurve and LeYusuf might be the real key component here from second page of the leaderboard to first and then first place overall. That's what it's really all about. But Brayden utilizing a strategy of just holding the glider overhead, trying to stay alive, trying to make sure that him and Higgs aren't eliminated super early.
From one scuffle to the next, typical gamer. Get a little bit too close to comfort on the rise. He's going for the chase. Misses that first mammoth shot. That would have
Typical
made the
gamer's already
difference.
dead.
Rise able to hit him with the 180 as he's bouncing around. Take down typical gamer. And again, I feel like you heard Agers call it out, and I think a lot of people are feeling that same pressure. If I have any chance of coming back in this tournament, I have to start to get aggressive and close the gap with elimination. And Rapid just catching Guapo out. Man, it's just unfortunate circumstances. Even when he's trying to play safe and farm up, they still found him out.
Yeah, welcome to Fortnite, Wapo. That's all that's really left to be said, and this is a whole different type of beast to try and tackle. But Ritual, Nina, solid start. 1 elimination already onto Higgs. We could see in the elimination feed, Clix was another player that had been eliminated at one point, but Queasy now dealing with the tall task here of trying to make sure that he doesn't get eliminated by Jinxie. Jinxie's cranking up. Jinxie trying to build it.
Ooh, Jinxie killed Queasy.
He got his elimination! Jinxie on top, and what an elimination it
Jinxie
was!
got his
On to
first
Queasy,
elimination.
a global champion. Jinxie just completed probably a bucket list thing off of that one, cross it off, get that elimination. Could this be a new Jinxie in the second half of the tournament? We have to wait and see, but honestly, Queasy going down earlier on. Sometimes you just drop thinking you're going to sneak up on somebody, get a free elimination, but Jinxie definitely turned the tables there and has to be feeling confident.
The way that we saw Jinxie tarp upwards, though, cinema. And now Poyo just trying to keep the pain brewing right now. That's kind of salt in the wounds, I think, for Queasy's competition here today. The highlight from that instance is unfortunately going to plague him for a while on socials, but it doesn't distinguish the fact that Queasy is still goated in his own right. Kanata, on the other hand, dealing with a whole different world of trouble here. Coop just administering a lot of pressure up against Art and Kanata, really not trying to provide the opportunity here. He wants to try and shut down Kanata's top 5 presence.
Yeah, I feel like this game is moving at such an accelerated pace so far. A lot more eliminations early game. You see Kanata at least trying to make an attempt to stay close to Archie, but the zone is going to pull him further and further away, cause that separation, but in comes back in 4 seconds. That is going to be Cooper. They both have the luxury of being able to get back into this game. It's about how bad they want this elimination, but nope, they found Archie floating back in, trying to reunite with his teammate Kanata. He gets found out a second time so far.
No real surprises to see Coop trying to take the offensive right now. Remember, a lot of these players just trying to ensure that they can try and close the distance on the leaderboard positional stances, and Kanata duking it out right now. Holding Coop decently well. Not only that, but he's putting counter pressure onto Cooper instead. And Kanata just really going all out right now. And that is going to be an opening elimination that he needed. Just sort of stem the bleeding right now and allowing Arky a real opportunity to touch down.
Almost gets caught lacking right there with the last second pickaxe pull out as Higgs and Braden. Interesting strategy from Higgs and Braden this one. Higgs dropped it down first. He actually got eliminated, but Braden just held his parachute out. He said, hey, if I don't touch down, they're not going to know where I'm at. He was able to get Higgs back in this game, and they changed up their drop. They saw how many teams were moving towards the north side of the map, and they immediately tried to change course over towards Tears of Cube, which isn't necessarily a bad idea, other than the fact that Victor V and Crackley are landing over here.
But Victor V and Crackley, they might have decided to leave. They haven't. They're actually going even more offensive against Rise. They might not even know that there is Higgs kind of lurking about, which could actually bode in Higgs' favor pretty well. It all depends on whether or not he's actually able to get an opening shot here. The element of surprise, though, definitely in his favor.
Oh, now we got a 1v2 going down. Veno versus Poyo and Jinxie. See, Ron in the minimap trying to close the distance so they can make it a fair 2v2 here, especially pressure coming from underneath. A lot of that being focused onto Poyo. Then a whole nother team, a third party. Agers and Hammy also putting pressure from up above. Veno head on a swivel, making sure nobody can make any sneaky plays. As Jinxie separates himself just a little bit too far from Poyo. He's going to be the first one that gets dropped in this fight.
Veno realized that he needed to take out the real threat of the duo between Jinxie and Poyo. Hey, and look, he's got one for the opening. He said he only had 84 damage. Now he knows what it's like to simulate that full 200 clear.
Almost would get a sneaky shot onto Poyo. Jinxie's right back in, and this is where they do have the luxury on the side of Veno and Ron, knowing at least one of the players here has nothing to his name. Maybe he has a Morphite assault rifle, an SMG, and a couple of minis, but outside of that, there's going to be nothing in the inventory for Jinxie to utilize, and they're even here in the minis. Veno, the king of lurking around, just trying to pick and choose his options here.
All right, Veno maybe also cognizant of the fact that, hey, we did just see a whole different duo. We don't want to get caught out in the open and find ourselves actually becoming victims of a third-party scenario, because we've seen how many times has a single mammoth pistol shot or even the hunting rifle just immediately been able to shut down a key opportunity, and that's something that Veno and Ron are trying to avoid. They know that they are public enemy #1 right now in this lobby, and Pete just waiting in the wings right now. Whether or not he recognizes that that's Veno and Ron is still left to be unsaid, but at the same time, he's just holding teams at bay that are trying to make their approach into the edge zone.
Yeah, it's very, very important, especially with Peterbot nearby, that Veno and Ron do not go down. They do have the chance, you know, getting rebooted, we've seen it, getting back into the game, but as soon as people know it's you, they'll see all that information in the feed. They'll just go straight on over the fresh reboot player as Peterbot gets the full box onto Paige, sending her right back to the reboot. Luckily for her, Bolts is still alive, and Bolts kind of playing into that strategy. You know, he apologized. A lot of his quick moving does get Paige eliminated due to bad positioning, but it's for the greater good.
And I think what you can appreciate too about Primate Paige is that she's taking it in stride. She's not frowning upon Bolts' strategy. She's fully accepting the fact that, like, hey, if I've got to be the standout component here where players are going to look at me instead of you, fine. Because what that means is Paige and Bolts still on that first page of the leaderboard. And I think that that is a position that not many people would have taken this duo for at the start of today's competition.
I can agree with that 100%. Pulling off a big surprise here. Veno and Rod, though, they don't want to travel on foot if they don't have to. There's a lot of launch pads around the map in the Elite Strongholds map, and it's those extra long launch pads. If you mix it with the Fids, you mix it with the Shockwave Grenade, you go further, you go farther, and that's the tool in the tool belt right now for Veno and Ron to make sure that they go underneath the radar, or in that case, over it, so teams don't get a lick of information about where they're at.
Victor V and Crackley, though, 5 eliminations in total. They are definitely staying on the same pacing that we have witnessed from this duo in the previous 3 lobbies, but now it's about conversion factors. You need to make sure that you are finding a top 3 placement if you really want to play catch up to where first place is at. There was about 110 points separating them heading into this lobby, so, and it's not going to be easy because you are also dependent on someone eliminating Veno and Ron along the way. You don't want to allow them to keep building up all of those placement points that they've been seemingly gathering no problem the past couple of lobbies this past 2 rounds.
narrowly missing that hunting rifle shot. Muda missing a couple shots as well, which you allow for Hammy to touch 10 toes down, reunite in the same box with Agers, but you see Rapid lurking around, trying to play sneaky. Him a typical gamer so far when it comes to their success. It's early game eliminations mixed with some consistency to get their placement on the overall leaderboard. Ash out, continues to struggle. We are now moving into the 6th zone, so one more zone, Taco, before reboots turn off and all these eliminations finally start to count.
A little bit of a tussle here. Wondering if maybe TG and Rapid are trying to potentially fight for that loot pile that was just one box ahead of them, but it's just not really worth risking their current position. They're not going to continue to try and press the issue against Agers and Hammy, but this is also a match where we're actually getting to see glimpses of Hammy in a standing tall position. Hopefully that's not going to be the caster curse opportunity for him, but like to see like the signs of life really starting to kick in here.
Yeah, you can see now Raw Dog Moon and Sphinx. Yeah, sometimes you just take down a pro player like Ritual, and you start to think, maybe I can do this. Look at like the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. Sometimes it just starts with that mental confidence, but you see on the outskirts, Puga and Peterbot, Faxity and Yugi now enter into the mix as well. Instead of just clashing, they're just trying to let the dust settle. They know the potential. You see third-party shots start to move in, especially if they're stuck on the edge of the zone.
Puga knows better. He's not trying to take this direct matchup with Peterbot and Faxity. He's just trying to have a slightly established position, a little bit of elevation to work with, but they're in zone. That's what matters most right now, and he'll have an opportunity to kind of check out, see where the rest of the lobby is starting to rotate through. Gonna go ahead and also drop that pizza, just carry the slices with him. No real reason to try and delay that any longer, as Higgs and Braden also seemingly on a stronger stance in this lobby. 4 eliminations for Higgs. He's definitely got the ball rolling.
Yeah, now he's finding some extra crash pads, so he has mobility, which is a huge tool in the tool belt. But even though Braden is still alive, you can see that they're not working together. Higgs is in the front side of the drone. Braden is trying to play catch up. There's a lot of information being passed around right now to try to go ahead and allow for Braden to rotate swiftly on over and reunite with Higgs on the other side. It looks like he has things of his own. Goes for alert play, ends up in the box. Big shots being fired, but 2v1. He needs some help. He needs a way out. And with 1 HP, Taco, he finds it.
1 HP in a dream right now for Higgs, but it could quickly turn into a nightmare scenario because he's trying to see, where can I escape? Where can I break through? But that duo, they know he's incredibly weak, and yet they don't chase him. That says so much about what the focal point is currently for so many of our teams. They're all just so dedicated to not being some of the first out of this competition. They know reboots are disabled. They're trying to hold on for dear life.
Yeah, they just don't want to get too greedy when sometimes you might have to. As you see pressure coming in from below. Veno and Ron feeling a little bit of that. That's Puga and Yugi down below trying to catch him off guard, but they have their head 360 degrees, watching all around so they cannot get caught off guard. No matter what direction that pressure comes from, they are ready and waiting. And even now, you can kind of see, or at least in this view, nobody has really solidified themselves as the high ground team.
Bolt's maybe a little bit of the pseudo height factor. He's parked down a decent enough tunnel, claimed enough space to maybe make other duos in the lobby believe that that's a strong duo holding tall, and with the way that he's connecting shots, Hammy, I'm sorry to say, you are victim number 1 from this POV of Bolts, but will he be able to actually make it to the body? Doesn't necessarily need the material just yet, but it just always helps.
I just realized right now, Bolts and Private Page are both still alive, but they are nowhere near each other. Hey, you just cover more ground, maybe get more loot, and I might have cursed her right there because Yusuf actually picks up the knock and elimination onto Page. That was Curve and Yusuf that you saw getting aggressive onto Higgs. He's surviving with 1 HP, and they're probably just trying to take it one foot in front of the other. Don't get greedy because that can lead to your team going down overall. We've already seen it so far today.
Curve knows he's ready to administer some alley-oops there to his teammate Yusuf. Just see how far they'll actually be able to make it in this 4th lobby. But Ron, Veno, starting to make their approach. looking back, Ron, a little bit quick on the trigger finger there, but that just tells you he's aware. He's ready for anyone to come his direction, even if it's his teammate.
Yep, anybody can get these hands for the first time today, though. It does look like Kanata has been eliminated outside of placement points, unless Arky is still alive, of course, but 16 teams remain. One more does need to go down before it starts to play a role, and the points start to add up as Poyo kind of losing tracks of Jinxie for a moment. He has no shockwaves in order to make it back up. He does have the build, but he's getting flanked right now by Higgs, who's rushing forward closer and closer, reloading at the worst possible time. That's going to be Higgs who catches him off guard, leaving Poyo all by himself. Too quick for Jinxie to catch up, but for some reason, I feel calm, cool, and collected with Poyo being by himself.
It's a tough break for Jinxie. He's doing his best to try and reunite with Poyo, but sometimes that's just how the lobby breaks down right in front of you. Reet doing a great job now establishing that frontside low alongside Frantic, but they might actually have to deal with Curve and Yusuf in a few moments' notice. Meanwhile, Ron, Veno, what they've done so well, where they have really excelled, has just been staying out of the thick of the action. And right now, it's all down to whether or not Victor V and Crackley can actually be successful in their opening strategy, take height. But there's still other parts to it.
Yeah, they landed at Chisel Cubes, and Victor V said it himself, like, hey, we're just going to go hide and see what happens. And right now, they're seeing it all play out. Nobody really having a chance to look up, including Reek and Fran, where they were able to pick up one elimination there and get some of that loot, trying to keep themselves looking strong, and they have their focus on Higgs, the backside of the zone. No shots actually connected, so Higgs doing a good job of handling that pressure well.
Crackley and Victor V, though, looking very established right now. A bit of a chop, but it's not going to be one that affects them. They're just going to keep tapping on the Blueberry Fizz Dome, try and make sure they prevent themselves from succumbing to fall damage. Peterbot and Faxity fully eliminated, though, and the placement points are starting to cause a little bit of an overbearing issue here, but still a few more lobbies left to work with. Right now, it's all about whether or not Spinks can get the job done as a solo.
Yeah, Lacy doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He was the one that took down Peterbot, sent him all the way back to the lobby, so we still have first place alive, second place in this game. Higgs is trying to get themselves up the leaderboard, but only 9 builds left. Bandages, Fizz, literally working with the bare minimum in terms of an overall loadout, especially you got to realize there's a team above, below, all around. Clix and Lacy doing the same thing, but it's Yusuf that is getting a lot of that pressure along with Curve.
But Clix and Lacy, they don't want to stay too distracted. They still want to make sure that they maintain a little bit of leverage. You're forced to layer swap at this point. It's going to be very difficult for them to actually contend with the team on height. And Clix, Lacy, maybe recognizing the fact we just got to deal with the teams underneath us or on our layer first before we worry about what's going on at the high ground. Crackley and Victor V are having the time of their lives currently, though. But when you see the wood builds start getting busted out, you know that that's a duo that's hurting for some materials. Clix, great refresh onto Spinks. That's going to buy them a huge lifeline for builds.
Yeah, even Lacy just trying to go in and get some of those materials from a fallen player. Even if it wasn't his, he's still trying to make these moments count, because you see they're almost down on E. And luckily for Victor V and Crackley, we're not going over recycled builds, so all the players down below, they have to build outward, expend that material. You even see a med kit being passed around, probably a just in case, but Veno has just been knocked down. Not sure if Ron is still alive, but this is the golden opportunity for Clix and Lacy to play catch up.
Good moment of siphon there kicking in for Clix. His Curve will also follow suit. Clix, Lacy, they are really starting to heat up in game 4 here. 7 eliminations already. Let's see if they can add more to the count. They're going to need every single little bit of placement points and eliminations they can get. Artie Moon just narrowly avoids it, but Muda can't say the same for him. Clix finding yet another elimination here.
Yeah, Acorn drawing out the time outside of the zone, just trying to stay alive, squeak in the top 2. Lacy's gonna go down. Victor V put down the pain. Him versus Clix. 1v1 scenario. Victor V gets the wipe. Acorn is finally joining into the party. It might be too late, but damage has been done by both Crackley and Victor V. This is potentially doable, but a bad crash pad sends Acorn packing. Victor V did what he said he was going to do. Take height and win the next game.
And look, we know what usually follows after the take height half of the sentence, but it was really just the truth. Right now for Victor V and Crackley, they were able to establish on the high ground. They kind of let those lower layers sort of duke it out with each other, cleared things out. They did a great job at suppressing teams, forcing them to drop to ultimate low. So it was just very difficult for anybody to even consider trying to challenge them on the high ground.
Yeah, just coming into this one when we saw the leaderboard, they were keeping up with Veno Ron. 26 eliminations for each duo. It's the placement points that really made the difference. Now that they got the win, Levin, let's see what their plan is for the next game.
All right. Before the game started, I came to you guys and I said, what's the strategy going to be? Vic, you said it was height. Crackly, looks like it worked.
Yeah, he did it all. I was just up there, just shooting and listening.
I mean, you spoke it into existence. You seem to believe it from the moment the game started. What was the difference maker in this one?
Difference, bro. I just had to realize I have the best content creator on my team. Could basically be a pro. I have the best IGO duo Queasy right now, so obviously I'm going to know the secret little high takes, you know. Go high, don't die. I've obviously learned that from him, so.
Well, look, spoiler alert, your day is going a lot better than Queasy so far. What's the key to making this stick, though? How is this going to continue?
I mean, we just got to be as consistent as we were, you know. We were getting it like 10th, 9th, 8th. We just got to make it first, second, third, you know. Just keep on threes.
Crackly, he's been hyping up your abilities. I mean, now after you've played 4 games now, do you feel like you can keep up with all of the pros in this lobby?
I did kill Rise twice that game.
And Rise is doing good as well.
He killed Victor. I got his get back.
And then you got the win. Not too shabby from these two. New strategies here in the second half of the competition. And so far, the new strategies are working. Taco, Jacob, what do you think of that?
I'm loving it, Taco. Sometimes all you need is that break. We saw it at the Summit Land where Peterbot and Pollo had that resurgence. You just need a moment to just refresh, think about what's going wrong or what's going right, and try to replicate that success.
It can definitely be revitalizing, especially towards the mental, and that clearly seems to be the case for Victor V and Crackly because they recognize the fact, look, we're not doing poorly when it comes to getting those eliminations. What we're struggling with is just finding our consistency metrics for the actual placement points. But for that to come into effect, I do think they did just a great job building up on the high ground, not letting anybody else challenge them for it, and then the rest of the lobby also just kind of eating itself alive.
Yeah, it just seemed like everybody in this game, for some reason, was a little bit hesitant. I've never cheered on. I'm not biased to anybody other than Jinxie in this tournament. I feel like, hey, it still counts. That's still an elimination on the board for Kanata getting that one on the coop. This is the first game today, though, that Kanata has not placed inside of the top 5. So, again, the halfway point of the tournament has officially been here, and you're seeing a lot of teams make those adjustments.
And they're going to have to keep following suit with making sure that the adjustments that are actually working out stay in place. And that's going to be the difficult factor because we've seen players, I think Higgs had an incredible run in this 4th lobby. He was definitely able to rack up a few points for himself and Breeden. Not only that, but he's just so wiggly with the movement.
Sliding in and out of these covers to stay alive. 1 HP in a dream. Those points definitely start to have to add up. And you got Veno and Ron, another big game for Veno and Ron. So even though you have Victor V and Crackly winning it all, trying to go ahead and take out that point deficit that they're currently facing, and it's a big one with how well Veno and Ron have been playing so far, but somebody needs to start to take them out early. Even if Veno and Ron slow down in the elimination category, they still have that placement point cushion.
But if Victor V and Crackly are able to find their second victory royale, you've already experienced, you know, you got a taste. You opened up the doorway to understanding what it's going to take to win a lobby. You've also got the bonus feature. I can't stress it enough, just knowing that you're netting that extra 1K per lobby that you win, it's always going to be a heavy encouragement factor to our competitors here today. And Vic and Crackly, they seem like they're putting the whole lobby on notice now that they're going to be the new rising stars in this lobby.
Yeah, 11 eliminations in that game. You know, if math does me right, 26-11, they have 37 eliminations. And I almost want to say they have the most eliminations in the tournament so far. But let's go ahead and get that confirmed with the leaderboard itself. Where is Victor V and Crackly with eliminations? Yes, 37, and they kind of closed the gap. I say kind of because it's still about 49 points.
Yeah, they're not the only ones, though. Lacy and Clix as well in that 3rd place position, 220 points. What I'm really noticing, Jacob, is that top 3 is really starting to break away from everybody else underneath them, but still very impressive stuff out of Crackly and Victor V, Ron and Veno, Lacy, Clix. I think our top 5 right now is definitely about to try and throw somebody for a loop.
Yeah, there's only 3 games left, and I'm just trying to think, like, you know, what do you need to do? And I can kind of see it right now. Crackly, Victor V, Lazy, Clix, they're so close to each other on the leaderboard. Even if they do try to contest to win the entire tournament against a team like Veno and Ron and they go down, they're just going to fall down that leaderboard. So that's the risk versus reward scenario a lot of these teams really have to be cognizant of, and if they're willing to make a move like that. And I think for Victor V and Crackly, maybe potentially we could see it happen, but if they can continue to have pop-up performances, 11 elimination victory rounds, they won't need to.
Hey, I feel like Bolts is putting Spudson on the spot right now, though. Not even just him, but I think the entirety of the Fortnite community, when you're talking about a top 8, a top 10 even, Jacob.
Yeah.
Bolts is just very consistently ensuring that they claw their way up the leaderboard. And you have to remember that the pricing differentials that really start to take place when you are already inside of this top 10, those narrow gaps, they just become so much more feasible to attain. And it's got to be encouraging seeing your points go up and your rank with it.
Yeah, it's just inside of that top 10, as you were saying, it's just money each and every placement. So you reach that first place, $10,000. You know, I just need to know who's going to win this tournament so I know who to be friends with after this. But, you know, Nina and Ritual, 11th place. They're on the cusp of hitting inside of that top 10, which is more money at the end of the day. You had Sphinx and RD Moon, who actually showed up pretty big. But a team, honestly, Rapid and Typical Gamer almost has me wondering, like, what's kind of going wrong? We saw a lot of early game success in the first half of the tournament, but since then, it almost seems like they fizzled out.
A little bit too split off from each other at the start.
Okay.
I do think that it is a viable strategy that has been working for some of our duos here today, but it really looks like when one of them gets too isolated, too pinpointed, I respect the Typical Gamer even try and, you know, dish it out just as much as they're being aggressed on, but like, at the same time, I want to see them play more in unison with each other because they're both such strong competitors individually. I think one thing that is happening for sure in this lobby is that when a strong player gets eliminated, they are immediately being focused by everybody else. And so it's making the recovery element just that much more difficult.
Yeah, I think we're seeing it. Outside of maybe like Victor V in the early game, if you look at like Veno and Ron, you know, early game they do send Veno to get those eliminations, and then they spend the rest of the game hip to hip. Crackly, Victor V doing the same thing. Clix and Lacy doing the same thing. At a certain point in the game, because they're so high up on the leaderboard and they built themselves that cushion, they have a little bit more freedom and flexibility over the game plan versus everybody else. And I think you mentioned like top 5, top 6 was that huge point gap. The only way they could close it is with eliminations and like top 3s. And yes, you can go ahead and give that a try, but for a team with like inside of the top 3 that has no pressure, just sit in a box, chill, win your tournament.
I do have to make one special note to that though, because in that post-game interview, we heard Victor V being like, hey, you know, we got to get first, second, third. No, there is no second or third for you, Vic, okay? We know Pops is not going to allow that type of mentality. We are only seeking victory royales from this point on.
Yeah, he's already cashed in $1,000 for them after that last game, and a boost of confidence, which is the biggest thing. There was a moment where Veno and Ron, especially after coming up back-to-back in victory royales, they went down early. But it was early in comparison to winning the game. I think it was still inside of the top 5, maybe top 6. So you have to figure out a way to get them out so that way you don't have to, you know, end the game with 20 eliminations, which we've seen players with 11, but you can see how hard that is in itself.
It's just tough when you're trying to keep tabs on everybody and everything that's also kind of shifting around you because there's that little bit of desperation, I think, that is really going to start flaring up in these next couple of lobbies because we're reaching the beginning of the end, right? We've got Game 5 on the horizon, and with that in mind, so many of these players are kind of recognizing the fact that if I don't want to be on that second page of the leaderboard, I've got to step into overdrive right now.
Just like this right now. You see Muzz, you see Pete, you see Veno and Ron, they are trying to take down first place already. Veno's just trying to disengage out of this. Even Reet is here, so 4 different teams landing here, trying to take down first place. Peterbot, not sure where Faxity is at, but he's just trying to fight tooth and nail to make sure he stays alive here in this game. But Veno, I'm not sure where Ron is at, if he's trying to figure out a way to reunite. But right now, they're probably doing a good job at surviving.
If Veno could just see what we witnessed, though, Muzz on the other end of things, I think Veno and Ron have the right idea, though. They're just going very aggressive with the approach now. Veno's still under a little bit of pressure here, but the elimination wipe just means Siphon a little bit more material to work with, and you can see already how injured Peterbot is, but he'll also take the opportunity to try and heal back up.
See Veno just slow approach. Even with the elimination on the Muzz, he cracks the shield onto Peterbot, get him drop down to about 20 HP. Box gets stolen, can't get the wrap in as Peterbot is able to escape out the sidewall. No help coming for either one of these guys. It's going to be a straight 1v1. Ron just making sure to stay alive as the just in case. Peterbot's going to fall, but luckily Baxley knows his job. They are uncontested, so it's going to take no time getting Peterbot back into the game.
This is no surprise to Veno. He was completely expecting to be challenged at some point. He knew that as long as him and Ron are in the lead, someone's going to look to threaten that. And all I can think about, too, is just the NAC FNCS. What did Veno do best? He just outsmarted Pete's winning strategy of challenging the team in first. And I think that Veno, he's just no foreigner to this. And that's going to be tough scenes right now for Rapid. He also gets eliminated by Coop.
Yeah, Coop just jumping into the box, quickly getting that elimination. Cooper and Zemi, a lot of people looked at them as one of the teams that could take it on. They've been doing good inside of the top 10. They have moments of greatness, but I think now they realize with such a few games left, if we want to close the gap, if we want to win, we need to start getting aggressive. And I think that's what Cooper's on the hunt for, trying to get more eliminations, which in turn turns to more points. Try to move up the leaderboard. Nina going down underneath. Poyo's looking like he's going on a hunt, but probably realized the fight has already settled, so it'd be too much of a risk to just run straight into a 1v2.
I do think part of the problem that started to unfold for more experienced duos like Cooper and Zemi is that in comparison to last year's FNCS Pro-Am, there's just so many more elements of surprise in this lobby. Jinxie doing what he can, trying to stay alive. Victor V, though, zero intentions of letting that one go. It's a reboot cycle. Whether or not we'll actually be able to wait it out for Poyo. He's trying to create some space, get his duo back up and running. But going back to that initial message there, Jacob, I just think that things aren't as foretold as last FNCS Pro-Am because you don't know what some of these other creators are going to do. You can't read their minds because they're playing a different kind of Fortnite to you.
Yeah, especially if you're with one of the Clix Pro players that are just too fast for, honestly, even their own good at times. It's Reet and Fran just trying to make sure they both get back together. Trying to scare Booga off, who was trying to go for what seemed like a free elimination here, but it might have been the opposite. He might be the free elimination here that Reet and Fran are trying to go after to try to close that gap. They get that first wall, cutting down options, forcing Booga to make more space on the other side.
Solid delay, though, right now from Booga's Yugi. He is just booking it. He is trying to get out of town since yesterday, and it's just not going to be enough. Frantic finds him, cuts him off immediately, and now that's just going to leave Booga stuck in a very difficult position because there is another team quickly making their approach to where all of this noise is taking place. And, well, for Booga, he's going to have a tough time working his way out of this one.
I feel bad for Yugi because they were putting pressure on Booga, had no choice but to kind of sit there, and he's like, all right, you want to sit there and hide, Booga? We're just going to go after your teammate. They're at the edge of zone. Yugi, you had to have seen that one coming, but at least he got the pressure off of Booga. That's going to be the biggest thing, allowing for him to stay alive. As Reek going after Nina. Again, looking for these free eliminations, trying to catch players off guard. There's only a sliver of HP still on Nina, and I'm not sure if she has anything to get that HP back up other than the hopeful elimination here onto Reek for the Siphon.
Oh, but disaster has struck right now for Reek. Even though Nina is not healthy enough to really tackle this exchange, Reek losing Frantic is still going to be a pretty big slowdown because now he's got to play a little bit of that recovery tour for his duo. But it doesn't seem to be deterring Reek's aggression. He is still on the hunt for more eliminations.
Literally just the two different sides of this coin in this game. Teams being hunted outside of the zone, just trying to stay alive, hoping the focus gets off of them. And you got Jinxie and Poyo. Did enough up until this point. Boxed up here. The biggest worry for me is not necessarily the material and the loadout onto Poyo, but Jinxie doesn't have much. So he gets caught out and gets sprayed. It'll be so long that he has to protect himself.
But at least you know he's not dropping anything phenomenal for the players that are eliminating him. It could be worse. He could have, you know, The exotic hunting rifle, stink rifle.
Oh!
Problems, but Victor V and
Yikes! That was nasty. I mean, the one on Nina was like regular, but he really just dropped Ritual
He was on
off,
timing.
man. He said, don't worry about the battle bus. I'll take you home. Send him right back to the lobby. And now they get back at their POI. They got a lot of extra gold because of those eliminations. They got the vending machine they can use to themselves. This is literally a perfect early game for Crackly and Victor V as we see Curve and Yusuf go back to the lobby as well.
a little bit of a 180 here in perspectives. But Pollo doing his best job so far to try and reestablish, rebuild some of the downfalls of the early game there, of just dealing with the whole trying to stop Jinxie from just getting completely farmed in the reboot measures. But P and Faxity, I almost wish that we could have just like the listen-in of what some of these endgame comms might be sounding like between these two, because I do think that it's been a little bit more volatile than what they would have initially anticipated. And part of that is definitely credited towards Clix and Lacy.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, the last year's Pro-Am was, wouldn't call it the very first, but it was very early in Reload's life cycle. You know, I don't think people have figured out the little intricacies at that time, and now I think people have taken it a full mile and like stretched it even further about what they're able to actually do, the elimination hunting, the timing of everything. So I especially since the game mode changed where you can actually get a loadout off of getting dropped. Cooper Zemi looking like they're aggressive on the one. Reek and Fran getting aggressive across the map on the Booga and Yugi as well. He lands the shot from over the top, but it wasn't a heavy hitter like he was hoping for. But he's being persistent, trying to get the side angle. Booga's distracted. He gets the edit onto Yugi, taking
I
him
did not
down.
even know that game
Booga,
fight was
he's
happening.
still alive.
This is a lot of eliminations, though, currently for Reed and Frantic. So they are definitely trying to kick it up a notch here in Game 5. Wait and see whether or not Booga can stay alive long enough for you.
I liked
to
it
get
in
back into
the last
action,
years when they had
still
the
a couple
face
more
cam
challenges to
on.
work with before reboots are completely disabled. So that is a little bit of a silver lining here for the Lion and his teammate Yugi. But for Frantic and Reed, plenty of medkits to utilize, decent amounts of mobility. They're committed to just getting as many elimination points as they can fathom against the likes of Booga and Yugi.
Yeah, they kind of have options here. Put pressure on the Booga or hope Yugi comes back here fresh off the respawn. But right now, they're choosing the first of the two options, trying to put pressure on a Booga. But he does such a good job of fighting back. Not necessarily landing haymakers, but enough damage to scare off Frantic and Reed and make them second-guess this decision. But they got to be careful. They've run into Kanata and Arky just lurking on the end of the Peerless Pier.
But now that's put Frantic and Reed into a little bit of a difficult position here. You can see now it's just all about the retreat factor. They don't want to stick around. They realize you don't want to be stuck between two separate teams. Even if Booga is working as a solo primarily, it still makes a big difference. You never know when a solo can just pack a punch and then shut it down when a duo is already third-partying you.
Takes this one well-placed shot to really make that difference. It's Kanata Arky using the launch pad at the pier. Arky actually seeing the toe, spots him out, misses the shot, but hits a full pump on the
Oki just
second.
missed
Arky is
everything
down.
from that,
Good thing
bro.
for him. Kanata saved the day. That was actually a good spot from Arky to realize that somebody was actually inside. If he would have hit that one pump that he missed, man, that would have just been a full celebration for Arky. And right now it's looking a little bit different than some of the other games where we've seen this team have success from Kanata and being a solo. This time they're doing it together.
I was kind of impressed with the tech there from
I didn't get to see the scoreboard
you know,
from last time.
a little bit of crowd spam, just getting the advantageous holds with staying accurate off the assault rifle. That made the difference there. It was the sole reason he was able to find that initial knock. It felt like Kanata was trying to let Arky have one. I can't hide it on that.
I
but
respect it though, honestly. That like when you're playing a game and you realize your teammate just has a donut, sometimes you just gotta throw him a bone, man. And I like that, because imagine the hype and the confidence going into the rest of the day if he was actually able to pull that one off. But no loss, both players still up. Kanata Arky still trying to rotate in. Sphinx and Raw Dog Moon doing the same thing, but most of their rotation in is going to become without a single player facing them until they reach that line of zone. That's where you have 1, 2 teams already positioned and the potential for more.
Sphinx also just trying to see whether or not you don't want to be caught at the base of the mountain face, especially when the zones start to pool. There's more often than not going to have to be some form of
Oh wait,
commitment
this
towards
is
the high ground, and a
this
lot of
is
times
Yu-Gi-Oh
you'll
zone.
see players, especially ones like Sphinx who are experienced,
Raw Dog
looking
Moon is
to put
Yu-Gi.
themselves halfway up so they can go either way, ultimate high, ultimate low. You know, not everything in the game is farmable.
Yeah, and luckily for a lot of these teams, you're talking about like high ground, and especially where the zone was at, where it was literally 50-50, half on the mountain, half underneath. Most of the zone right now is pulling on over to flat land, giving a little bit of alleviated pressure of having to kind of build up, expend your materials to get up the side of the mountain. You still want to stay away from that ultimate low ground. That's where things can happen in the blink of an eye, and your game can get twist turned upside down. With top 16, one player going down, placement points start to set in.
Crucial moments right now, though, for Venno and Ron. The last thing that they want is an early departure in the second half of today's competition. They need every single lobby that they can get, because Victor V and Crackley, they were not joking about the heat up factor. They are looking at 9 eliminations already. And again, Crackley said it. I have Vic as my IGL, but with the way that he's playing, he's basically both.
Yeah, right now he's just in the mode. Smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. Just let Victor V do his thing, and I'm just kind of here celebrating. And for Victor V, 8 eliminations, like you said. He does have the Morphite gold pump, so he has been just kind of dominating around the lobby. Somerset, this is one of those reboot loadouts I was talking to you about. She gets in before the reboots actually turn off. She gets that assault rifle. She gets the tack, probably using the splashes already along with minis. And if they got an elimination, you can see why they're stacked up here, or as stacked as you could be in a situation like this.
Rough shotgun to have to get up close and personal with, though. She is really going to have to depend on sort of approaching separate lines of sight with Muzz. We've seen them do it before, though, in Game 1, where they had the premiere of their success debut. I think that Somerset and Muzz are for sure capable of bouncing back from this position and getting some stronger loadouts if they can just find 1 or 2 good eliminations, even if it means playing through those lower layers. The main thing is just going to be not burning through all of your materials and dealing with those teams on height.
Yeah, speaking about teams on hot, Poyo and Jinxie somehow find themselves on high ground for now. Sphinx takes down Arky, leaving Kanata by himself. But I feel like sometimes, especially in a tournament like this, being by yourself is a little bit of a blessing. You don't have to worry about your teammate, and you just have the freedom of flexibility knowing as long as I keep myself alive, we are good. As Jinxie, honestly, this scares me just a little bit, seeing Jinxie on high ground.
It's kosher. Poyo's got it covered. Poyo probably has the fizz. If anything, he's got the overdrive grenades. It's just something to keep them on top of their A game. And Poyo, very likely just telling Jinxie, look up. Because Poyo can handle suppressing those lower layers. He can handle applying pressure down beneath. First, he's got to see whether or not somebody is actually going to wind up taking out Bugha. Doesn't have a whole lot left to work with, but everybody just focused on making their way forward to the front side of zone.
Yeah, you gotta be careful though. Crackley, Victor V, they're making their way up layer by layer. Now they're even looking at the high ground, tempting a chop at the high. He said, I learned from Queasy. That's his IGL for this FNCS. Take height, don't look back, and right now they've chopped out Jinxie and Poyo. They had the Flowberry Fizz, so no fall damage or scares just yet, but they immediately set their eyes on high ground once again. Poyo starts to build back up, especially now more than ever that Victor V and Crackler have taken the attention from the lobby.
And not only that, but Crackley, Victor V, they're going to have to start fighting with the rest of this lobby. For a moment, they were caught in the backside of zone because they committed towards that height chop, so it did put them just a little bit further
Bro,
behind.
Jinxie just took height. Why did they get? Why did they even shoot him down? He just took height. Why did they?
Peterbot, though, finds Somerset underneath it all. 5 eliminations now for Fax and Pete, and they have got to really find their momentum in this lobby if they want to try and bounce back on that leaderboard.
Yeah, no choice but to use the zone in their favor. It opens up on the other side. Shockwave's through, but Peterbot burns through the rest of his materials, and now he's getting focused out, jumping around like a fish out of water, just trying to survive, forced to dig deep into his pocket. Shockwave's up, repositioned, but he is still going through it here.
Well, Fax is
dead.
dead.
Solo versus solo. Acorn does go down. Peterbot is able to clean up that elimination, but how far can he stretch it? Not far at all.
Peterbot's not gonna win.
Taken down by arch nemesis,
I
Clix
feel
and
like
Lacy.
Peterbot
You
is
would
done.
think that Lacy and Clix have a homing beacon on Peter
He didn't even
Bot's
get
head
top
at
10
this
in the
stage
global
because they just keep
FNCS.
finding him as Victor V, eliminating Coop. That is going to be a huge setback, and not only that, but now 10 eliminations. Victor V has actually harnessed double digits as a solo, and he has zero intentions of slowing down. It doesn't matter if they don't have high ground, because from this front side low position, they're gonna force Hype to drop straight to them. They know that this is their fight to win.
Even Jinxie's kind of following suit. And I don't see first place anywhere in this lobby still alive, so Victor V and Crackley, this could be a big game, but Pollo, surprise attack coming from above. Jinxie goes down to get the elimination onto Fred, his second elimination of this tournament. And if he could try to clean that one up, that could be loot for Pollo to use. He has no choice but to drop down low. Clix doing the same thing. Lacy trying to hold their high ground. This is 3 different duos all clashing here for the final game.
And not only that, but Pollo looking to take out Victor V, and he's got it! A big knock! This is where you really
Jinxie's
got to
dead.
dig deep here, but Pollo, he's not new to this. He's been here before. The
Do we
sight
do?
going to kick in now from that knock body. All
Come on,
that
Clix and
excess
Lacy.
material. Clix, Lacy, will they be able to shut Pollo down? The 1 versus 2, where he really starts to surface, where he really
2v1.
starts to showcase his strength, but Lacy still left. Pollo just barely any HP remains.
Polo
He has
is
to be
3
flawless with that
HP.
shot, and he gets it!
And he just killed
no
Lacy.
problem whatsoever. It's
Aw.
only Pollo versus Clix.
Come on,
Very
Clix.
safe health advantage, but an advantage all the same. But Pollo doesn't care.
Polo has
It
his,
doesn't
a little bit
matter what
HP
you
back.
think, because Pollo is always looking to come out on top when it's the 1 versus 2 scenario. Just one more overdrive. The
Oh my
cutoff
gosh.
on Clix, but
Thank
the
God
shot
I thought
isn't
Polo
gonna
was
be
about to
enough
come back,
here,
but
and
Clix
Clix
won.
finally shuts
Clix
him
and Lacy
down.
won. Let's
That
go.
feeling of deja vu of the Summit Land. Clix said, nah, 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 not in my house. He shuts down Pollo, and he gets the victory royale. And through the course of that game, I'm not sure when Venno and Ron actually went down. That was the perfect recipe for success.
So
'Cause
you
even
telling
though
me
Victor V and Crackley didn't win,
you
guess
don't got
what,
a
Jumbo?
arena
They are
for fans to
closing
watch
the
the Pro-Am.
gap.
And not
But
only
you
that,
you
but
just
a
set
huge
all of them
moment
just
as well,
outside.
because you have to remember, for Jinxie and Pollo, that second place is still going to be a little bit of
There's
money
got to be like
back in
maybe a
tucking
few
in. But hey,
100 people
big
just
scenes,
outside
Luke at
watching.
11, right there with it.
What a game that was, man. Finally, you got it done. Game 1. You tried to go for height, couldn't hold on to it. This time, things go your way, you're able to win the game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's all Lacy. At the end of the day, if he didn't shockwave up when I asked him to shockwave up, we wouldn't have got that height. The thing is, a lot of these players, they have shit teammates. Poop teammates. Apologize. Big poop teammates, right? My teammate, he's a tier 1 professional. He is a tier 1 professional. He has earnings. He has $100,000 earned. He's a GOAT.
A lot of people don't respect you like you are a tier 1 professional, Lacy. I feel like you're proving them wrong today.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. You know, Clix gave me a lot of credit, so I also have to give myself credit. I'm playing phenomenal, carrying Clix right now, putting up a lot of kills on the board, shockwaving on height.
Yo,
If it wasn't for me, I don't think we'd be in this position.
How many kills do you have that game?
A lot.
We had 6. We had 6.
We or you?
Well, this is the only game where he had no kills. No, you had 0. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, shit.
You didn't have it. It's fine. All that matters is you got the dub. What is going to be the key to this success continuing now for you guys?
Consistency. Consistency is key.
But how do you stay consistent?
I'm consistent with everything in my life. The way I wake up, my diet, going to the gym, getting on. Consistency is key, and that's just how I was born and raised.
I'll tell you the real truth. It's consistency, but it's gonna be Peterbot. Peterbot's gonna be a winner, our winner factor, because he's in a W key. Vino, he's in W key. Ron, he's in W key. Jinxie.
They just didn't show
right next to you. I mean,
any of the
like, say
tags
something
like
to him
that.
if you want right now.
Oh, is that the leaderboard?
Try to go in and yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, it's close, Levon.
Yeah, what's it looking like at the top there?
I'm third with 298. Second is 298 with Vino, and Victor V is first with 318.
Well, you said
Victor
Pete's gonna be a
V?
factor. I don't see him up there with you lot.
The thing is about Peter, he's gonna come in the shadows. There's 2 games left, and I'm not first, so nothing I should worry about.
Knowing him as well, it probably doesn't help that he can actually just look at your screen as well when it.
Yeah, you can look at my screen whenever you want.
Yeah,
Not a good shot.
Not ideal.
Not
Not ideal. All right, that's fine. We're gonna bring it back to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander over here. So talk to me then. Obviously, right, that game it was it was a donut for you, but that doesn't matter. You got the win. What would you rate your overall performance?
Actually, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We won. What's there to be happy about? You think I'm happy? There's nothing to be happy about. Job's not finished.
The job's not finished. Jacob Taco, what do you make of this game?
simple as what Lacy said. Job's not done. I know Lacy likes to have fun and have his clippable moments, but I feel like that is the truest thing, especially with how close the leaderboard is.
It's just, I'm speechless because Lacy and
Can we
Clix,
see the leaderboard?
I
Because
really thought, Jacob, I was so
I feel
convinced
like
the
he didn't
moment
really
that
explain it
Lacy
that
was
good.
eliminated there, the moment the siphon ticked in
Clix and
for
Lazy are that
Oreo,
third,
this is
Juan
it.
and
Oreo's
Vino
doing
at
it again.
second,
But
and then someone's
Clix
on
actually being the
one. I don't know
counter
who
to
was in
that,
fourth.
that is a huge
Right.
confidence boost that's really kicking in the final hour.
Hey, this is a new Clix. This is a new Clix for this season. You know, new teammate in Rapid, a whole new confidence going into it. He's playing with,
Clix
I feel
has
like
the
one of his
same team
best friends,
as he did
Lacy, the
last year.
familiarity from the last pro. I feel like, you know, he's playing with I would say a different type of pressure, almost no pressure at all, because, you know, in that last major with, you know, him and Higgs, even into the Summit Land, I feel like they unfairly put an immense amount of pressure onto themselves. Then now you come into the summer break, he was kind of roster mania'd, and now I feel like, you know, him with Rapid, I feel like this is going to make a good duo, and that confidence is showing here with Lacy. They just have all steam, all going, all ahead.
I think it really helps too, just knowing what kind of friendship that Clix and Lacy have, both on and off the camera. I think that Lacy is just the epitome of a perfect teammate for this kind of competitive environment for Clix. And not only that, but you've really got to give so much credit towards Clix and what he's able to accomplish when it comes to even the FNCS environment, because people really underestimate the type of pressure that Ro is constantly under. And the fact that he's still able to deliver constant entertainment, the fact that he's still able to deliver a very strong competitive nature, I would not be surprised to see Clix really just start to hit that bounce back.
Yep, and there's only 2 games left, and obviously
Paco
I
and
don't know
Jacob
the exact
Pio.
leaderboard, but I know Clix was looking about it, talking about how close
Never
it
knew their
actually is,
names.
top 3 teams, and it just goes to show, you know, one mistake at this stage in the game, one mistake could cost you that $10,000 first place prize.
You know what's really still like kind of sticking out though is not even just like Pete's like body language and his like facial expression, but Clix really knows how to like twist the dagger, because where Pete's gonna be a little bit more like up in your face about it and like just really reminding you, hey, like I'm beating you right now. Clix is just a lot more subtle. He's just like, ooh, you know, top 3. Oh wow, we're tied right now for second place. Oh, but I'm not first though. You know, it's just like it's the little twist of the dagger there.
Yeah, it's almost like you're hearing it from the woodworks. He didn't say it to Pete exactly. Obviously, the second time he made a little bit more mention towards his direction, but that first time it was like Pete's going to be the difference. And it wasn't that Pete was going to, you know, win the entire tournament or he was going to take down Pete. She thinks Pete is going to try to make a little bit of a comeback, and that means Pete's going to key around the lobby and hopefully make it easier for him. But they still have to worry about Victor V and Carackly. Victor V, I don't know what happened during that break, but Victor V woke up. I don't know if his mom pops, because I know they're both with him here this weekend. He probably has the entire support system, everything he needs. This guy is coming out of his shell in terms of interviews. I said this kid was the next up, and I know for weeks before it happened, I said Victor V Queasy, I want to see it happen. Get him a good IGL. It happened, and we're seeing a new version of the King of NA West.
Hey, and not only that, but Victor V, he's been very out front and center with it. I'm playing with the best creator here. He's got that much faith in Crackly, and I think that they just need a little bit of downtime, a little bit of simmering off to just realize, look, we're not struggling with the eliminations.
Here it
we
is.
have the eliminations on lock.
So
What we
Crackly
need
and
to
Victor
do is
V are in
start
first.
transferring our elims into solid
Lacy
placement,
and
and they've done
Clix
exactly
and
that.
Juan and
Since
Vino
the
are
second half
tied
entered,
for
since we
second.
got past the halfway point of that game
Oh my
3
god.
break, it's been like a whole new duo.
Yeah,
I don't know
look
who
at the leaderboard
Crackly
right now.
or Victor
Crackly
V
and
is,
Victor
and I just
V,
want.
218
I would like
points. And
Lacy
remember,
and
at one point
Clix
or another, they
and
were tied with Ron and Veno
or
at
like
26
Lacy and Clix or
eliminations
Juan and
each.
Vino to
That
win.
means in the time that Ron and Veno got 9 eliminations, Crackly
I did
and
say I
Victor
wanted
V got
Lacy and Clix to win.
24 eliminations, a victory royale, another top placing finish, and that's going to put them ahead by 20 points over a tie. Second and third place, Lacy and Clix, Ron and Veno.
Yeah, but that might also start to pull away some of that focus pressure that Ron and Veno have been dealing with for these past couple of lobbies, because we saw it even in that last game. Peterbot, Muzz, both trying to challenge Ron and Veno, play that big disruption factor, not allow them the opportunity. They were going for
How long
the
have they
full
been
duo
live for?
elimination. They just couldn't actually find it. Both of them getting pushed
Wondering.
out of the POI, but at the same
4
time,
hours.
it's still enough of a restriction for Ron
I've been
and
live
Veno
for 3
because
hours.
they're not able to follow their initial loot path. They're not able to go for those we've seen them play aggressive on the outskirts of the map and try to punish players that are in the
Yeah.
reboots. Instead, they were having to play defense.
Yep, it's kind of seen before that page. Kind of Swift, I think it was like 9th place or so. Jinxie and Poyo. Hey, sometimes the first elimination is the hardest. He got his second one. They made it so far into that end game as well. Jinxie on high. I was a little afraid. Jinxie, you made it work. Glad to see that. But second page here, you see Bolts kind of having a little bit of a slower pace for the second half of the tournament. But this is where it's really actually kind of stacked up in terms of where the points are at.
And this is also where you start to see a little bit more of the disparity in terms of the prize pool distribution, because even if you're on this second page, realistically, first place is probably out of the question at this stage, but you can still try and work your way into the top 10. And not only that, but there's always the individual lobby prizing. $1,000 for first, $500 for second, $200 for that third place finish. So little tidbits kind of being sprinkled along every single one of these remaining lobbies.
Yeah, so a lot to kind of break down. That's what Taco was talking about. $1,000 first place. You kind of looked at that leaderboard, you know, with Victor being Crackley, made a quick 1,000. You know, Veno and Ron got 2 of those. Muzz and Somerset, they got 1 of them. So already you're seeing players lock in some of that money before the tournament is even over. And honestly, I just want to see how it continues to shake out. 2 games left, stacked leaderboard, $10,000 for first place. There's a $3,000 drop off, and then another $2,500, then $1,500. You can look at it however you want, but I'm pretty sure some of these competitors, you know, instead of being happy for second place, 7th, they're like, man, I just lost $3K.
Exactly, and not only that, but you can also see the little bits of jumps that really start to take place between top 5 or even 6th through 9th, and obviously being in that first page of finding yourself at 10th place, it's nice, but you're still tied with 11th places prizing, technically speaking, so you want to find every single secret component that you could possibly try to factor in to really pull out the stops here.
Yeah, especially you kind of look at like 2nd and 3rd place, Clix, Lacy, kind of tied with Veno and Ron. Even if it stands with the same amount of points, it's going to have to go to a tiebreaker. Nonetheless, to try to figure out where these players actually stand on the leaderboard. So just kind of like you're alluding to, there's something to fight for, not only in every single one of those games with the game prizing, but there's still plenty of opportunity to jump up that leaderboard. If not for first, you know, the difference between what, 20th place, $600 there into 14th place, so I think anything could still happen.
And not only that, but tiebreaker, I don't think that Ron and Veno is a team that you want to try and deal with for that, because 2 Victory Royales, that's always going to net you a huge advantage here. Granted, Clix, Lacy, finding your first, you know, halfway there, but there's still 2 lobbies remaining. There's still a chance that Veno and Ron are able to just not have to play so defensive early on. Love the screenshot pose on the streams there for Sphinx and Artie Moon. We haven't gotten a chance to see a whole lot interview-wise from this duo, other than, you know, some segments from Levin, but I think that they put 2 personalities in the right spot with each other.
I agree with that 100%. Speaks to somebody that personally, I love to have a conversation with the guy, whether you're talking about Fortnite, little mechanics in the game, the overall meta. He's very, very well spoken, and it just seems like he's enjoying his time every single time. 10 seconds before they drop in, they're having fun in front of the camera. But here it is, game number 6, Taco. We have 2 games left before we crown our NA FNCS Pro-Am champion for 2026.
Big scenes currently for everybody here. UTD campus definitely lighting up as well with some of the fans. I like seeing some of that outsider footage, but Reet, frantic. Oh, the trouble here, it's all about whether or not they can shut down Veno very early on, but Veno, even with them being on the ropes, even with them having to scramble backwards, Reet still unable to just solidify the knock.
Yep, Veno and Ron this time around changing up their drop spot. They have teams contesting up towards the north side of the map in that last game. And like, hey, if we're going to get contested, let's try to get something out of it. But they're not necessarily in the best spot. Both of them still left alive, but 72 effective shield and HP for Veno, and even less for Ron on the other side. These guys look for a little bit more loot, but you can see that Ron's not even here, so they can't even attempt to help each other if things get bad.
And the fact of the matter is that Peterbot was still able to gauge exactly where they were headed. Or maybe he just decided, I just want to try and shut down everybody else's dreams. I do have a feeling that he was probably following Ron and Veno through this one, but Pete, you know he loves a good scrap. Don't want to bite off more than he can chew, though, as Acorn continuing to fight back, and the collapsed Peterbot is going to be sent packing.
I thought it was Muda for a second, but it was Rapid out of nowhere, sidelining that fight. Muzz and Somerset, it's going to say staying away from all the action, but Bolt's probably seeing the llama there, knows what he was going after, used that shockwave, tried to disengage. There's a lot of damage onto Bolts, even a Mammoth connecting out of Somerset and instantly trying to move on over and close the gap, but Bolt's using shockwaves and a lot of the tools in his tool belt instantly finds a way on out, and there's tunnels underneath there, Taco, so they're not going to be able to catch up to him.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Somerset. It was a great shot. It was some good damage application, but unfortunately, Overdrive Grenade is going to beat Grappler every single time for mobility. So, clix just picking up the scraps, some leftover pieces. Looks like he was able to get a little fraggy with it. One duo has been fully eliminated. Who's going to be next up? That is also another consistent component that we've seen throughout all 6 lobbies here today, Jacob. Someone is always eliminated before we enter the second zone.
Yeah, a huge difference from what we typically see in a Reload Elite Series qualifiers, where honestly placement points didn't set in until 10th zone. 11th zone is sometimes the final 12th zone, so a little bit difference here, but that just goes to show how quick a lot of the action is playing out here. Saw Queasy go down to clix, Ash out, just trying to stay alive, buy some time. Ash out himself, even going through a rebite. You see the AR in hand, but this is where it just gets interesting.
Not gonna lie, bro.
Typically, you want to see kind of Queasy being the one with the full loadout, staying alive. He gets spotted out. This is
The I
worst
Show Speed
scenario.
Kuwait Cup is
Ash
happening
is
right now.
down. Queasy's getting
I feel like I'd rather watch that
sent back to the lobby.
than watch the
It's
pro
just,
win.
I feel so bad for
Not gonna lie.
Ashel because he spent so much time hiding and avoiding Clix's POV just to step out and it caught in 4K. Kanata is never going to let that opportunity slip by. Arky now getting punished for it, though. That little bit of separation means that Kanata is going to be left to try and fend for himself, but it's a spot that he's accepted and embraced in this competition.
Yeah, and you're kind of seeing the two different strides of a lot of the teams that are getting aggressive, though. Reet and Fran working in unison to try to find their eliminations. We saw Peterbot, the likes of Bolts, trying to separate and use their solo prowess to try to get these eliminations. Agers going down. Muda getting found out by Rapid again. We know how close they were moments ago. Even Peterbot getting an elimination here.
Frantic and Reet, though, fully aware of the fact that, hey, if Arky keeps rebooting here, Kanata's got to be close by somewhere, and he can't really risk trying to challenge both of them. I think Reet and Frantic have done an excellent job whenever one gets into a spot of trouble or starts to key, the other is very quick to follow. That's just a little bit of that, I think, chemistry, synergy that they've got pre-established here. Is Curve also looking to get active. Poor Yugi, just not really much left to do.
Yeah, they're just going after it. You know, you get eliminated once. When you reboot, it's a giant rift in the sky. It's so hard to miss in terms of visuals, but even harder to miss in terms of the actual sound. So it's very, very easy to spot out anybody rebooted through. But Veno going for a little bit of a lurk play. It is going to be onto Poyo and Jinxie, so just going for points here, not necessarily a heavy hitter on the leaderboard.
This could be a really big compromise, though, if it goes south for even a split second here. It's still Poyo. And Jinxie, I think he's got a lot of fighting spirit in him. But Veno and Ron, they've been spotted out. Veno immediately going to start to tart things out a little bit here. Separate angles of attack, but Veno still looking to get the advantage. Jinxie from overhead. Very little time to react there. Takes a lot of damage.
Yeah, Veno playing with the pre-edits here, taking a lot of the space. Jinxie gets found out, simply trying to heal. They're into the stone. The early damage from Veno really shifting this fight, really putting him on the back foot. Now Poyo's feeling that same pressure. It's Ron trying to put it down. Veno's just trying to get some of the loot. Probably calling him off here for a moment, but Poyo knows this is one and only opportunity here to really start to get aggressive and take a 1v1 while he can.
At the end of the day, though, Poyo, still have to remember, able to net at least that $500 for himself and Jinxie. His Ritual, great shutdown onto Hammy. Just a little bit of Siphon materials, and whatever else he can build while he waits for Nina to come back into the action. But Ron and Veno, they definitely wanted so much more from that little aggressive instance up against the likes of Poyo and Jinxie, and they might be able to find it, but they might also be drawing the attention that they don't want. Saw Faxity in the distance, lurking. That means Pete might be nearby too.
Yeah, I believe they just got the elimination on the Pete, who was the one lurking around, but now going up against Poyo on the other side. That's a big shot that's going to hit. I'm not sure if they can clean that one up, but Hammy splats down. That's one of the most unfortunate things that can you splat. You survive with 1 HP, and then you start rolling down the mountain, and Ritual's like, yo, what is that?
To be fair, it helped Jinxie in the last lobby. We saw the splat. We didn't get a chance to highlight it because there was a lot more happening in that circumstance, but it actually kept them alive just a little bit longer because no one's looking at the guy that's
rolling down
alive.
the hill. Oh, Poyo's still alive, though. Shockwave's on out. Really leaving the decision up to Veto and Ron. Do they want to continue to go on a chase here? One well-placed man the shot could end that run either way. They're going to let him escape, which means Jinxie is going to have a chance to get back in this game. Ager's cleaning up Nina, but not without sacrifice. His teammate was the one who got taken down by Ritual, so it only is going to be a 1-for-1 trade on each side.
Kind of ridiculous, though, to think that Agers is operating with 8 eliminations already. This is a very proactive lobby right now in terms of finding aggressive eliminations. Peterbot with the elimination onto Ron. And
That's
Venom,
not good.
This might be the worst position that him and Ron have been all series long. And if Venom goes down right now, that might just be the end of it here in Game 5. Venom doing everything he can to try.
Oh, if Vino and Juan die, they would die. Oh, Peterbot's almost dead.
His own destiny here. Pete is just so incredibly low.
Yeah, you don't get much HP out of that.
Juan's gotten rebooted now. Oh, he just killed Peterbot.
Not only surviving,
Vino just killed Peterbot. That's crazy.
Back into the game, but cleaning up that elimination onto Peterbot, and that gives Ron a chance. If he goes directly to where Veno's out, he gets a full loadout from nothing to something, literally in a blink of an eye. It's Agers trying to survive. You can see no shield. Hamley's trying to be a little bit of a distraction, but Nina not letting up off the gas.
Agers, though, needs a chance to try and heal, try and rebuild some of his shield. Instead, he'll just go for the outright fight. Elimination onto Nina now means number 9 here for Agers, and Hammy just trying to make sure that he can provide whatever backup support Agers needs. He sees what his duo is doing. He's not trying to interrupt.
Hey, it's just seeing chase action all around the map. Fifth zone about to fully open here. Going to start to close soon. So 2 more zones before reboots officially turn off. And that's what a lot of these teams are using, that advantage. Even getting the knock on the typical gamer, literally on the edge of the zone. I saw it at the last second on the mini-map. One more hop would have got typical gamer all the way there. But Cooper going to get credit for that one, and now it's going to get a huge signal when he reboots back into the sky about where he wants to go next.
Was definitely brave, though, from Cooper and Zemi, because they're playing as solos. They are both separated, looking for separate engagements, trying to rack up whatever eliminations they can find. But while we're not in danger of the reboots being disabled just yet, if you go down, even with that little bit of assistance to the reloads, reformat change, it's still a bit of a compromised position because you still have to refarm a lot of your material.
It's never easy at all.
Reboot's ending in 1 minute.
Actually dropping yet again. Hopefully he was able to give some of that loot on over to Peterbot before that became a possibility. But either way, you can see the aggression turning the table for some. Putting the brakes on others as Muzz accidentally jumping what seemingly almost his demise there for a moment. I believe that's Agers and Hammy on the other side. Down below is going to be Somerset. Could be an opportunity to put pressure, catch him off guard, even deny a healing opportunity onto Agers. And this is where she starts knocking on the door. Hammy just a little bit too slow. He gets cracked, but he lands a big shot himself to try to slow down the aggression from Somerset and Muzz.
That was definitely enough, though, because Somerset and Muzz, they're going to have to fall back. It's just not really worth compromising their current position on the leaderboard. If they can find the elimination, awesome, but if not, might just need to let that one fizzle out on its own way. It's Frantic, Reet, starting to see a little bit of an overhead. Small clip face just to elevate ever so slightly, but the pacing, it's just non-stop back and forth currently for some of these duos, and I think Frantic and Reet, well, they've got 5 eliminations. They're clearly seeking out more, but they also need way better loadouts.
Yeah, this is where them included along with everybody else, has to start to take a different approach in terms of how they're approaching some of these fights. Reboots are disabled, so no chance to get back into this game. If you did reboot in this last zone, though, before they turned off, you have a little bit of a loadout being granted. Especially, I think the most important thing is the minis and the chug jugs that you are going to be able to grant. It's Fran Reed trying to rotate through, almost gets taken the shield off from Victor V and Crackly.
But
Another
reboots are disabled
zone
now.
here, Taco, where Victor V and Crackly, it's at their POI essentially.
Still not easy. Even if you're familiar with the territory, nothing is ever guaranteed. As Pete and Faxity, they have really just been going through a lot of different obstacles, so many hurdles still standing between them, and a decent placement positioning in this lobby. On the other hand, though, Rise, take a note of what's in his inventory. This brother is stacked.
I don't know which Epic Dev gave him that chest, but he has the Sentinel, which adds an extra effect. He has the Slapberry Fizz, which heals HP and shields. Guapo getting caught on that rotation, out of builds. And this is where you can see Rise just trying to toy with the decision. How do I approach this? Getting the revive, that's going to be step number one. But how much resources you give on over? It's actually getting elimination on the Ritual. Poyo, Jinxie trying to climb up the side of the mountain. But if you look, the first team to try to make some sense of high ground is going to be Muzz and Somerset.
But again, maintaining height has definitely been a little bit of a difficult task as the matches draw on later and later. Teams now recognizing just what kind of effects, what kind of presence you can have in a lobby, but Veno and Ron fairly isolated from where the rest of the lobby is at. They're gonna have to close some distance here, but nowhere near as much as everybody else on this next pool.
Yeah, but somehow use that to find a knock on Raw Dog Moon, probably rotating with the crash pad or Shockwave getting caught out of the sky, and that's where you see players kind of not necessarily trying to one-hop it to the front side of the zone. Sometimes you got to stop, reassess the situation, continue to move from there. Reet and Fran just looking at all angles. Clix building some extra space. This is where he's gathering all that information. Sees an opening there to try to take it and elevate his position right in front. He sees that layer is cleared. Immediately going to try to claim it as his own. But he has to be careful. Curve is going to be right above, along with a few players on each side.
You're saying Clix has got to be careful, but if I'm Curve, I might be the one shaking a little bit here. 6 eliminations already for Mr. CEO, and he's trying to see just how much further he can take it. Another elimination or two and a solid placement, that could be the difference between first or second entirely, but they are still going to have to contend with Victor V and Crackly, who are still kicking in this lobby. Not only that, but Veno, Ron, still doing their own thing too. Reet and Frantic, though, starting to really mix things up. They want the high ground.
Yeah, and I think Veno as well, along with Ron. They keep looking up, trying to assess the situation. For now, they're just going to settle with the front.
You know what I
side
like
zone,
about
give a lot more time to formulate some
FNCS
sort of strategy
and
if they do want to
all
take
these
it.
like
Clix and Lacy know for it as well.
Crow and all
The
that,
struggles come
that
in
the
as
circle,
Veno
it's like a moving circle because it's getting so small,
Talk about Clix with 6 eliminations.
but
He is taking charge
there
with
was
6 eliminations
it's
of his own
already
as well.
like not even, there's always so much people in. Like I'd watch tournaments in real games or not reload, and it'd be like a closing circle with 40 people still in the game. Like that's crazy. Usually with a circle like this, what if there'll be like 2 people left? Not with these clothes, man.
He's going to need to come up big time with a good connection shot.
Yeah, he needs that HP, and he's toying with the decision because it only gives you 5 with 30 shields. Do I use it now? It is going to be the bare minimum. Even if I get through all 7 slices, I'm still going to be missing a chunk of everything. But now that he gets cracked, shields are there. Instantly pops half of that pizza. Rise going down. Veno needs this clutch here. It's only top 8. Not even half of the placement points have been given out in the game
Oh,
so
who they?
far.
But it's going to be cut short here.
They're shooting Muzz and whoever that guy is. I can't see him.
And now Reet, Frantic. This might be their best opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
Fall at the same time, but Lacy, Clix, they're still
Fourth place is gone.
This is where they could really choose.
Fourth place just got killed. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
not only looking to break the tie with Veno and Rob, but try to take first place. No builds left.
Come on, bro. Break the tie. Lacy's down. They need to break that tie, man.
Clix, one of 2 solos running around this lobby, and with no builds, this is where it's
Lacy's
quickly
dead
becoming
for
a
sure
nightmare,
now, huh?
especially with Reet and Frantic looking down from above, not wanting to give him any inches to play with, but he finds a Mario
Oh,
on
Clix.
the semi. That's a big
Clix killed from. Oh, and then Clix gets killed, bro.
in time. I'm not sure the points even counted.
don't think that he would have been able to net them in the last second here. Just wiped out before he gets the chance to really cement
Now it's a
that lack of
2v2.
elimination there.
Frantic and
Still
Wheat
solid,
versus
though. They still managed to beat out
Zemi and
everyone
Kupo.
else that was contending for the top 3. So Frantic, Reet, now's your time
Zemi
to
and Kupo is
shine.
another
Might
team
still
that is the
have
same
enough
from
left in the
last year, I
tank
think.
to overthrow. Their material count is incredibly thin, but Cooper sending it to high ground. Frantic incredibly low. Reet sliding down the mountain face here. This is getting dicey.
Almost canceled.
Nah, Reach and Storm too.
Gets the drop on the one.
Kupo and Zemi got this win.
Reed only has one. If this
Frantic
goes
and
to a
Wheat has
heal-off,
gotten
this
second place
is
a whole lot.
Cooper's win, depending on how much sickness there
Nah,
actually
you're done.
is. As
You're
Reed
done.
gets the medkit canceled, beam the HP gone,
There
the
we go.
shield as well. Cooper and Zemi with 12 eliminations steal away that game.
You have to remember that Cooper and Zemi were some very clear-cut favorites coming into today's competition, and the way that they've managed to make their presence known here in Game 6, one more lobby just like this one, and we are looking at a very different leaderboard.
Honestly, I don't even know who is in first. We saw Victor V Crackley go down. Veno trying to make a comeback, had eliminations, but went down to Clix and Lacy, who eventually went down shortly after. But Levin, I need to hear what these guys are talking about.
Reet and Friend who are sitting right there. Yeah. And so, you know, this one's quite close to home. How are you feeling after that game?
I'm feeling good. That 1v2 at the end was crazy clutch. You know, the shockwave up, shockwaveing him off. It was just light work after that, you know what I mean?
What's it like,
Oh my gosh, bro. Clix
in this situation?
almost killed this duo too.
I'm sure you've seen him, you know, win games
Clix
as well.
almost killed. I think Clix killed Kupo, right?
He can get the job done.
And then
Exactly. I mean, for me,
Zemi
it's just,
revived
there's no
him.
stress. It's just entertaining mode. I'm watching him. I know what he's capable of, and he just does things that I could only wish I could do, man.
We're getting to the back end of the tournament, right? Just one game remaining. You needed that win to really sort of give yourselves that boost towards the end of things. What are you looking at now for this last game? What needs to go right for you here?
I mean, honestly, just do the same thing. All the bad games we've had has been just completely out of our control, and you know we're doing everything right. You know, so I have no stress. We're gonna do that again, and hopefully win it.
Of course, like I mentioned, you guys have played with each other. You played with each other in the FNCS Pro-Am last year. Do you guys feel like you've improved as a duo, right? You obviously don't play with each other every week, right? But you feel like it's better this time around than
I
last
don't know why,
time?
bro.
I mean,
The Pro-Am is just a normal tournament, but like,
the perfect player for me. He just
it
follows
would have
me,
been better if it was
understands
like
good
at
vibes,
least a
just
little bit
listens. Everything's
good
good.
than last year.
Overall, we have improved.
Like
I
if
think this meta's
Fortnite
better
actually
because
hosted
we're
it and it
together,
wasn't
we're getting every game,
freaking
and he loves that gun.
Fozzy
So overall, I think
antics,
we're working better
bro.
together. Everything's flowing properly, and
And if they
it's better
actually
than last year. I think
win
we can still win.
arena,
So yeah, I believe in it.
A big game, and it's going to impact the standings quite a bit. Jacob, Taco,
like
break
they
that one
just
down for us.
put random desks in computers, bro. Like Kupo and Zemi are back to back,
These
and then
guys were not joking in
some
the
people are
slightest.
like
Cooper and
shoulder
Zemi
elbow. It's
have
crazy.
really hit the nail on the head because one more big game,
I want to
just
see
like
the
this one, another
leaderboard.
12 eliminations and
I
a
think
victory
Clix and
royale,
Lazy might
and
be in
they are
fourth now.
staring down the face of potentially being the ones in that first place position, challenging everyone else. It's been all eyes on Lacy Clix,
I think though, man,
Victor
because
V, Veno and Ron,
they
and
definitely
yet,
broke
just when you least
that thing,
expect
and
it,
then the fourth place
Coop
people,
and
they
Zemi
died early
have
on,
just found a
but
whole new fire lit
they
underneath them,
survived
and they
against
are
Ron
really doing everything in their power to try
and
and just
Vino, and they
ensure
were like the
that they
last
put
ones
themselves in the
from
best
those
position
three.
possible to win it all.
So I think
just
they might
don't
be in
think that
fourth.
you can count anybody out at this stage. It is
They might
so
win this,
fair to
man.
say that we are looking at a lot of teams
Might actually
on
win this.
level standings here currently, because we've seen all the victory rounds that have been gathered, and if anything, it's always just such a huge boost in how you're feeling overall when you know I've already netted $1,000 just off of this victory royale. So Cooper, Zemi, ready to see what you got in the last lobby.
Hey, sometimes that $1,000 in itself. I know if I won a game that got dead last after the tournament, at least I cashed in on something.
So if you win a game, you win
I feel like,
$1,000. That's
even
crazy.
talking to Booga, you know, it's just one of those situations where you don't want to leave your teammate out to dry, but you also don't want to play the game out as a solo. So I feel like a lot of these players are playing with that same mind games.
It is interesting, though, because you do have that mentality from, I think, the majority of our pros, but then you've also got the other side of the coin where Bolts, for example, and then Primate Page have established it from the get-go. Bolts is like, look, You're gonna be left out there. Like, good luck to you. I'll send you back in with a little bit of materials. Here's the loadout. Here's where you can try to go
Can I see
next,
the
but
leaderboard already?
if we aren't next to each other, it's fine. I still got you. And he's delivering, and he's not the only one. I think that Kanata, yeah, this was such a standout moment from Cooper. He really could not have played this better. It's just so unfortunate for Frantic and Reet that they ran out of all their builds.
Yeah, it's just one of those moments there, but like just seeing it from a different point of view. You literally said it. You could not have played that any more perfect than Cooper just did, kind of solidifying 10 eliminations by himself, 12-4.
They are in the lead.
And we have a new
By
first
20.
place team going into the last
Lacy and
game
Clix. I'm
of the
rooting for
day.
Lacy and Clix. I said this in the start. I said this in the start. I think Lacy and Clix is gonna win, and they'll win it.
0% chance that we are not going to see teams inside of this top 5 just deciding to land all over the place. It is going
Hey
to be a
man,
musical POI. So no one is
last
going
year
to be at their established drop.
there was
At
someone
least
in fourth place, and then it just like bumped up. Like the last game matters so much.
their name into the hat and cause some problems here. I know Peterbot has definitely been an agent of chaos for the lobby so far, but you never know. 197 points.
Whoa.
Fourth place currently.
Lacy and Clix can win their fourth FNCS.
How many times have we seen Pete really dig deep in his bag and
Like
pull out
Clix
a
can
20
actually
elimination
win his
win?
fourth FNCS, bro.
I'm not gonna throw it out the window. Just
That's
yet
like
for those
actually
facts.
years in the making, right? Because Clix is one of the best players in the world, but he never won an
He
FNCS.
said something. He said a lot of stuff, actually. But he said something, right? Lacy
We're not gonna
said,
repeat
my
some of the stuff he
only
says."
goal is to make sure Peterbot doesn't win. Clix was like, yo, we ain't got nothing to worry about because we're not in first place. Game 7. Lacy, hopefully your words don't turn to be delicious and you have to eat them at the end of the day, because Peterbot now has the chance to ruin Lacy's tournament and Clix's tournament, and basically in the same throw as well.
You just know that Pete's facial expression would just be, he'd be beaming. He'd be cheesing so hard to know that he would be the one to potentially stop Clix and Lacy in their tracks from having this celebratory instance of winning the Fortnite Pro and Creator Series. But I do want to give Lacy his flowers in comparison to last year, where he went a little bit too ham on the VOD reviewing overnight leading into the competition. He's done a great job of staying dialed in for today.
Yep. Just got to see him kind of, we might see him in the FNCS Major 2 Finals if he can make it through the gauntlet that is NA West. But continue looking down this leaderboard, man. There's some surprises I didn't expect to really see them on a page 2. A team like Ritual and Nina. I know they were kind of like a last-second addition coming in, but, you look at Ritual, one of the better IGLs, and he can fight at the same time. Nina, a Milk Cup champion, so she has competed in LAN before, so the nerves might not necessarily there. So I want to see them, even though the chances of winning aren't necessarily there, maybe make a push for that top 10, start to get a little bit more prize money.
They were just throwing a little bit more of a spade, because since this duo came together so last minute, unfortunately they didn't get an opportunity to really establish themselves in advance for drop map position, and it has definitely worked against them. But at the same time, they still made the best of the situation, just because of the fact that, hey, knowing that we're going to be contested no matter where we go, let's just have some fun with it, and they've definitely done that much.
Yep, now that everybody at home, maybe the people watching here in the venue, let me know. Start to tweet at me. Tweet at Fortnite. Tweet at the player. Who do you guys think is going to win the overall tournament here, especially with the leaderboard this close? I kind of want to see, like, maybe just everybody just land in the center map. All 40 teams, chiseled cube, just end the game there.
But could you imagine how much fun socials would be if Clix and Lacy actually get the job done, bring it home, overcome everyone that was doubting? And you have to remember, like, Clix, he's used to being doubted. He's been doubted his entire career, and he still just takes it in stride and is just doing the best that he can in today's competition to find that overall victory with Lacy.
Yeah, honestly, just looking through, already my predictions were kind of thrown into a mix. I know I started off thinking Peterbot and Faxy were going to win the entire thing, but as I started to hear, Peterbot himself talk, I'm like, I'm not going to take it as serious. And then coming into this one, Faxy's like, yeah, maybe he's not. So he kind of threw that out the window. And then I was looking at teams like Reet and Fran, who are making a second half surgence to the top of the leaderboard. I put Victor V and Crackley in my top 5. I even had Muzz inside Somerset there. But most of my predictions got thrown out the window early on in the first half.
No real surprises there. I do think that Victor V and Crackley was probably one of the main ones that I'm surprised it took them as long as it did
Right?
to actually start breaking through into that like top 3 position. I think a lot of people would have had them in that kind of like top 5 area, but it's been crazy to just realize the fact that with this reloads environment, and I think with a lot of the content creators involved too, it's been so awesome seeing these content creators kind of step this far outside of their comfort zone, because Jinxie did a great job of highlighting it. Fortnite is without a doubt one of the most mechanically demanding games, and to be thrown into this level of competition, I think that I can definitely appreciate the way that all of our content creators have just done such a fantastic job at not only having their fun with it, finding their clip farm where they can, but I think they've all made a great effort here today to try and showcase what they're capable of.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're all kind of like taking it in stride. Even, we were talking about Primate Page and the Bolts situation where Bolts is kind of stuck. Do I play with my teammate? Do I not? And basically saying, hey, do you want money or do you want to stay alive in some of these end games, right? And I think Bolts is making the right decision for them as a team. But on that other side, though, Primate Page, she kind of understood her role in a lot of this situation. And honestly, her being left out the way she is, she's actually staying alive in certain situations long enough to potentially, we obviously haven't seen every instance, but give Bolts just a little bit more loot. I talk about you could spawn back with minis, potentially some chug jugs as well. And so that's extra heals you give a player like Bolts, where you give them an inch, they stretch it to a mile.
Easily, and I think that that's always going to be a threatening component too, because you never know when somebody like Bolts is actually just going to be the one to play spoiler to some of those duos that are leading inside of the top 3, top 5 position right now, and all they need is the slightest opportunity, and that could be where the gap really starts to take place. We already know that all of these teams are going to be feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit in that pressure environment, just trying to bring the whole thing home, but it's tough.
And especially since, like, watching this at home, right? It's almost a whole different, like, feel than actually playing in a tournament like this. Because I know myself, when I'm watching, when I'm casting games like this, I'm like, I can compete in this. Like, I know Cole didn't show up, but give me Cole as a teammate. I feel like we can get the job done. But then actually playing in an environment like this, accidentally going down early, tagged out of the sky, getting put in the blender. So it's like you almost start to, like, really doubt, like, man, why am I here? Why am I playing in this? And you start to think, like, Cole, just go by yourself. And that's why maybe you're trying to see a lot of the confidence, though. Kanata in the first half of the day was doing exactly that. He knew when to cut his losses for Arky, even though we have seen instances of him trying to keep Arky in the game. There comes a point in time where you are better off as a solo because you don't have to worry about expending materials to try to keep them alive, tossing over the minis and the big pots and the medkits that you can use to stay alive just that much longer, squeak out a couple extra placement points.
Never know, but one thing's for sure. A little bit of trouble afoot right now for Clix. Might have just been getting tagged along the way of that bus path. A little bit revealing here, but he's being hunted right now by Cooper.
Cooper winning that last game, clutching it up. Already starting to get a little bit aggressive early. Veno and Rondo see that they kind of split up just a little bit at their exact drop. Going back to what is familiar, which got him that first place spot at one point or another. They obviously lost it, but now they're just going back to what was working at the start of the tournament.
One of my favorite duos, even though they haven't necessarily had the camera time on main broadcast for reasons, but Spinks and Artie Moon, unfortunately eliminated, I believe, Pooley. I do believe that they are our missing duo currently. They took a little bit of a risk, and they were a little bit compromised, but I have loved seeing those two today, and I can't wait to talk with them more and Artie Moon's experiences here in today's competition with Spinks.
Yeah, honestly, the way they've been kind of like playing together, talking and having fun both in and outside of the game, you would feel like they know each other already.
Right?
The first timers here, as Veno just trying to stop the aggression from working out against him. That's Peterbot, but Peterbot, if he wants to win the entire thing, which is definitely going to take a ton of eliminations, he's not only going to need to take down first place Clix and Lacy, he needs to take down second place, third place, and probably fourth place as well.
But when there's 3 separate duos to contend with and a 4th being added to the mix, this is where the trouble really starts to build up here. It's Booga getting the better end of the exchange right now. Lacy never had a chance to see it coming, but Clix now just looking to buy a little bit of time here.
Game 7.
Surprising to see Booga, though, just hunting down Lacy.
Just has to be careful, though. Just because the zone hasn't overtaken Clix's position just yet, so lacy will respawn directly above him, which is a giveaway for lacy himself. But as Booga he's going on a rampage right now, just taking down Cooper next.
Booga?
Kanata didn't show his face because he would have been next on that list.
We are witnessing the Booga revenge tour right now. Don't know if Kanata was able to apply
What place
a
is
little
Booga
bit
in
of
though?
pressure there too, but 2 eliminations already
Booga
for
and Yugi.
He's not content with where him and Yugi currently sit, but they're not in last. And I know for a fact that both of them were very much trying to avoid that type of leaderboard position, but with the way that Booga's playing right now,
I don't think Yugi plays
they might be
Fortnite
able to
much,
change
so I know.
things entirely, maybe even break into the first page.
And
At
Booga
the
has
very
he's a
minimum,
former
start to
World
find
Cup
boxes,
champion.
A little bit more of that prize money. Again, you get
I shouldn't say former, he is the World Cup
$50
champion. There wasn't a
Now
second
you're
one.
gonna have to look at the leaderboard, second place, 500, and then 200 after that. So just placing top 3 in these games earns you a little bit for your efforts.
I thought Booga was retiring.
Close by to where Kanata's at. You see
I remember
respawning in. Not sure where
a few
Fran
years
is
ago,
at,
he's
over at
like,
the top of the
after
map,
this
but
FNCS,
respawning
I'm
in as well.
retiring.
And this has given Veto a bird's eye view, basically options about how he wants to approach this situation.
Venom might have had his wings clipped there. Seemed like he was very intent on getting involved with where Booga and Kanata were at, but those little warning shots, just enough of his HP chipped away for him to recognize, I don't want to get caught out here.
What is
Cooper
that?
and Zemi, though, this is a very precarious position, one that we're not used to seeing Coop in, but
Is that supposed to be like one of those dumpsters or portal parties that help you to somewhere? But that's like an actual portal. That's crazy.
all the way through.
Yeah, he was basically waiting for him because you can't build and protect yourself. You're just kind of hopping out of that teleporter, and he's just waiting for on the other side. And I think they got the memo not to chase, not to leave yourself vulnerable here. As Guapo moves in, a little bit too close to comfort for Victor V, and Crackley has been on a terror here in the second half of the day. Already 3 eliminations, and it makes me wonder if they have some sorts of like signal that they know somebody's here. Maybe not exactly where A2 Guapo's at, but they know somebody's lurking around.
Just don't want to fall
First
back
place is
into
gonna
old
probably,
habits.
or second place is probably gonna try to target
Nice
fourth place.
elimination claim there onto Kanata.
In reload though, I feel like it doesn't really matter much
This is
until reboots are disabled. Like it's just a hill call, hill fall, honestly.
Can get eliminations, but in the final lobby of the day, you don't want to find yourself tunnel visioning. If you lose sight of placement points, that's where a lot of the leaderboard disparity is going to be shaping up. So they cannot afford any early spillage. I love that they're still being aggressive. I love that they're still betting on themselves and what they're capable of, but just got to be careful.
Yeah, especially since there's not necessarily a massive need to get
Yeah, we need
a
Clix
high
and Lacy
number
to
of
win.
eliminations here. Just need to outplace
Clix and Lacy
maybe
on
sprinkle
fourth
some
place.
on top with the way Clix and Lacy have been playing as well. We talk about the second half resurgence for them. It's almost been the entirety of the day they've been consistent. Muzz and Somerset trying to get right back on track. They started the day off. They even, I think at one point or another, if I remember correctly, shared a portion of first place on that leaderboard. Just since then, just a little bit of a slip up that they hope to catch back on track here in Game 7.
Lacy's at least got make hits to work with right now. It's Victor V, Crackley, fully aware of what's right in front of them. Crackley trying to see if he can take out Peterbot, but he, in the way that he's moving, all he really needs to do is just delay. The longer that Victor V and Crackley are kind of stuck out at Chiseled Cube, granted, they probably don't mind it too heavily, but if he can continue chipping away at their HP, even finding the elimination, that would just be such a huge pause in their momentum.
Yeah, I was wondering right now, Crackley has sat on just like a sliver of HP for so long. He finally heals that up, instantly loses the shield to Peterbot. Peterbot knows exactly who he's fighting, saw the name in the feed. Crackley needs to stay alive a little bit longer. He has the HP to do it, but can he survive this pressure? Yes, he does. He gets Victor V back into the game, but now he has to survive the onslaught from Peterbot, stopping him from getting the elimination. And Crackley looking like the pro of the team right there, taking down Peterbot.
I mean, you want to
Peterbot, I think is just washed.
just did everything possible in
After
that
the pro
instance,
him last year, he's just been terrible.
got to keep it moving because they
Got
are being attacked
canceled.
by yet another team, or
Didn't
at least
even
another
get top
player
10 in
as
FNCS global.
start or finish what Peterbot had
I don't even know if
started
he's
there
top
against
10 now.
Victor V, just taking advantage of the reboot farm. for Veno,
He has
Ron,
not been having a good year
a little bit of a
after
standstill inside of zone.
the FNCS pulling last year.
Not sure they need to shake things up all that crazily.
Not just yet, at least. Just need to keep it within reach, depending on where they kind of land when reboots turn off. They can try to assess the situation, but Peterbot trying to go right back down over towards Chisel Cube. It is going to be in the zone, but needs a ton of time for it to open up, so a lot of these guys just need to survive up until then. As Veno continues to go on the offensive, he does have the mythic hand cannon. He's trying to put it to use. Already connected with a few shots so far. Cut Reed off down low and lands another shot. His 5th elimination of the game. We're seeing it both out of Victor V and Veno. If they want first place, they have to take it by force.
And they might just be able to do so because Veno and Ron with 5 eliminations already, Jacob, and a fairly well-established position to kind of cut teams off that are going to be a little bit later to the party. The Stragglers trying to make their way in from the storm into that edge of zone. They are in that compromised position for everybody else because no one can get past them. They are the wall that sits between the next zone and these teams that are going through the constant reboot cycle.
I like this. Yeah, honestly, I like this load. I'm okay with a sniper SMG type loadout for Jinxie, but what I'm not okay is whatever's going on here. As soon as Jinxie probably will feel a little bit comfortable, in comes Pete, trying to outrun Rapid, who has typical gamer by his side. They find Pete, so no more running for
down.
you. They get the elimination, but they want just a little bit more. Veno now moving in along with Ron, trying to put the pressure down on the typical gamer. Third partying this to catch him off guard. Even finding a whole nother team in the bush. 4 teams here as of now. It looks like a 5th one, maybe a solo floating right overhead.
That's a little bit too much of the danger zone. Veno realizing it's just not worth risking it all for an extra elimination or 2. In fact, he might be able to find it regardless on Hammy, who's just nowhere left to run, no escape whatsoever. We'll see you on the next reboot because Veno, man on a mission right now. Ron right behind him. They are doing a great job at just staying toe-to-toe with each other.
Got Blue on this side of the map, Reeton frantic, just far outside of the zone. But as it does reveal itself in this next one, 6 zone, one before it reboots turn off. It's a little bit of a pull towards the south. Not max pull for either of these teams on the map so far, but definitely not going to be easy, especially if you try to shockwave past a team like Veno and Ron, who haven't really been missing much with that hand cannon.
Jinxie, tough spot to be in. A lot of trust on Poyo right now to close things out, but just being aggressed from 2 different angles. Muzz and Somerset are just such a dynamic duo when they take these kinds of approaches. It's just so difficult to actually figure out which way the pressure's even coming from as Muda and Acorn just dogpile in on where Jinxie and Poyo are at. That is going to be the end of the line here for Jinxie and Poyo, but we'll still see more.
Reboots disable in 1 minute. It's always boring, and then reboots gets disabled, then it's entertaining.
But Pete's nowhere in sight. Just have to expect that he's off
A few teams have been eliminated though, with reboots starting though too.
Making sure to max pump it down to try to get more damage.
Did Peterbot and Faxity just get eliminated?
Blue into a purple. That way he could try to pack that much more of a punch. And literally almost was Peterbot and Faxity versus Victor V and Crackley before they ended that first run. Peterbot staying alive more than long enough for Faxity to get back into the game, but they need more than just being in the game. They need to figure out a way to get Faxity enough of a loadout that they can actually start to put in some work. As Veno just trying to go ahead and disengage. Ron is actually went down, but luckily for Ron though, there's still 15 seconds on reboots available, so he's not out of the game just yet.
Sure, but how much does Veno actually have to work with here? This might be one of the
Kind of
worst
forgot if
times
Juan
to
and
be
Vino
eliminated because
were
everybody's
in
gonna be
second.
looking, everybody's going to be waiting
Alright,
to try
reboots
and
ended.
prevent you from landing, get
Here we
that
go
final
now.
elimination done and dusted because
It's the
that's just gonna
7th
put Veno
storm.
into a fully solo position.
I thought it
and
was the
when
6th, but
first
it's the
place
7th.
is up for grabs,
Found
it's
that
just
out game
such
7
a
because I didn't pay
heartbreaking
attention
way
at
to
all.
go out, but Fax fighting his own battles.
I didn't pay attention
It's a tough time
to what
trying to get any
storm
kind of footing.
Now this could potentially be such
reboots
a close
close.
tournament. Because even though clix and lacy have a little bit of a lead, they're not getting eliminations. So if Veno, Ron, Crackley, Victor V get enough eliminations in placement, that alone can put them just higher up on the leaderboard. As typical gamer trying to run, he doesn't get the exit he was wanting, ends up in the wrong box, and that's going to give Ron exactly what he needs.
Typical gamers eliminated.
As he respawns back into the game. Veno making the right moves at the right time.
That is a tough break, though, for Rapid. You saw him immediately start to backpedal. He realized that there was nothing left to do. Watched his duo just disappear in front of his eyes, but great heads-up awareness there from Veno. They didn't have the luxury of picking and choosing who they fought. They just had to jump into somebody's box and get that refresh. But Victor V,
Victor's down.
shut down here now. Peterbot finally
I think
answering
maybe
back. Victor V has always been kind of looming
maybe
over
clix
his head.
and
Is this kid the counter to
clix and lacy have
Peterbot's
done it.
success? But now, correctly, he
Mm.
might actually be able to save his duo.
They're still up above. They will
Apparently
get the audio
Crackley,
visuals. The
they
fact
said that
he's the whole-
he's
he
not
can
even
hold
a
and get
content
the front at
creator.
the same time, and that's exactly
He's
where
another
can
pro,
find a
so
little
they
bit
have
of
a
success.
pro and a
This
pro
could
together.
be the play right there.
And they were
Peterbot
literally
gets the
just in
knock
fourth
on the
place
Victor
too.
V, but does not get the finish, allowing for Crackley to get the revive, but still in first place is this team.
They
right
won
here,
game
right now,
4,
clix
right?
and Lacy. Again, only one elimination, Taco. They are getting that gap closed by
Ooh.
everybody else on the leaderboard.
I can't stress it enough, though.
Clix and Lacy are in
This is really
fourth place, but
starting
they
to
only have one
build
kill.
in terms of stress environment, but not only that, Crackley has come
Veno
up
and
big
Juan have
time
9.
in 2 separate instances in this final lobby. It almost feels like the plot armor is starting to build for them, but they still have a long ways to go. It is a fully uphill battle. Cooper and Zemi, another duo, constantly trying to see if they can achieve another lobby of success. Double-digit eliminations, Victor Royale, Ron, Veno, similar environment, 9 eliminations.
You don't think they'll have another
All of them on
Fortnite World
Veno,
Cup?
and he got the revive
Kinda
off
hope
to
so.
Ron, so everyone
That'd
just
be
trying
fun.
to pull out all the stops to put themselves in the best possible position.
Yeah,
Maybe they'll do
now
one
they're
in like
looking at high ground
2029
right now,
when
so
it'll be
far
like
back
10 years
deep
or
in the
something.
zone. Not sure if it's connected, but with the zone catching up, they have to make that conscientious decision. Abandon that play, hope for another. Clix and Lacy right up above Veno. I'm not sure if he got the signal, if that's who it is, but right now they're going to put pressure on the rise, but it gets slowed down. Muzz and Somerset put pressure right back onto Veno and to Ron. Cracking the shield to Ron, forcing
Veno
them
and
to
Juan
slow
might
down.
win
You
this.
can just see Ron kind of
Because
spinning in a
Clix and
circle
Lacy
there
aren't
for a
doing really
moment.
good
It's
this
just
game.
so hard to keep tabs when you're getting all these different audio cues, and Rapid has been found in the backside of zone. That's going to be the end of the line for MNTG in this one. But a
Oh, Juan is down.
point right now. Ron is fighting to see whether or not he can roll into Veno's box with Veno. He's going to abandon ship.
Veno
He
just
can't afford to
abandoned
see
Juan.
put some great pressure on Cooper from overhead, but he just
He's
let
just like, nah, I could do it solo.
Clix and Lacy are in first.
That's crazy.
They are in first right now. Veno going to be by himself. 8 eliminations. Has to look for more. Has to figure out a way to outplace Lacy and Clix as well, who are holding on.
They got
really
2 games,
have not been
2 kills
tested
now.
in this game so far. A lot of the competition.
They were
let
just
them
trying to
go
like keep the
smoothly under
placement and
radar,
not
but up above, Cooper
push
and Zemi,
anybody.
they're the ones putting pressure down, trying to disrupt the whole flow that is going down below.
And Veno's only form of ability might have just
Oh.
been saved Muzz if he can get that.
Veno
second,
just
if he can
killed
get the last
Muzz, his
shot to
ex-set
connect,
teammate.
all he needs is a little bit of wiggle room, and he's managed to manifest it out of seemingly nowhere. And yet again, that last little bit of overdrive grenade is going to catapult him forward, front side of zone. Lacy, Clix, feeling the pressure right now from Cooper and Zemi. Veno secretly hoping that somebody else gets the job done for him, handles his dirty work of clearing out our leading duo team.
You still have Victor V and Crackley alive down below on the low ground, and they have much more eliminations than Clix and Lacy. This could be it. Placement points are similar. Do they have enough eliminations to close the gap? Meanwhile, Veno running out of builds and running out fast. He runs into Victor V.
Oh,
lands a
Veno's
huge
dead.
shot before finally going down. Victor V is surviving on a prayer.
But Crackley might be able to pick up some
If
of the
Crackley
slack
and
that's
Victor
been
V win,
unfolding
bro, I'll be so sad.
underneath. Cooper and
I
Zemi
just want
still
somebody
doing
who
the
I
game,
know
now getting
to win.
very much more involved, but
Like,
Crackley
I
and
didn't,
Victor V,
I knew who
needs
Peterbot
excitement.
was,
They have
but
to
I
get
didn't
back to their
really
next shot. He
like
has to
Kale,
get
and I didn't
some
really like
more
him because he's always
high
toxic.
HP.
And I don't know who
He's
all the
starting
antics in, so I was kind of
any
sad when
second now. Otherwise,
I
Cooper
really
and
won
Zemi,
last year.
they might just be able to take this one.
Yeah, there's
But
a
that's
good
fine,
team
though.
stomping
I'm
around
saying,
up above where they're actually at. But Cooper, see them up above, not wanting to drop down. Too big of a risk, too soon. See the zone not closing just yet. 2 more to go before that one becomes a possibility. And that's where you see Victor being Crackly, lurking around, hiding as much of the audio visuals as possible. But eventually that's going to come to a test.
Oh,
This
Victor
on the
B's
other
dead.
side of that wall. Victor B goes down again as Crackly starts to feel the pressure. Clix and Lacy are starting to get busy. Down on the Muda. That one gets cleaned up. Crackly still fighting tooth and nail. And he lands a big shot on the curve.
Crackly's
Eventually
dead.
going down.
It's just not enough, but for Clix and Lacy, this was everything.
3 teams left.
Already in a top 3
6 players
position,
left.
3 eliminations. If they're able
Clix
to
and Lacy are still in it too.
these next couple of elims, I think they've already got the job finished here.
It's Kubu and Zemi, and then 1 solo.
Zemi and Cooper were actually
Who's the
able to bring it
solo?
close enough. I think they're just falling short in terms of elimination points overall, but Lacy and Clix, we might be looking at our tournament winners right here, right now.
Come on,
They
bro.
already got the 3 that you're talking about. Looking up, exchanging
Clix
shots
never
back and
won an
forth to Cooper and
FNCS
Zemi,
before.
But there's still a solo running around. That's Curve. I might have spoke too soon.
Zemi killed that
Goes
person.
out like a light. 2v2 situation
He
here.
was the
Clix
solo.
and Lacy potentially the tournament on the line against Cooper and Zemi. One of the favorites coming in. It all boils down to this moment right here and now as Cooper and Zemi cut off the path. Get them down onto Lacy, leaving Clix by himself, swimming like a fish out of water.
Lacy's dead.
Oh my God, Clix!
Clix just killed Zemi.
Shot on the Zemi.
Oh, Clix just killed Zemi.
Can he do it? No,
Clix is dead.
He gets cut short. Cooper.
Kubu and Zemi win.
Magnificent run from Clix and Lacy to take Game 7.
Hey, maybe. But maybe Lacy and Clix have done it. Maybe they have won the whole tournament.
Lacy really gave Cooper and Zemi a run for their money. 8 eliminations in total, though, for Cooper and Zemi. We saw the slightest margin being brought to light, and whether or not that was actually going to be enough, Clix and
Hitobot was
Lacy,
just sitting back and watching
Zemi,
Clix,
the
bro.
fact that they were able to repeat with the back-to-back victory royales in lobby 6 and 7 is just a ridiculous accomplishment. You've really got to give them credit where credit is due. But for right here, right now, Jacob, we know that Cooper and Zemi won Game 7, but did they win this Pro-Am Creator Series?
That's what I'm trying to wonder. Like, what was the point deficit going in?
Wanna know
How
who
many
won?
eliminations did Crackly and Victor V actually end up with?
I think
versus the
Clix and
point
Lacy just
differential
won.
that Clix and Lacy were able to get as they close out with another top placing here in this tournament. But 7 games, Taco, intense action. Honestly, I thought Veno and Ron were going to begin to run away with it, but Lacy, Clix, Victor V, Crackly, these guys.
Was I right on Lacy and Clix, bro?
Veno and Ron just started to have the whole lobby work against them, and they weren't the only ones. They knew that the moment that they got those back-to-back Victor Royales, that they had put a bullseye right on both of their foreheads, and everybody was on the hunt to make sure that they hit it dart center for both of them. Unfortunate outcome, but still, they can't feel that bad about it. They're definitely going to be in the threshold of some solid prizing, and not only that, but they netted an extra 2K on top of their winnings here today just from getting those back-to-back Victory Royales.
Yeah, much and well deserved as well. A lot of people, you know, thought they were one of the favorites coming in, and rightfully so. They showed up, showed out, but sometimes, man, just those eliminations from Veno at the end really just kind of putting it all on the test, and we really saw kind of 2 different styles of play in one tournament. You saw a lot of our teams, especially the ones at the top of the leaderboard, they stick together. Usually you send one out to get those eliminations, but they actually stuck together at a certain point in the game and made sure that they did not get separated through and through. Even Crackly having some insane clutches in this game alone, let alone the entire tournament.
Nah, Crackly was definitely turning it up all the way. Volume just through the roof with his gameplay.
Can we see who won already?
Know that he is definitely a strong caliber competitor, but it's more so the fact that he's also able to bring it to light in a LAN environment. I think that Crackly has definitely proven that just because Zero Builds might be his priority playground, that doesn't mean that he can't hang in a builds environment.
Yeah, that play right there. Lacy just trying to break out. There's no builds. He gets knocked.
I think Clix and Lacy have done it.
Underneath. A huge shot right there on the Zemi, but it almost makes me wonder. I know the zone is still closing, but like maybe you could have played a little bit longer, go for med kits, but I want to say, was it storm sickness? Cooper didn't even look like he was looking at him at the end.
They're first and ready It seems like that was the issue, though, just that extra time that they said. We don't often see it where Storm Sickness becomes a threat, but sometimes players aren't really left with too many other options. They're kind of forced to play from inside of the Storm, and I think for clix and lacy, a big part of that is probably credited to the fact that they knew if they were playing inside center zone or anything like that, people were just going to be hunting them nonstop.
Yep, but we have ideas of who we think won this year's FNCS.
You have
We're going to
ideas.
throw it to Levin to let us know who is walking home the 2026 champion.
Who won, bro?
What a day it's been. 7 games, and finally we can crown our champions.
Lacy and clix did it.
Everybody, give it up for your Pro-Am Creator Series Dallas champions, clix and Lacy!
Clix won an FNCS, and so did Lacy. Does this count though? Because it doesn't even say FNCS. It just says Pro-Am Creator Series winner. Because I don't even know if this counts as an FNCS.
Boys, I mean, we have to talk. I'm sorry, you're going to have to hop for a second, brother. You got this. You got this. Clix, we have been waiting so many years to see you lift the trophy here on the land. How does it feel right now?
Man, even though it's an FNCS Pro-Am, it still feels really good. It does feel good. Shout out to my teammate Lacy. He played really good.
He did. He played incredible. Last year at the
Lacy
FNCS
won his
Pro-Am,
full 7 CS
a lot
too.
of people expecting you guys to get the job done, and you couldn't do it there. You did it here today, though, Lacy.
We did it! We did it, man.
Clix, it's emotional, man. It's emotional. He's worked hard for this. He's worked hard for this. You already bigged him up and talked about how well he's played, man. But, I mean, he's been on quite the journey as far as what he's done with his Fortnite career, streaming career, and how you played a part of that, man. Seeing him here lifting his trophy with you, what's going through your head right now?
What's going through my head right now is you are officially, my friend, a tier 1 professional. A lot of people make jokes about it, but he just lifted a trophy before anybody else. But honestly, dude, I'm really happy. This is sick. Next one's got to be at Globals, though.
That's the next one. Hey, look, Clix. Look, I'm gonna say
Clix
it, 'cause I know
needs to
there's some
win
people watching
Globals.
thinking it. You've been playing with a bunch of different people, switching up your teammates all over, trying to find the right solution. You just said he's a tier 1 pro. It's the solution right in front of you.
I think it is. I think it is. Me and you, FNCS, let's run it.
I already got to do it, I'm not going to lie. Hey, next Pro-Am, though. Next Pro-Am, I'm locked. Pro-Am, he is my Pro-Am duo.
They can't
Lacy.
team again for the
Of
Pro-Am.
course, everyone's watching right now. Do you have anything to say to your fans, to people who've supported you on this journey here to lifting
Right?
this trophy?
Like winners can't team again.
Thank you guys for all the continued support. This is my dream. It's my dream right here, lifting up this trophy. And everybody said that I wasn't a pro. Everybody said clix wasn't going to win. They said they counted us out.
It was hated on us.
And look who's standing here now.
Dang, bro. Lacy's an
Champs.
FNCS champion, and
The
Clix is an
champs. Clix, same thing to you.
FNCS
Is there
champion.
anything you want to say to the people out
It's
there?
crazy.
Man, I've been failing for 8 years, but every single time I've gotten back up. Now we're sitting here with my best friend holding a FNCS Pro-Am champion trophy, dude. You see it too, Levon, right? FNCS Fortnite Pro-Am champion. This is sexy. This is a sexy trophy right here.
Hey, you guys have streamed together. You've started a business together. Now you win together. One more time, people. Make some noise for Clix and Lacy! Absolute
And nobody
legends.
makes noise
Hey,
because they don't have
big
any
shout
fans
out
because they
to
have an
Epic Games.
office
Thank you
and
to
not a
Dignitas
arena.
as well. Dignitas, big shout out to
They
them.
have
Big
people
shout out to the
outside.
University of
Fans
Dallas,
have been
UTE Dallas,
outside
for allowing us to be
camping
here today. To all
this
the beautiful fans that showed up and were on the lawn
office
supporting, to all
that
the
they
amazing
have.
people involved in making this show happen, we thank you so much. These guys
Go
are
outside, bro.
well-deserved champions, and a big shout out to all the other
Go
players who
outside,
created today.
and then
we will see
they
you
could
guys
make
all
noise.
for the next Pro-Am Creator Series. Yeah?
Man, fuck the other.
All right, man.
Uh-oh. That's not good. You know, even though FNCS, when they didn't have a arena, Fortnite didn't even host it, and not really good teams, it was still good because, yeah, a lot of. It was still good because F Clix and Lacy won. Well, thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.